วันนี้จริงมีพี่มีไปแข่งการ์ดที่แถวใกล้ๆนี้ด้วยแต่ว่ามันน่าเสียดายที่ว่าถ้าคู่นี้มันโบ5มัน5เกมก็ไม่ได้ไปถ้ามัน5เกมก็จบจะเอาเด็กออนไปลำเท่านั้นแต่เมื่อวานได้ไปฝึกกับเมื่อวานไปฝึกกับเหมือนพี่แปลกเป็นคนแปลกคือพี่ชอบแบบไปแบบไม่รู้เรื่องอะไรก่อนแบบไปแบบไปนำร่องแล้วก็โดนเขาแบบขยี้มาด้วยความที่จ็อบกับกายเขาเป็นเมนเด็กอยู่แล้วเป็นเมนเด็กแบบคลาสสิกกับเคนเล่นเขารู้ว่าเขาต้องทำอะไรหมดของเรามันยังไม่ค่อยรู้เล่นแค่เล่นออนไลน์บ้างแล้วพอไปถึงก็โดนตบแบบ 2-0 2-0 อะไรเงี้ยเล่นอีกรอบก็โดนแบบ 2-1 อะไรเงี้ยแล้วก็แบบคิดว่าไอ้เหี้ยดวงเราไม่ค่อยดีทีนี้ก็เลยกลับมาศึกษาเลยศึกษาตอนประมาณกลับไปถึงห้องตอนประมาณตี 5:30นั่งอ่านถึง6 โมงเช้า6 โมงครึ่งแล้วก็ตื่นมานั่งอ่านต่อจนได้แบบตกผลึกเรื่องแบบเรื่องการมูลนิธิและการ develop ไม่งั้นแม่งคือแบบถ้าไม่ได้ไปเล่นนะไม่ได้โดนตบนะแม่งน่าจะไม่น่าหาข้อมูลตอนเรียนพี่ตึงขนาดนี้ไหมไม่ตอนเรียนมันไม่มีโดนตบก่อนมันมีแต่เข้าห้องสอบไปแล้วก็ทำไม่ได้แล้วมันก็จบแล้วแล้วมันก็คือช็อตสุดท้ายแล้วแต่ถ้าตอนทำงานตึงอยู่ตอนทำงานแบบว่าอ่านเยอะตอนเรียนถ้าเป็นวิชาภาษาแบบภาษาคอมพิวเตอร์อะไรเกี่ยวกับคอมนะพี่ตั้งใจมากAnd so I think that it's going to have to come down to intelligent drafting and understanding what the pros want to do and trying to stop that. I think that's going to be very important here for KT today.
We've seen so many matches, I feel like, not just in the LCK, but come down to draft, setting up a team for success.
Oh yeah.
It's been a big factor. We're now going into best of fives.
แล้วก็หลักๆคือว่าถ้าจะเล่นให้ชนะมันต้องเข้าใจว่าฝั่งหนึ่งเขาชนะด้วยคอนดิชั่นไหนคือต้องรู้ว่าเขาน่าจะมีอะไรเขาหมอบการ์ดอะไรอย่างเงี้ยต้องรู้หมดไปแบบมึนๆตีมึนไม่ได้เลย
play-in game. Before draft comes in, this is the time, right? First play-ins match, you need to get your bro tags in. You need to support them. If you're late, if the draft starts and you haven't put your bro tags in, they might pick something that you don't agree with. So
I feel personally called out. Let's pay that. Happy partner anniversary. Oh dang it, that's not bro tax. There's the bro tax. There we go. I'm just gonna have to put it in. With nothing. No. I'll type just. There we go. Brotax is in. We know. ต้องโดนน้องสอนที่เรียนบน
Sorry, Daniel. I know
that
I've derailed us just a little bit. But
thankfully,
the draft has not come up through yet. I hope that no one takes that.
มันมีแรงด้วยหรอไอ้เชี่ยแล้วคือพี่ก็แบบใช่เหรอแล้วพี่เช็คพี่ชื่ออะไรวะ
Is that if you are setting up bro for success, the KT fans are also grateful.
Exactly.
Building them up is just going to backfire.
Exactly.
Honestly, we're bias immune in this particular best of 5. I think we're in danger as the tournament goes on, but today, right now, we can do anything we want, Daniel, in any direction, and we will not upset anybody. Isn't that beautiful?
Well, maybe if you say nice things about KT, the KT fans might be like, whoa, calm down there. Guys, it's only game one.
Yeah. So going severely positive about KT, that's going to be the only mistake that we could possibly make here today.
I mean, I'm worried because the big matches you've seen KT win have been when predictions fall against them.
Exactly.
That's where they're fully online, and we sort of
favor the predictions,
so not the omen we're looking for.
If we only include the global predictions, though, it is very bro-favored.
True.
มีเล่น2 อีเวนต์
ว่ะ Wolf and Valdez being our voices of reason over there, saying that the reason why the
80% win rate
was split, and obviously the tape we have of KT is from them just getting punched by teams
ไป
that
เจอ
are
เล็ก
very,
ใส่
very
แพ้
strong here in the LCK, whereas the Bros were suffering a little bit in the Rise group, but have since pulled themselves together. We'll see what they can do here as we get into the draft for game number 1.
Play-ins
round 1. Win here, and you are straight to the playoffs. But you need to win 3 games in this series. 3 games out of the 5 that will definitely be played. You heard it here first. make sure you set aside the time
ตามล่า
for 5
หา
games
ทาง
probably
กลับไป
5 or
ไดมอน
6
ด์อะไรอย่าง
hours
นี้
is what
แล้ว
you're
ก็
going to require get yourself
ให้
some
มันให้
snacks
ChatGPT ช่วยคิด
you
มันก็ได้
know
เป็น
get
คูเซ
yourself
อุส
some
มา
water make sure you stay hydrated and you know take breaks and use the bathroom when we're between games and things like that and I think that everyone is going to be very very happy
คู่นี้
during
ชนะ
this
มีผลอะไรไหมครับ คู่นี้
exceptionally
ชนะ
long
จะ
series.
ได้เข้ารอบ
Let's
play
get
off
into
ค
it
รับ
here as we see Syndra,
พี่
Cassiopeia
คิดว่า
and
KT ก็
Orianna
น่าจะ
all banned away from
จั
the
ด
mid
การได้อยู่
lane.
แล้ว
There are a bunch of junglers still left available as the Lee Sin is the priority ban.
Yeah, and KT is setting up for a Rise first pick, I think, with the Syndra ban here. Hanjin Bruno gone heavy on mid lane bans. I mean, Cassiopeia and Orianna typically expected, but will they let him get the Rise? They ban the Vi. It feels like KT probably just going to slam the Rise in here. As you said, there are some good junglers available, but I think Vi is the most prominent one that needs to be banned.
Yep. Nocturne has been very strong as well, but the Rise will be the slam. I imagine that the Bros will take the guy that's the living light switch. But Lucian will be picked up first, perhaps, for Teddy. This has been a very powerful pick for him specifically.
And I think this is showing the priority differences between these teams. Space kind of talked about it. The solo lanes from KT have been
Light
Hanjin Brion. It's been the bot lane and getting that Lucian early for Teddy. A big pickup. One concern though, by going the Lucian on 1 and then the
แบบ
Jarvan
นี้
on
เขามี
2,
ลิโอกับ
you're kind of locked into
มี
the
ลิโอ
Lily on
กับ
3.
คอกมอลได้ป่าวะ
And that means KT, they can pick.
แต่ถ้าเกิดเป็น
They can either
เป็น
match the bot lane
คอก
here,
มอลมัน
or
ก็
they
โดน
can
เจ
choose
โฟ
to
ขัง
go for top lane, and it's going to be really difficult to counter. Perfect. They go for the Nocturne in this situation. Olaf feels a little bit uncomfortable just because the Jarvan's there, but you could pick it still, and it looks like Perfect's looking to do so.
And
We'll lock that in.
This is almost exactly what KT beat T1 with just last week. In that game number 1, this is part of that draft. They will not be able to pick the rest of it. It was Ezreal Seraphine in the bottom lane, but this has been just basically cream of the crop for all of these lanes so far. Nocturne especially, how they got that in that last series, I have absolutely no idea, but I guess they managed to get it again, so it must have gone something like this. As that Milio you were talking about is going to be locked in.
โอลาฟ
Namgung
กับ
on this one.
น็อก
Kind
เทิ
of
ร์น
makes me upset that we're not seeing Namgung on
Ui.
a more aggressive pick. But still, this bottom lane is just too strong to pass
อ
up.
ย่างนี้ก็แบน
That is where they're
Ezreal
going to
ใช่ป่ะ
go.
มี
So
ออ
some
เวส
solo
เซอร์
lanes
แบนแล้ว
required
มี
here
ต้อง
for
แบน
the
อะไรวะ
Bros, and some Olaf safety bans to come
แบน
on
เค
through
ทลิน
here for KT.
มี
I
แบ
think
น
the
เค
bot
ท
lane
ลิ
is
น
things like Cape Bard, which can be very powerful into this. There's
แบ
like
นลูลู
Lunara,
ยูนา
Lulu,
ร่า
they will just ban
แบน
away the Lulu there. So I
ลูลู
think
ไปก็ได้
handling
จะ
some of
ได้
those
ไม่ต้อง
pairings is valuable. There
กังวล
could be the
ยูนา
prospect
ร่า
of even like a Calista Renata
แล้ว
could
ก็
be
แบน
strong,
เคทลิน
but we'll see. And KT starting to bang away the top laners, banning the Cassandra. We did actually see a
โบ
Cassandra
5 หมด
into
แล้ว
the
ใช่ตอน
Olaf
นี้
towards the season end that did
Yeah, was that
very well.
Clear versus Kingen or something like that? I think it was one of those
I
matchups.
think so. But like we've seen so many of these top lane counters into Olaf struggle, and without attention, not necessarily find the success they needed. But the Cassante actually had a really solid game there, so taking that one away, making a lot of sense.
Yep. So now will it be Kled, Jax, any of these choices here for casting? We'll just have to see whether they do want to put any more focus in that top lane. Mid lane and answers to the Rise have been largely sorted out here with the Orianna and Cassiopeia, but the Galio will be leaving the Rift as well. Actually would have been pretty phenomenal to pick up something like a Camille and a Galio here for the Bros, so I like the Gargoyle ban in that instance.
Yep, and we've been seeing more of that Camille top lane into the Olaf. Sometimes successful, sometimes not successful.
It's been
definitely
something that casting's been playing more recently as well.
Yeah, and now he's toying with what he wants to take in the top lane between
ไม่ยังหาวิธี
Jax
แก้
and
โอลาฟ
Kled,
ไม่ได้อี
and
ก
he
อะ
does go for the Kled.
Oh.
You can see that win rate 50%.
ขนาดในรอบ play
Like I
off
talked
แล้ว
about with Camille, it has worked at times and it's not worked at times. Some of the players not piloting it as well as you'd hope, and casting's been really solid.
Yep.
So far this season, so expectation is he should be able to do pretty good on that pick. Now, the KT bot lane, I feel like one thing is that Nautilus also feels a bit uncomfortable into Jarvan, just the terrain kind of makes it hard to do your job, but it keeps Lucian accountable. If you know the main character in the enemy team is
จำ
here
ได้
to
ว่า
carry,
ตอนนั้นโดราน
and
เคย
Lucian
เอา
is
อากา
struggling
ลิ
to
ไป
pick.
เจอเว้ย
Nautilus does make it very
มัน
hard
ก็
to
ไม่
play
สามารถ
in
ที่จะ
team fights. But now the question is, what
เคา
are
น์
you
เตอร์
going
แบ
to
บ
pair that
โอลาฟ
up
ได้
with?
ได้ขนาด
Nautilus
นั้
to
น
be
อะ
MF.
Watch it.
This is interesting to have in the first draft of a series, but they want something that's going to give
แต่
them a
จริง
strong
ว่าถ้า
laning
เกิดอากา
phase.
ลิแบบช่ำ
There's a good
มากๆ
amount
แม่ง
of
น่า
threat
ฆ่า
against
โอ
these
ลาฟ
short
กระจุย
range
เนาะ
picks that Hanjin Brion
โอลาฟ
has
แบ
so
บ
far.
กดอันตีมาก็คือ
And I think
วางหมอก
Misfortune pretty straightforward to play when it comes to AD carries. I think there could have been some more high
มันน่าจะแพ้
variance
หนัก
bot lanes. That being said, one thing is that if you get cataclysms, you are just trapped.
แต่ว่าเวลาที่มันเริ่มต้นมามัน
That would be a kind
ต้อง
of
อัพ
fun one if you
ถ้าเริ่มต้นมาอัพ W เลยแม่งก็หนักอยู่นะอากาลีเพราะว่าไงมันเดินเข้าไปตีเวฟแม่งคือโดนมันโยนขวานแน่นอนดีชับพี่กิฟต์ได้ข่าวว่าเจอจินป่ามา
into Rise, this is a counter matchup that we've seen kind of slip away from the meta. Teams haven't been as willing to pick it, but I think this is such a good spot for Roma to pick it up. That being said, he is matching in a BDD. BDD prioritizing this Rise. We've seen players like Chovy heavily prioritize it and have fantastic results. So a lot of weight on his shoulders to make his Nivea pick get the value.
เป็นตาที่เน็ตทูระเบิดด้วย
And the last time we saw a drop like this for KT, yes, the bottom lane is completely different, but KT like BDD itself was just gigantic. His rise unbelievable. I think that this is a pick that does need to be respected. We'll see whether the bros can actually play around it or whether he will just hit Actualizer at about 20 minutes into the game and do way more damage than the bros are capable of mitigating. It's just kind of ridiculous what this guy can do on this champion. We'll see whether Roma can actually fight back against it, but I think the bottom lane is where most of the bros focus is going to be getting the fountain laser up and running as we have a look. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your drafts and your teams. Game number 1 of this best of 5, our first of the play-ins.
มีโค้ชใส่พี่กลุ่มดราม่าด้วยเห็นยัง ถ้าอันนี้ดราม่าแสดงว่าแบบต่อไปนี้เวลาแบบสายอินเทอร์เน็ตใต้ตรงไปที่สิงคโปร์มันพังนี่คือของเครือข่ายไหนเนี่ยคือมึงโดนด้วยนะ
Let's see who can find the first advantage in this one. Having a look at the early game.
เน็ตเขาสายขาดอะก็มึงดราม่าได้ก็คือไม่รู้ทำไงแล้ว
Do we feel like the bros have an advantage? Do we feel like KT are looking good?
I think KT really want to be looking for the level 6 when they have the Nocturne and the Rise online. Obviously,
Lomer up E ก่อนเหรอ
as a mid laner, so you can really impact
ใช่เหรอวะ
there. But even before 6,
เดี๋ยวทำไมถึง up E อะ
has the potential to be a real
พิสูจน์อะไรวะน่ะ
seen how this Kled Olaf matchup can swing one way or another. So if Gideon can get access there early and shut down.
Oh my god, what the fuck? ทำไม Lomer up E วะ
that we've seen a little bit.
แล้วไม่ได้เอารุนเผามาด้วยนะ เอาเผาเป็นไอ้เผาแบบเผารุนรองอะมันก็เลย
But it's the same concept of keeping you alive so you can get that health back.
ที่ว่าในแง่ไหนมันก็ควรจะอัพคิวอยู่แล้วอะหรือว่าแบบมันโยนใส่ BDD คือหรือว่าฝั่งตรงข้ามเป็น BDD โยนคิวไม่โดนอะไรอย่างงี้ก็เลยแบบถ้างั้นก็อัพ E เล่นโดนแน่นอนแต่อัพคิวไงมันก็ตันแล้วมันก็ตีพอปอีก2ทีแบบตี1ทีตันแล้วก็ตี1ทีเลโตคิวระเบิด
Here of course they were playing behind one another on KT only about a year or two ago
เอามาพอปอิเล็กโตคิวไหมครับถ้าจะพอปอิเล็กโตคิวต้องอาจจะเอามาล้างมินเนี่ยนมันตอนแรกแบบตีไม่ทันเลย
Times last year where we saw casting subbed in for Perfect and I think he really struggled to hit the level of performance he has this year.
แอบเห็นแบบทินนาแมร์เลนบนอยู่เหมือนกันนะ
I think Perfect had struggles last year and his form this year so far has been much higher, even though obviously KT haven't had the best results in recent matches. But that's kind of also how their legend experience went.
ช่วงนี้คอเย็นดราม่ากันเลยนะลุงนายภาษีพี่บ่วงตายัดพี่กิฟสายเน็ต
Who really knows with this team?
Exactly.
It's always a mystery.
Just to let everyone know, it is a peripheral issue. As you can see, they do have some pretty good lanes though, as far as what the tier list says, and what people have been going for as far as counter picks. So the bros probably pretty happy there, but you're right. I think that it really needs to come down player skill and being able to make this one work. And so far, so good. Everything is just even, but it's 2.5 minutes into the game, and so that.
แต่เมื่อวานหาไอแทนดีนะคือมันเล่น L ใช่ป่ะแล้วมันหาห้องอ่ะแล้วมันก็บอกเข้าไปเล่นแล้วมันก็รีเมคแล้วมันเข้าไปเล่นแล้วมันก็รีเมคอะไรกันนะแล้วมันก็บอกเขาบอกมันรีเมคบอกคุยมันคุยดังมากอ่ะมันไม่ค่อยทำนะเมื่อก่อนมันแบบเมื่อก่อนอ่ะมันทำทุกวันแล้วมันก็ไม่ทำเลยมันช่วงนึงมันไม่ทำเลยไม่พูดคำหยาบไอฉุนเนี้ยเมื่อก่อนอ่ะมันหามากเลยไอแถวเรามันฉุนด่า
I'll say any time that sort of nothing really happens in a jungle matchup and you're playing Nocturne, you're feeling really happy about it. You're like, just give me time. Just let me play for my ultimate. And now we saw some pings coming out from. He didn't look like he was maybe going to challenge the Raptors, but he doesn't have the mid prio. Cuz is there
คือจริงๆมันไม่จำเป็นต้องเป็นแบบคือมันไม่ใช่ต้องท็อกซิกแต่ว่ามันแค่แบบด่าเอาฮา
Wow, BDD could be in a little bit of trouble. Doesn't have a lot of mana left, but does have Flash and Ghost. Let's see whether the wall works. Perfect placement there from Roman, but doesn't get the stun. They just get the Ghost out of BDD, who is now going to
ไม่
just
ลอง
go
แฟน
back
แดก
home.
สักหน่อยหรอ
Yeah, good moves from BDD to get away from that one, and actually it was really unfortunate because if you look at the angle Gideon took,
เกือบ BDD แบบ
was right at the
แฟกหนี
rafters
อะไร
but didn't spot him, and that always gives you the semblance of safety. When you have your jungler right there, you're like, there's no way the enemy jungler is going to come from that route. But BDD read the play and just had to use
ช่วงนี้เจอรีเมคบ่อยจริง
to avoid the gank. I think it's so weird.
เมื่อวานก็
Nice little anchor here from Effort as Jew is taking a lot of damage.
แต่ว่า
towards
ช่วง
his
นี้รู้สึกว่า
bottom
เวลา
side.
เล่นด้วยกัน
Even
แบบ
Viking hitting him
ดู
there,
โอ
putting
อะ
down
หา
about
ห้อง
3
ยากขึ้น
health.
กว่า
So
แบบ
Bro certainly playing well here in this lane. Get the barrier out from Jew. Here's the opposing campfire comes down. BDD is booking it towards his bottom lane though. The Bros need to be very careful as Namgung without the heal, but does flash to try and get out of the way. And now it's Teddy that's in a lot of trouble. BDD deals with Emilio first. Effort is now going low, but Teddy even through the barrier will not survive. And KT pick up 2 thanks to their mid laner.
Such a good move here from BDD. Find the opportunity to go bot lane and shut down Teddy and Namgoon. Given over, unfortunately, it's a kill for Effort, but getting a kill himself. And you just look at the position where they're so overextended, they're not tracking BDD. Namgoon is so dead at this point. Even with the flash, there was just no way he's getting out. And Teddy just tries to turn around, but you just cannot cut through the aftershock from the Nautilus, the shield as well. The damage isn't quite there yet. End result, as you look mid lane, what did BDD lose? He's going to be a little bit behind in farm after that wave gets cleared, but with a kill in pocket, he's very happy with how that passage of play went.
Absolutely, and a Rise that gets ahead in the early game is a very happy Rise indeed. And we know what BDD is capable of if he makes it later in the game. That is, the anchor does come out here. Teddy looking for some more aggression onto Jiu though. BF sword in hand here for this misfortune.
That was a good buy for the misfortune. I will say though, I appreciate that Teddy is still playing the lane pretty aggressive. I think some players can sort of default into going passive after getting ganked like that, but you need to keep the pressure on in this lane.
จะเริ่มว่าวิ่งไว400อะไรอย่างงี้
from BDD, and when Cuz gets his ult available, you can see that Gideon was hovering down the bot side, but it's just reset. But forcing it back from Jiwoo means that Teddy may be able to pick up some damage in the tower heal, though he's already back. This is the thing with Misfortune. The passive, combined with the fact that we have home guard so early, so hard to push out a lane. And Jiwoo is really utilizing that. You've seen a couple of times where he gets chunked out and just resets, runs back, resets, runs back. And as long as they don't kill you, that's a fine play to do again and again, because it's really hard to actually make the Misfortune miss a lot from that.
And you can see is within 5 CS of Teddy as well, as those lanes do equalize. So that is proof that it's working out here. Wasn't able to purchase anything, I think just got himself 1 pot when he went back, but no harm, no foul. Casting back towards his top side. He's got a tunneler and a sword, not with any shoes just yet, outside of Perfect here with his brown bags. And Casting hasn't been necessarily putting on the pressure, but isn't falling behind in this lane just yet.
แต่น่าสงสารเอมมิงเนาะเอมมิงแกอยู่ KT แล้วแกก็ไปอยู่ถูกย้ายไปอยู่ DRX แล้วแกก็ไม่ได้ play in คนน่าสงสาร
We've definitely seen our Kleds go the wrong direction in this matchup. So I think the fact that Casting has a bit of an XP lead and is pressuring, even though he hasn't generated a large farm lead, he is pressuring Perfect, not allowing him to farm easily. He's having to farm the Zaxes. I think it's perfectly fine.
All right.
ดิบพี่แรงอะไรล่ะครับเห็นพี่กายโก
The ultimate ready
อันนี้
for
พี่
you
เริ่ม
now.
งงจริง
Level 6 to come down for the misfortune. Just proof
คือพี่ไม่เข้าใจเลยซ้ำว่ามัน
that he has been able to get back to lane quickly enough because he manages to make it to level 6 before anybody else here in this bottom lane.
ไม่รู้อะ
It looks like Teddy and Namgung should be able to get there pretty quickly.
อาจจะเป็นไปแข่งไม่เยอะมั้งมันเลยยังแบบไปแข่งมาแค่รอบเดียวเอง
Paranoia at the ready, and the Bros have to be very careful at how this match is going to go from now on, because the Nocturne can just always be there.
Yeah, it makes it so much harder to just play the lanes out if there's a constant threat. Speaking of playing the lanes out, BDD is not having so much fun now. Roma has access to the ult.
Yeah, Roma
and the damage is really starting to hit.
Catalyst at the ready.
พอเห็นเมื่อกี้นึกถึงว่าแบบแล้วออดเขาทำระบบการแข่งมาแบบชำนาญจริงเนาะ
It's perfect like you were talking about, farming with some axes. And Casting just trying to put Perfect in a bear trap on a rope. Still one of the weirdest
abilities here
in League of Legends.
Yeah.
คือทำออนไลน์
bear trap. Why do we have to stipulate that it's on a rope?
Well, it is on a rope.
Well, I mean that's true, but there's a lot of things like why like piercing light from a gun. We could have also had.
Maybe that would clear things up a little bit more.
That might be a good point.
Is piercing light, it could be a Leona ability, but if you play from a gun, then it's definitely not.
That's a really good point. An effort could be dredge line from an anchor with a chain.
เข้าใจว่าแต่ว่ามันยุคนี้ขายการมันก็
Perfect gonna come down and help Cuz out as
ได้
they
นะ
look
แต่
to
ว่า
take
ออนไลน์
grabs.
มัน
Gideon
น่าจะ
very
มันก็
upset
น่าจะได้เยอะพอ
with
ๆ
this
นะ
one.
พี่
You
ว่า
can see he's lurking in the area, but it looks like the Bros are not going to be able to contest
ได้
it
กับกาย
this
ไม่ได้
time
นะแรงห่าง
around. Might be able to get one. Nope, there is a smite there for Cuz, so that is 3 for 3 on the grub so far for KT.
Yeah, no dragon picked up so
จริงๆวันนี้ก็
far.
มีแข่งแต่ว่าทั้งจ็อบทั้งกายบอกพี่ว่าแบบ
That
ผม
is
ว่า
a
พี่
realm walk.
กลับไปเด็กอารีเดียดีกว่า
He's
แต่
gonna
ว่า
have to get out of
ถ้า
there.
จะแข่ง
The
อันนี้
bullet
เล่นของ
time's
ขำ
too good though, and Gio is going to cut him down for a
จ
third
ริงๆ
kill
ก็คว
for
รเป็นไง
KT.
ว่าอารีเดียเราเล่นมานาน
BDD
อะ
just doing great work, fishing for these roam
ถ้าวันนี้ไม่แข่งมันควร
opportunities
จะอารี
and
เดียก่อน
knowing that Roma isn't actually going to be able to follow on the Anivia.
A little bit
แต่วัน
unfortunate.
นี้รู้สึกว่า
A
แบบ
little bit
ล้าๆ
unfortunate,
ขี้เกียจไปแข่ง
that is for sure. And he's just picking up kills in the bot lane, causing
มันอ่านเยอะไปหน่อย
issues. This realm warp angle was great. In fact, you're already paired up with effort, so you have the opportunity to move anywhere. And the fact that they get this play to successfully work without even needing the Nocturne. Pose is just farming, he's built up a bit of a Fiesli, but that threat of the Paranoia is still there, because if you go for that play and you burn the Paranoia, then it'll definitely be successful, but there's that window where it's unavailable. Now you just have that constant pressure threat from Cuz, and yet you're still making plays happen, still finding advantages on the map.
Yeah, and now everybody else
มีเด็กลีโอน่า
has
เด็
to
ด
be
ไหมคุณ
wary
ทักรู้
what
เฮ้ย
this
ลีโอน่าก็สนุก
Nocturne
ดี
is
นะ
going to be able to do. There's a plate that goes down in this mid lane.
มี
That
เด็
is
ดเด็ด
something.
ไหมหรอไม่
But
ไม่
otherwise,
ไม่
it's all KT so
ไม่
far in this
มี
early
แต่ว่า
game.
เคยเจอลีโอน่าอยู่พี่ว่ามันก็
700 gold lead
มันก็ใช้ได้เลย
as
นะ
they look to
คุณผู้
tidy
ช
up these
ม
waves.
One of the things with Lucian that we've seen when it was Lucian Nami, we've seen when it's Lucian
ผมเล่น
Milio,
เด็ก
is
แจ็ค
that
มา
he's
ครบ
very
อาทิต
good
ย์
at
นึงแล้วรู้แล้วทำไมมีคนเล่นเล่นมา
wave
ช
and
นะคะ
having
แนว
mid
ทั้ง
prior when it gets to the
สี่
mid
ครั้ง
game.
ทั้งอาทิตย์
Like
เฮ้ย
normally you see the bot lanes get set up in mid, he just chunks
มันอาจ
up
จะ
the
มีวิ
mid
ธีเล่นก็
prior
ได้
to back off.
คือเอางี้
MF going for a Bloodthirster first, as she normally does, it becomes so
เราอาจ
much
จะ
harder to actually make any of that pressure stick.
มันอาจมีวิธีเล่น
So
แต่เรา
the
แค่
fact
ยัง
that
ไม่
the lane
หา
is in a
ไม่
good
เจอ
spot for Jiwoo
เชื่อ
so
ดิมันมี
far.
วิธีเล่นโดยเฉพาะแจ็คกับออนแม่งเกียร์เล่นเกียร์เพราะค
We
ล้าย
are
ๆกันเลย
charging. They do get
ไม่ต้อ
on
งไปเอา
top of the
เด็กตาม
Olaf,
เว็บ
and
ก็
the
ได้
culling is going to give him a back massage. Teddy grabs a kill as a result, and the Bros are on the board.
Great angle there and great swap up there from Teddy and Namgoon to find an opportunity to punish Perfect, get both of his summoner spells, and get some damage down on this tower. It's obviously going to be traded on the bot side of the map, but considering BDD's impact
จริง
in
ๆแจ็ค
the
มันเป็น
bot
ยูนิต
lane and
ส้ม
just
ใช่ปะ
finding windows to roam
มัน
down
มี
and
แบบ
punish
ส้มที่
them,
แบบว่า
I think it's better
นี่ปะล่ะ
for Bro that they kind of end the laning phase a bit earlier.
Yeah, this is going to be first turret going over to KT. They have
มันมี
three
ส้มที่แบบ
grubs,
เล่นกับเกียร์
and they
ปะ
have Gio down here already. As casting is going to show up, but he should be ushered away. Wants to be able to get as much of this farm as possible. With Gideon coming on over, maybe he can. Paranoia comes in, Effort taking a lot of damage. We need the Skull to get the work done, and he is going to be able to do that. Gets off his mount, and now Gio's in a lot of trouble. Casting charging up that bar. He should have the dinosaur back again, as look at this shotgun working. He remounts, and now he's looking for Cuz. Gideon should be able to take care of this MF, and down she will go, and the Bros, even the scoreline, and claim the lead.
What a play from Casting and Gideon, 2v3, finding the window to challenge, and KT convinced, okay, they're cross-mapping, we'll just keep pushing, it's not like they can really do anything. Get absolutely decimated in the fight. We'll see this play in the top lane first, Casting ults Perfect, chases him down, and even though he ults so he doesn't get pulled back, he's already closed distance, he's already done a lot of damage, and Teddy just cleans it up with the culling. But the big one is this play in the bot lane. W shield from Nautilus already down, he burns Aftershock as well, so they're actually able to put a ton of damage into him, and even the locket doesn't survive for that long. And the problem is Gideon flashes away, kind of to drop aggro essentially, so he can re-engage later. And they can't cut through Casting in time, he still had barrier, he gets the remount. The sustained damage isn't available for them, especially not this early in the game. And the fact they get all 3 kills there, Titanic Hydra now finished for Casting, they're in such a phenomenal position.
Yeah, this is actually kind of ridiculous for the Bros. With just that one play alone, they get themselves the largest gold lead in the game so far.
เด็กอาเซียครับ
BDD
อาเซียนี่
still has the lead
แทบ
himself,
จะไม่
will
เปลี่
be
ยน
a
อะไร
massive
เล
threat
ย
later
ตั้
on
งแต่
in the
แบบ
game.
แม่งออก
But
มา
I think
จ
that
น
Roamer has been
ตั้งแต่
just
เด็กมัน
fine
ถูก
despite
บิว
the
ขึ้น
fact
มา
that
จนถึงตอนเนี้ย
BDD
แม่งแทบ
picked
จะ
up
ไม่
that
มี
kill
อะไร
very
เปลี่ยน
early
เลย
on.
แล้วมันก็เล่นแบบท็อป 8 ได้ แบบสบายเพียงแค่เราต้องเข้าใจตัวเด็กมันเยอะหน่อยมันเหมือนจะง่ายเข้าใจง่ายแต่ว่าจริงๆแล้วพี่ว่ามันต้องใช้ความเข้าใจเด็กเยอะก็โดยสรุปก็คือ 2,000 บาทไปท็อป 8 ได้เคที่อยากเจอทีวันว่ะรอลิสต์ใหม่พี่กิ๊บลงเลนเด็กวิกเตอร์ตอนนี้ผมมี2เหรียญใจพี่ช่วยดูได้ไหมได้ดิเนี่ยส่งเด็กมาแบบในแชทก็ได้มันดูบอร์ดยากมากมันดูตั้งบอร์ดยากมากออนดูตั้งง่ายกว่าแจ็คนี่ลำยากจัดออนไม่ง่ายพี่บอกให้ออนไม่ง่ายเลยครับออนตั้งบอร์ดไม่ได้ง่ายกว่าคือมันเป็นเด็กที่ต้องคิดแบบไพออหลายๆอย่างนะมันแบบคือเพราะว่าอย่างเด็กออมันเป็นเด็กที่ต้องตั้งใช่ไหมถ้ามันตั้งไม่ได้อะมันคือมันเทมโปไวอ่ะมันเหมือนมันแบบเป็นทีมที่เทมโปไวถ้ามันจั่วขึ้นมาแล้วมันเทมโปไวได้ไม่ได้ปุ๊บอะมันลำบากมากอะออนไม่ง่ายนะโลอยากเจอจริงเห็นออนแชมป์นี้พี่กิ๊บลุยยาวแล้วป่ะเด็กนี้สนุกดีครับสนุกดีแต่ว่ามันค่อนข้างปวดหัวอยู่เหมือนกัน
I mean, there's a lot of trauma that a lot of us LCK commentators have from Broken Blade doing it to us in internationals where we just weren't ready for a Kled pick. Thankfully now we're using it here in the LCK, which may help us in our battle against the LEC in the future. But that is down the line. KT and Bro, two teams that I think a lot of us would agree with what they were talking about in the pre-show with the fact that Bro and KT look like the strongest two teams here in the Rise Group plus bottom of Legend Group here in the play-ins. But it's the order in which they qualify is going to be decided here today. And then we'll see whether Nongshim and BNK Fearex can give KT a run for their money tomorrow. Whichever one gets the right to give them a run for their money, we'll find out tomorrow.
พี่ไปเจอมาละไอเอาเคนเน่นแม่งอยู่ในฟิลแล้วมีมาหน้าเหลือไว้นะแม่งเหนื่อยเหลือเกิน
And you saw it's very nice. Effort came over and hit one minion, and then he's going to leave once again. It's been a pretty quiet game for Cuz. Unfortunately, just died in that bottom lane play after taking the dragon. We have 15 seconds on dragon number 2.
ออนยังยากแจ็คจะเหลืออะไรแจ็คก็ไม่ต้องเล่นเทมโปไวก็ได้ครับก็เล่นเทมโปแบบตั้งบอร์ดก็ได้เล่นแบบตั้งบอร์ดได้จริงๆแจ็คอะถ้ามันเล่นเขียวพี่ไม่รู้มันเล่นกับอาเฟเลออดได้หรือเปล่าอาเฟเลออดก็แบบคือแจ็คมันเป็นแนวแบบติดอาวุธใช่ป่ะก็ติดอาวุธให้อาเฟเลออดแม่งเลยติด3อาวุธอาเฟเลออดก็ได้แบบได้บัฟได้อะไรเต็มไปหมดเลยได้จั่วอะไรไม่รู้แต่ไม่ค่อยมีใครเล่นนะซึ่งไม่ได้หมายความว่ามันไม่ดีนะมันก็ไปลองดู
and Bro will just respond by throwing the Herald down mid lane
เนี่ยการอาฟิลล์มันบอกว่าถ้าติดอาวุธจะเลือก1อย่าง Ready 2รูน Channel รูน Exhaust 1รูนแล้วก็ติดแค่2อย่างก็โอเคแล้วอีกอันเป็นบัฟก็อาจจะบัฟบวกดาเมจตัวเองแล้วแม่งก็แบบ
The fire kick is good onto effort, pushes him over the other side of the crystallize.
Yeah, it was crazy, flipping him over the wall.
Maybe that's a Milio and
ที่2คืออาเซียได้เจอ RQ เด็กนั้นดีอยู่
Vayne and Nivea, well not that often. The Vayne and Nivea bot lane being a really fun combo to play because like them into the wall, but the Nivea Milio tech is something that I haven't seen.
คือผมก็จะวิกเตอร์1ใส่ไม่ใส่ยูนิตเลยใส่แต่เด็กเคลียร์แล้วใช้1รีคูดยึด1ใช่ทำได้คือวิกเตอร์มันเหมือนกับมีเขาเรียกว่าบอดี้แล้วมันมีบอดี้แบบมีตัวบอดี้ให้อยู่แล้วฟรีบอดี้อ่ะเพราะฉะนั้นก็อาจจะเล่นเป็นอินเทอร์แลกล้วนก็ได้แต่ว่ามันเคิร์ฟจะไม่ค่อยดีนะถ้าเป็นอย่างนั้นนะคือมันอาจจะต้องดูให้ดีว่าแบบบางทียูนิต1รีคูดมันอาจจะแบบไม่พอแล้วอินเทอร์แลกอาจจะใช้แบบเพราะฉะนั้นถ้าจะเป็นอย่างนั้นก็ต้องเคิร์ฟแบบเคิร์ฟอาจจะใช้ใส่ซิลเกียร์ไหมใส่เกียร์ที่เป็นซิลเพื่อไปการเดเวลลอปเล่นได้ตลอดไม่งั้นมันเล่นไปเรื่อยมันจะเคิร์ฟจะระเบิดเพราะว่าเราต้องรีไซเคิลรูนบ่อย มันก็ทำได้เกมมันทำได้เยอะมากแม่คือแชทก็ถามลิบบาวรัวๆนะพี่ก็จริงๆคุยเรื่องแอลมาตลอดนะแต่แชทถามลิบบาวก็
And they do have a lot of people. Let's see whether it's going to work, because Gideon might be the target they're looking for instead. Nope, they're just going to take the turret. And that is going to be a safer option here. There are no minions, though, so it takes a while. Still, they'll be able to get there thanks to the Void Mites.
เหล่าป้อมระเบิดเลยวะ
We'll be able to take a bottom outer turret in the meantime.
เด็กออนมีเด็กแก้ไหมครับแบบตบให้ยับอ่ะก็ออนมันจะเร็วแค่ไหนมันก็ต้องตั้งบอร์ดอยู่ดีนิดนึงอยู่ดีก็อาจจะทำลายตัวตั้งบอร์ดแต่อาจจะเหนื่อยหน่อยแต่ของออนอะสิ่งที่ออนทำลายก็คือมันจะระเบิดด้วยตัวเองเวลามันจวดไม่ขึ้นเพราะว่ามันเด็กที่เล่นเทมโปไวได้อย่างเดียวเล่นเทมโปเลทไม่ได้เลยคือถ้ายื้อเลทได้ออนยังไงก็แพ้ถ้ายื้อเลทยังไงออนก็ไม่น่าไหว
making sure their bullet time is doing as much damage as possible in these team fights.
Yeah, it's tricky with MF because crit scales really well.
แต่
ultimate, that's high value, but then you don't
แต่ถ้า
really
เล
want
ท
the attack
ไป
speed
ถึงจุดหนึ่งที่ว่าออนแม่งก็เก่งอยู่ดี
you
ว่ะ
have a lot of built-in attack speed and
มันอาจจะเก่ง
it's not the best auto attacker in general.
ช่วงกลางเกมอาจจะไม่เก่งมาก
First auto chunks out with the double up.
เพราะว่าถ้าเลทอะแล้วเราไม่มีพังเกียร์มันเก่งสัตว์เลยเพราะว่ามันก็จะชุบแบบไอ้สไปขึ้นมาอีกแต่วิธีแก้เด็กออนง่ายสุดเลยคือออนมันเล่นกับสไปเพราะฉะนั้นถ้าเกิดเราลงเวกได้ในฟิลได้ก็คือแบบสไปเป็นหมันอะ
Not a whole lot of healing here on the Bros. They do have Emilio, but outside of that, not a massive need for Mortal Reminder, but he could still go it. There is effort with a Bramble Vest actually, so I think
สรุปก็คือถ้าเกิดจะเคาน์เตอร์ออนอาจจะมีเรื่องพี่ว่าเวกน่าจะเป็นการเคาน์เตอร์ออนที่ดีที่สุดแล้วใส่เวกไว้ในซึ่งก็ต้องเล่นแบบต้องเล่นม่วงวะต้องเล่นม่วงเท่านั้นเลย
Not exactly a gigantic lead for the Rise in this game, and is in fact a little bit behind in farm, but the kill.
แจ็คพอเป็นส้มเขียวการ์ดมันโดนปัดสเปลโคตรง่ายถ้าตายแล้วตายเลยตั้งบอลใหม่ใช้รูนเยอะยังหาทางแก้ไม่ได้มันใช้ยากตรงนี้นะเพราะโดนแดงทำสเปลใส่กระบาดลงม่วงปัดฟ้าปัดเหลืองฆ่า
And Roma is still just on 7, but that should tick up before BDDs goes to 9. And it is Mortal Reminder done here for Geo as well. Item number 2.
ดูจากที่เราพูดมันคือการที่เราโดนเขาใช้สเปลใส่ใช่ปะเราก็ใส่ Hem of Suspension ไปดิ
I think they have tools to potentially shut him down
ที่พี่ใส่แล้วพี่ใส่ไปใบเดียวนะแต่ถ้าเราแบบรู้สึกว่าแม่งเป็นปัญหาใส่แม่งหลายๆใบปะ
and they're trying to maintain control of the banana brush here and stop Hanjin Brion from moving in.
Yeah, this could be our first honest team fight here in this game. We'll see how well the Bros
เพช
can
รแบบ
use
บิ๊
this
กนะ
terrain
อย่างกับ BB เลย
in order to make it difficult for KT.
แอฟฟอร์ดจะเปิดไหมเพชรโดนแล้วเราเคสตรงนี้เจ็บ เพชรตีเข้ามาลงตายเคล็ดดีๆแบบห้องเครื่องว่ะตรงนี้จิวมาแล้วเรียบร้อยว่ะคือ
This core of KT following up BDD on disabling target after target after target, bro, really struggled to push into the space that KT had control of.
Suspension นะคือศัตรูใช้สเปลจะต้องจ่ายมานาเพิ่ม1ถ้า Empower ต้องจ่ายมานาเพิ่ม1กับ Exhaust ด้วยต้องรีไซเคิลด้วยเด็กป้าเอ็มเก่งไหมคะอย่างเราเก่งคือพี่ไม่คิดว่าเด็กไหนจะไม่เก่งแบบของมันมีความเก่งความสนุกของมันอยู่แล้วก็ไม่มีเด็กไหนที่ไม่จะวินเลทเกือบ 100% มันแบบมันสามารถสู้ได้เว้ยน่ะเด็กไอเวิร์นที่พี่รู้สึกว่าแบบมีคนบอกว่ามันไม่ได้เก่งมากนะพอไปนั่งเจอจริงๆพี่ว่ามันก็เก่งนะมันก็มีมุมที่แบบว่าน่ารำคาญแบบเป็นตัวไอเวิร์นแบบเราเจอแล้วเราก็เหนื่อยไม่ได้แบบอีซี่แบบไม่ได้อีซี่แบบนั้นดีไอเด็กมันไม่เคยเห็นเลยว่าไม่รู้ยังไม่ได้ดูเลยเน่ๆเห็นคลิปแล้วแต่ว่ายังไม่มีโอกาสได้ดูเลยเดี๋ยวว่าจะหาจังหวะดู
to prevent the Olaf from
เด็ก
finding
ทีโม่แมง
value,
มุม
to
นี่ไม่รู้ว่า
prevent
ไม่เคยเห็น
Cuz from having a way out without that flash. Let's see what the Bros find another fight though, as it looks like we are getting straight into it. Cuz getting burst down, has a spell shield, it's into the backline goes the Olaf. The wall is decent this time, but casting is going to get mown down.
พัดลมแม่ง
The
แรง
bullet
จัด
times from Gio this game have just been phenomenal. And now with the Baron on 4
แล้ว
and
วิธี
3
แบ
dead
บไล
on the
ฟ์แบบ
Bros, they should
ทำ
be able
มิ่ง
to
มา
get
ปุ๊บแบบ
so
ไม่กลัว
much
เลย
structural
คือ
damage.
คือเหมือนเคล็ดมันเจอแบบไลฟ์ไม่ไหวอ่ะ
close to massive spikes as well, considering they've just decimated the last two
นี่
fights.
ขนาดไม่มี
The
actualizer
next
นะ
one should be even more
ไอ้
one-sided
ไซออน
for
ไอ้
KT.
ไซออนมีด้วยวะ
Teddy just not able to
แต่
cut
พี่
through the
คุ้น
bulk
ๆว่าเหมื
in
อน
time, and
ผมไม่
Roma
เคยเจอเลย
starting
นะ
to feel vulnerable.
ไซออนเป็น
This
ตัว
was
ที่
a
แบบ
fight
คนน่า
where
จะเล่นนะ
pretty much everyone's flashes, in fact everyone's flashes were on cooldowns, and KT
ยังไม่มี
really found
ใช่
favor because of that. Now Cuz could be in trouble.
Yeah, Teddy's going to look for a bit of an angle here. As Cuz is taking a lot of damage. Let's see, Piercing Light does come on down. He's looking to chase after this Nocturne. Oh, gets a bit of speed from the Cinders. Cinder value, ladies and gentlemen.
One more dash.
Teddy, he's going to get
the
one.
Cinder.
Oh, the Cinder, another one. Teddy gets another one too, though.
Oh,
and
nice
finds
snipe.
the minion.
Look at BDD on the map. He has Realm Warp. Was that an overchase? Was that enough for him to get in? It looks like the pings are coming through.
Or was it all a bait? There's Actualizer making his way up, and yeah, BDD is very, very scary. Here's the teleport in from the Kled. Now I'm going to be taken down first. He tries to hold himself beforehand. There's the blast cone. Perfect trying to get kited here as Effort throws down the dredge line, but now the culling is going to come through from Teddy. He wants to find Perfect, and he might have to settle for Effort here as they take down Gideon. Teddy's eliminated, and KT just move up and destroy them.
At some point, you've got to feel that the chase of the Nocturne just went on too long. BDD comes in, and with an Actualizer with 3 items, there is no way they can handle him here.
เดี๋ยวเซเวย์แน่นอน TFT ครับไม่ต้องห่วง
And they just dive in with the Nocturne, and the threat of the Olaf as well makes it so uncomfortable for the Anivia. Well,
speaking of uncomfortable Anivia's here, sir. She is dead once again. Effort will be traded.
Die for it. Yeah, in that last fight, it was actually Gideon like cataclysmed Roma in with Perfect, which,
oh no,
you know, was not ideal. And now 7,000 gold lead. KT will just demolish these structures if they want to push anymore, but looks like they'll back off, seeing the respawns coming in from Teddy. They feel no pressure in this game to force things right now. They are so strong right now. And this is that chase. You know, Cuz using the Cinders, kiting away, playing into the Fog of War as well, Teddy not having Blue Trinket. And then when he finally gets in with a snipe, you can see all of KT on the map converging. BDD moving in, and they feel so confident they can take a fight here. And the big thing as well is Namgun ends up being the sacrifice, which is objectively the right call, but the Lucian loses so much power being by himself.
เดี๋ยวฟอร์ดมันเดินอ้อมมาแล้วอะเท็ดดี้ก็เลยไม่รู้ไปทางไหน
move with the blast cone, but it's just not enough. It's just not
เฮ้ยเอมมิ่ง
strong enough when Perfect and BDD are
ลืม
level
วิธีเลย
16,
จิว
very
จิว
bulky. It just does not have the damage.
Yeah, Teddy trying to use the culling to find some value, doesn't really get too much of anything at all. And Perfect, even though he's stuck inside a Cataclysm, he is going to be absolutely fine. Having a look here at Roma, who is trying a little bit of a cheeky maneuver there, but I mean, Effort has just found the angles over and over again, and Gio is just looking phenomenal here on this Misfortune. I really thought that this was going to be the part of the map that was going to go against KT. We haven't seen Gio and Effort find all that much success. But they have looked great. They weathered the storm in the bottom lane, and I think that Gio has had some really fantastically placed bullet times in these fights. He's just doing way more DPS.
Yeah, he's been having massive value in the team fights, and this lane strategy of I'm chunked, I'll just run back. He definitely got his steps in. And was able to survive the lane and get to this point where he's just monstrously strong. The Bloodthirster means he can't really be poked.
And you can't get that strategy banned out with Fearless as well, because he can play Hecarim next game. And it'll be totally fine.
Yeah, why not? At this point,
ฮอปเลเจนด์ริบาวเชื่อพี่ดิเดี๋ยวแม่งต้องมีแบบมีเฟเกอร์คนแรกแล้วก็มีอูซี่เพื่อเอาไปขายคนจีนเล่นแบบเป็นแบบแชมเปี้ยนเวน
Ramus Hecarim bot lane.
Not together because Gio needs to play them so
แชมเปี้ยนเวนนี่พี่คิดว่าน่าจะเป็น
So Ramus bot lane instead of support like Beryl did.
Yeah, perfect. But he has to be the one farming though.
มูฟ3ทีแล้วก็ทำดาเมจใส่ตัวหนึ่งแล้วตายเลยไม่เวิร์กเท่าไหร่มูฟ3ทีแม่งทำยากเกิน
12 seconds on that next dragon, and without the Baron right now, it's a bit difficult for for KT to push in and siege. I think just move the dragon, secure that. I don't think Bro will challenge. I don't think they can. It feels bad. It's a third dragon. You'd love to contest this, but they're not in a position to do
มันมีโดดยิง
especially
มัน
when
มี
Teddy's approaching the IE spike. Now you can
แล้วก็
start to
มี
play
สกิล
towards the
ไอ้ที่ดัน
Baron.
อ่ะ
And honestly,
เป็น
something
อะไร
I
เนี่ย
wish that Bro had done. You know they're
คอน
going to
เด
go
ม
for the
เป็นแบบ
dragon. Take that time to get some
แบบ
vision
ซิก
down
เน
the
เจอ
top
ร์
side of the map. Because instead,
สามารถดันศัตรู
has been hanging around
ออกมา
with
จาก
Teddy, as Emilio likes to do.
พุช
But there's
ดัน
just
ศัตรู
no
ให้กลับไปที่
vision
เบส
here
ได้
for Bro. And it's going to make it so hard to contest. Gideon's trying to fish here with the flag, but he doesn't have wards to
หรือ
place
ไม่ก็ดัน
down.
ศัตรู
And there's just a complete void
ตัวหนึ่ง
in
ให้กลาย
that
เป็น
Baron
แบ็คไล
area.
น์
KT could start it at
แล้ว
any
ตัวนั้นสตัน
time, and Bro would not know.
Well, I think they're going to try and start it basically as soon as possible. I think they know exactly how powerful they are. As Gideon moving up with his sweeper, spots
เดี๋ยวนี้
effort
พี่บิด
out,
บ่อย
knows
นะ
that they are not on it just
บิดอะไร
yet.
อะมินโฮบิดตอนไหนครับ
KT is still threatening. And the Bros
แต่ว่า
now
คือเมื่อก่อนอ่ะ
finally
จะหยุด
group
จันทร์
up
อั
to
ง
see
คาร
whether they can get rid of some of this vision. We'll
แต่
see whether
พอมัน
KT
มี
just
ซู
start
ใช่
a
ป่ะ
fight
ก็เลยไม่ได้หยุดจันทร์
at
อัง
the
คาร
start of
เลย
this
สตรีม
as
ทุก
there
วัน
are
พอ
just
เนี่ย
sweeps
นี่คือสัปดาห์แรก
all
เลย
over
ที่ห
the
ยุดจันทร์อัง
place.
คารตรงเนี้ย
Flash is back up
แล้
and
วแบบว่า
available,
มัน
so a
ได้
bit
แบบ
more safety for
มันได้รู้สึกว่ามันได้
Bo5
ผมได้พัก
and
แบบรู้สึกได้
Be
พัก
able
แบ
to
บ
just play the distance. GA also picked up from Gideon.
Could actually be a bit of a big deal here. Finding that item spike and being able to make his way out onto the rift once again.
And he still doesn't have the IE though, and that's such a big factor. BDD's got a completed Zhonya's.
คิดว่าพอมีแผงเวอร์
KT are
ของลิ
so
ปเปล่า
strong
ก็
and they
ทำ
are
การ์ดไม้คน
fishing for this.
ได้
If
ใช้
they
มัน
push
แล้ว
up
ตอน
too
แนวอาร์
far
มีแต่คุ้น
with the Nautilus, with the
ต้องพยายาม
knockdowns,
ดั
very
น
easy for KT to engage.
Oh, there's the depth charge. It's onto Teddy in that backline as they are looking to dismount this Kled once again. Realm Warp doesn't really do too much as the bullet time comes down one more time. It's BDD off on the side. Teddy's going to find the culling. Look at that massive shield though. Getting taken down to that GA already. Roma just barely survives as he looks to get himself out, but the Jarvan not going to be so lucky. And the Bros are lucky to just lose their jungler, but because they do, they'll also lose the Baron.
It's just so hard to deal with the Rise right now.
ไม่การพักเนี่ยมันคือการที่เราแบบอยากทำอะไรก็ได้ อยากจะ
KT felt like
อยากจะพักผ่อนโซนไหนก็ได้
still concerned, even with the
อยากจะ
jungler
เล่นเกม
down.
สักตาหนึ่ง
Don't want to get trapped into
ก็ได้ย่อมได้
I don't know whether you're allowed to do that. There's the flash fire kick here as Teddy gets his barrier, decides to go back in as the Kled is able to take down the Olaf, but it's a triple for this misfortune.
พักบ้างพี่จะได้มีเวลาไป
And
ลำ
Gio
มิ
is
ดเบา
just not getting respected in these fights. He's doing so much damage.
And bro,
แต่น้องเล่นไม่ชอบนะลงกลุ่มดราม่า
you'd stop them from going for the Baron. I think this play was a mistake going beyond this. This play initially, we see them fighting back. The bait for the Realm was pretty nice. They also moved to try and respond to it, and then the paranoia bullet time comes in. But look, they actually try and get onto BDD. Look how much damage he takes, and then the actualized shield comes through. And bear in mind, he still had Zhonya's as well, and there's just no way you were able to deal with him. Teddy tries to find the damage, but like I said, the short-range Lucian's so hard to play in these team fights. So hard to find angles. He gets chunked out here. Has to disengage, but then sticks around, looks for the kill. I remember he was so close to completing Infinity Edge. And he opted against finishing it here. They opt to fight when the Baron wasn't on the cards. And now KT have picked up that objective.
เมื่อไหร่มีเกมผีตอนนี้เกมที่อยากเล่นมากสุดจะเป็นเกม
10,000 gold behind.
Gio has an Infinity Edge and then some. He's got himself a scope for both of his guns as well.
เหมือนเราได้เป็นแบบเป็นแบบนักวิจัยของ SpaceX อะไรอย่างเงี้ยเลยแล้วเราก็สร้างยานแบบต่อ
as item number 5. And it's just an elixir of wrath and a dream here for this Lucian. And even though like Perfect has only got one kill in this game, because as well, it's not been about them, it's about BDD and Gio and how well they've been dishing out this damage in these team fights.
เหมือนมินโฮมาถึงแล้วก็ทวงทุกอย่างที่แม่งพายคือเหมือนตอบคำถามทวงแรกได้มินโฮทวงอันอื่นต่อถ้าทวงอันอื่นต่อมินโฮทวงอันอื่นต่อทวงไม่กูยอมตัวด่ากันได้อยากด่าอะไรอยากว่าอะไรว่าเลยครับ
but he's the only person on Bro that can kind of really assist here with getting these waves out and controlling them. It's a minute until Infernal Soul as well.
แล้วเขาบอกสแคปมันอีกอันนี้ไม่ใช่นั่นนะก็คือวันหยุดมันคือเหมือนมันหยุดแบบสัปดาห์นึงมันหยุดแบบแทนหยุดเสาร์อาทิตย์พี่หยุดจันทร์อังคารเนี่ยแม่งคือ4 วัน2 สัปดาห์ที่แม่งหยุดไปแล้ว
Okay. Who's digging the hole?
I think casting is really starting. He's really giving it an honest shot.
งานเกมคอนเมื่อวานพี่อยากเล่นเกมไหมเขาเมื่อวานไม่ได้ดูเลย
How many tunnels do you think you'll need to be able to get to the enemy nexus?
I mean, we can test it with a Rek'Sai.
That's a good
เมื่อวานนั่งทำในตัวโปรแกรมของลิบาวต่อนี่แหละเพราะว่าคืออยากจะให้มันจับการได้ไวที่สุดแล้วเมื่อวานก็เหมือนจะ อยากได้ชื่อก็ทำและเมื่อวานเน็ตแม่งเลวด้วยแม่งเทสแล้วมันก็แบบคือไม่รู้ว่าเน็ตแม่งเลวแบบงงว่าทำไมแบบเราทำโปรแกรมแล้วมันแบบกล้องมันเข้ามาแล้วภาพไม่ชัดวะเป็นเพราะว่าโปรแกรมบอกว่ามันดึงยังไงวะงงอ๋อเน็ตไม่ดี
But we'll see whether it's going to find him some value here as the bullet time almost cuts Teddy to shreds. Gives you the space to just one-tap this turret. Crystalline Overgrowth helping out as, Gideon does not want to do this. Roma would have been there, but I think the perfect was going to be fine. So maybe Cataclysm and Crystallize could have been a problem. But that is going to be Infernal Soul here for KT. Happy to slow this game down, play it by the book, not willing to throw anything away.Even if they do have almost a 12,000 gold lead, kind of want to get BDD to a perfect, 8-0-8 type scoreline here as the Paranoia comes in. Gideon going to be able to get the knock up here on Takluz. That gets rid of him, but they do scare the bejeebers out of Namguk now.
Able to disengage though, don't have to burn anything as well, so you're pretty happy. Now they're looking for perfect.Perfect is just going to walk away, but the Cataclysm will prevent that one from being a possibility. Only one exhaust, unfortunately, so the Olaf will be going down. And now Effort, possibly in trouble, was trying to escape the Crystallize, which was being very frustrating. Finds a stun here, does Roma. And Effort is going to have to back away. No, he just turns it into an engage. Fire kick comes down, the egg is exposed. And Gio takes another one. BDD flashes out of the way and goes golden to avoid death.Teddy is eliminated. The rebound comes in from passing, but he's still just going to get mown down. Here by Gio gets another triple. Could even be a quadra as he flashes for it. And KT finally having a good time on Summoner's Rift. Decimation from KT on the back end of this game. They try and find an angle in. They've already gotten a pick on the Olaf.
คือประกาศเขาประกาศในเกมคอน 1.0 เดี๋ยวไปดูดิว่ามัน
in game 1 of this series. Gideon, he's got the GA to try and defend.
Let's see what he can do here. He just kind of explodes down to the GA, and the bullet time will be enough to take him out here as Gio gets a pentakill, actually. I was about to say unofficial penta, but it's official as Gio in game number 1 of this best of 5. A phenomenal performance, 21 KDA on the Misfortune.
แล้วมัน2-3-0 จะเป็นไงวะเนี่ย
But he didn't come in today.So he didn't come in today doing anything.
ขอบคุณด้วยนะครับคุณแมรี่คา SF ด้วยนะครับขอบคุณนะครับขอบคุณนะครับ
He's been dodging the LCK recently.
Just hasn't really been around.
พี่เจไปต่อขนตาเก็บไว้เป็นที่ระทึก
Maybe he forgot that he has a job.
พี่ถามหน่อยร้านที่พี่สั่งรวมภาษียังของ
คือ
เดี๋ยวพอมันส่งเข้ามาที่ไทยมันจะน่าจะโดนภาษีอีกรอบนึงตรงนั้นก็ไปจ่ายเพิ่มก็น่าจ่ายเพิ่มตั้ง 3,000 มั้งภาษีมันก็จะดูจากกล่องแล้วดูราคาที่อยู่ที่กล่องแล้วคิดภาษีไปเลย
Not going to be able to do that again, and let's see what they are going to put together for themselves as Hanjin Brion find themselves in possession of first pick this time.
Yeah, it was KT with that last time, and I think honestly, Hanjin Brion's bans were pretty limited as a result. They banned Cassiopeia, Orianna, and Vi, which are just like the most standard bans that we have right now, whereas a bit more flexibility offered to KT when they had the first pick position. I'm kind of seeing the reverse of that now. A lot of homework.Have to be done by second pick, and this is not something unique to this meta. We've seen that a lot in the LCK.
Oh yeah. Haven't seen Valdez though in chat, so that's a bit of a shame. But maybe I missed it. You never know. Cassio, let's see whether the Orianna will be banned next. I assume Cassio Orianna will be.
มันจะเป็นอย่างนี้มิโนมันจะเป็นแบบสมมติสั่งเสื้อแมนยูมา 2,000 บาทมันจะแบบ60 ยูโรอะไรอย่างเงี้ยมันก็จะแบบว่าจัดให้เราเลยอีกว่าสัก 30% อะไรเงี้ยมันก็จัดแบบ20 ยูโรต้องจ่ายอะไรเงี้ยมันก็จะคิดจะเลขกลมๆ20 ยูโรอะไรเงี้ยจ่ายภาษีเราก็ต้องไปจ่ายที่ไปรษณีย์ถ้าเราไม่จ่ายเขาก็จะไม่ให้ของเขาก็ตีของกลับเราก็ไปรับที่ไปรษณีย์เราก็จ่ายภาษีแล้วเราก็ได้ของมาชำระเงินได้ของกลับบ้านคือของมันจะไม่มาส่งที่เรามันจะแบบมีเหมือนมีใบมาบอกว่าของมาส่งนะให้เราไปเอาของที่ไปรษณีย์ใช่ของมันจะเป็นใบแบบมาส่งที่บ้านเราว่าของหรือไม่เราก็เช็คได้ว่าไปรษณีย์แบบ คือเราเช็ค EMS ได้ว่าของอยู่ที่ไหนมันก็จะบอกของอยู่ที่ไปรษณีย์ไม่มาส่งให้เราจริงๆเขามาส่งให้เราแหละแต่เขาแบบว่าเราต้องจ่ายแล้วเราพี่มันไม่อยู่แล้วคอนโดอะไรเงี้ยแบบเขาก็จะแบบต้องไปเอาที่ไปรษณีย์
but with Orianna being banned by KT, Vi is just pretty obvious here.
Yep. Pretty comfortable first pick here for the Bros as Yunara Lulu likely to be the answer here for Geo and Effort.
Big confidence pickup here, and specifically into Vi, this is a pick that we often saw banned away when you wanted to prioritize Yunara because it does a good job of holding her accountable.
1,500-2,000 เม็ดไม่น่าโดนจากประสบการณ์
with this Rumble Ari, this is a trio that we've seen be more popular.
จบนี้เล่นอะไรต่อไหมครับ
a bit more popular recently in the LCK.
ตอนนี้พี่กำลังคิดอยู่ในหัวแบบว่าเราจะไปแข่งวันนี้ดีไหมวะหรือเราจะ
I think it makes complete sense in terms of shutting down a hyper carry.
เพราะวันนี้มันดูแบบตื่นมาแล้วมันดูง่วงเลยพี่ลองไปชงกาแฟสักหน่อยดีกว่า
Yeah, could certainly do that. Syndra also works in a very similar way, except you have a little bit less mobility. But I do like the keep away that you can play there as well. Instead, he is going to be heading your direction so that Ari will be locked in.
But the question is, what are you going to pick here from KT?
Neferi.
That is definitely an option you can go for, but maybe if you want to match mid now,
yeah, could be an
take the opportunity to do so. You know, the Syndra was hovered. There's also things like the Aurora. Annie is an option too. And we'll see what they go for, but it is just going to be that Neferi you mentioned, one in the matchup, because originally a counter to Vi, we saw Neferi coming in the meta in that way.
Yep.
And then now it's just picked generally, but still has that good matchup, be able to dodge away from so much of what Gideon wants to do. And now the bans come in, so...
Double bot lane bans under Teddy and Namgung is a little bit scary here. I think if you are a Bro fan, they have locked down a very strong top side of the map, but someone has to pay the price. So Teddy's very powerful. Corki is going to be taken away. I think he's still undefeated on this, like 6-0 so far this season, which is kind of unheard of. But Kasante going to be taken away here as they can protect this Rumble pick towards the top side.
I feel like Kai'Sa could go well with this Bro composition. I feel like we've seen, you know, Teddy Xayah be fantastic. Seraphine might be a bit risky with Neferi about and you don't know the solo laners, but I think there's just a lot of options still for Teddy and Namgu, and I don't think they have to be too worried, and they will take away Teddy's Xayah. This feels like there are so many options for the bot lane that, like, let's specifically target Teddy's top picks right now, which I feel like are that Corki and Xayah taken off the cards, but still a lot of options available for him.
Yeah, Kalista Renata is still up as well. We've seen that combo find a bit of success here as Lissandra.
I think that's a good ban, actually. You know, a good matchup into Ari, and something with the mandate rush. The 2-item spike is so quick and so powerful.
On. All right. Bit of a classic, and will give this KT composition so much longevity. Playing for the late game looks to be the aim of the game here for the roller coasters, as there is that Kalista that I was talking about before. Likely to just be slammed here, as Kalista Renata would give them a lot of power where they want it, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, if they're not able to win the game, then it's likely that KT will be able to find a lot of options, but there is that Renata lock-in. Namgung just teasing us with a potential Camille that they do decide to head over towards the Renata afterwards. And so now, what is BDD going to be playing, and how can they sort of bridge this composition
Ali
the late game? And the Syndra might be able to do that.
I think Syndra makes sense. BDD's phenomenal on this pick. It makes Teddy's life really difficult. Especially, like, you may think, oh, well, you can be bailout. You can use the bailout on him. But if you get Scatter the Week into ulted, you're not going to have any opportunity to really
ถ้าโชคดีหน่อยมันจะไปติดอยู่ที่ด่านสุดแล้วก็จังหวัดครับไปบอกเขาเลยว่าใช้ของส่วนตัวไม่เสียสักบาท
and a lot of scaling elements in the composition. The one makes sense as well as a momentum killer. This composition for Han Jin-Bryon is
จริงปะเนี่ยมันมีแบบนั้นด้วยเหรอไม่เสียเงินมีด้วยเหรอ
Quite feast of famine. You want to crush the bot lane 2v2 in a fight. You want that initial
แต่ว่าบางอย่างอ่ะมาต่างประเทศจากต่างประเทศอย่างไอ้ของ AliExpress เงี้ยมันก็ไม่ได้รวมภาษีอะไรนะเว้ยมันก็ส่งมาแบบถึงห้องอะไรเงี้ยมันซื้อ USB มันอันละ1,000มันก็ไม่เป็นไรนะ
There were a lot of challenges for it, which I think is still true here. But at least there's, I feel like, more offered by his teammates with the Ari and the Rumble here.
Not to mention, I think Romer is going to be punished less for his teamfight positioning on the Ari. You can sort of just skirt around, try and get yourself those resets, and get yourself into the game. So I think that this composition looks pretty robust for the Bros, but I love it when teams pick comps that have very different win conditions and win windows here in this game. Right, KT want to be playing for that late game, front-to-back team fights, utilizing their very strong front line in the Ornn and the Lulu there with that wild growth in order to create havoc in these team fights. Polymorph can be very, very dangerous as well. Meanwhile, this comp from the Bros just does so much damage in the mid-game, it might be just too much for KT to deal with. Let's get into it.
มันดูไม่ได้เว้ยว่ามันอยู่ไหนแล้วมาถึงวันที่10มั้งพี่ไปซื้อนี้มานะไปซื้อกับลุงจีมาคนละอัน
我们的计分器可以记录每一次符文战场的战斗过程，让你更好的，而且
มันน่ารักดีอ่ะเนี่ยมีนับแต้มมีใส่แต้ม8แต้มแล้วก็มีแบบบวกไม้เยอะมากมี6อันลบไม้6อันลบเลือด3อันมีแทงสเปลดาเมจแกงกิ้งสตันอะไรก็อันนี้มันชัวร์ป่ะพี่ผมสนใจของเว็บนี้อยู่พี่ซื้อมา1อันได้มานะได้ของที่แบบอยากได้มา1อันแต่มันก็อันนั้นมันก็แบบว่าสุดท้ายแล้วมันก็ใช้แบบของพี่มันคือมันของถูกต้องแต่ว่าพี่มันมาใช้กับที่พี่อยากได้มันไม่ได้อยู่ดีแต่ตอนนั้นผมสั่งนาฬิกากล่องใหญ่มาลงที่บ้านเขตผมส่งก่อนจอเฉยตอนนั้นได้ไงไม่รู้ไอ้โดนภาษีตั้งแต่บาทแรกแล้วนี่ผมบอกเลยถ้าผ่านนะผ่าน
have not stacked up, haven't wave access, so now they've got control. And Gio keeps the passive stacked up. It's actually really hard, especially with a Lulu as well.
We're not so often
that auto attack trader who has the passive. You both auto someone, there's a burst of damage. Lulu doesn't even need that.
เพิ่งได้เด็กลีเลียมาเล่นได้ยาวไหมครับจะมีช่วงไหนห้ามเล่นเด็กเก่าหรือเปล่าไม่มีนะมีแต่แบนแบบ Battlefield แล้วแค่ต้องเปลี่ยน Battlefield แค่นั้นเองมันจะมีแต่แบนการ์ดส่วนไม่ค่อยไม่ลีเลียไม่น่าเลยฮะเล่นได้ยาวๆอยู่แล้วเราแค่ต้องปรับเด็กไปเรื่อยๆโอ้ชางเขาป้อมหรอพี่ลองไปจ้างร้านทำคอสลูกเต่าไหมทำคอสตอมเองน่าสนใจนะ
and you can often just bully out the R if you're connecting all the skill shots.
And casting hanging out here towards this top side, just dealing with Perfect, who has pushed this lane in so far.
I think KT pretty happy with how things are playing out in these early levels.
See a few first picks here as Teddy and Namgung haven't actually played this combo just yet in the LCK. Of course, if you've been a Teddy fan for a while, you know that he is well versed on the Callista. Really do need to see whether he's found some positive performances more recently. I can say that his last solo queue game was on Callista and he lost.
Oh.
So there's that.
Well, hoping to redeem himself.
Yeah. You know, never end the night on a loss. So maybe this counts as last night, which is I think when his last solo queue game was on that particular account. As we don't necessarily know how many accounts these guys are playing on. That is just the only known one that I have access to.
Good trades again from KT, and I feel like Teddy and Namgung really want to push this wave and get a restart off themselves. They're just kind of being pressured out. Effort with the glitter lances, just making Teddy really pay for this.
Yeah, this is getting real difficult as Teddy is just going to leave. Going to make his way back in again. A little bit more power, might be able to find himself some shoes or something like that, but I don't think the Berserkers are coming in just yet. It's a little bit too early for that one.
So the important thing for KT is that you just be really cautious about investing into skirmishes in the bot side, specifically because that's really where Cluster Renata shines. Yes, the laning is very strong. Yes, you can bully out a lane. That's not obviously happening so far this game, but if you get into a fight in the jungle, so easily you could see Bro just taking over the game from there. So your lanes are doing well.
เห็นออนแล้วแบบก็อยากเล่นออนเลยเนาะแบบเล่นออนแบบในแอลนะ
Just cool, calm, collected is going to be the aim of the game. Sometimes that has been where KT have struggled, which is saying no to the.
ปีหน้าพี่อยากได้ท็อปอยากได้คนไหนมาเป็นท็อปของ T1 พี่
Definitely so good though here in this series as BDD sets up that scatter to deny the back from Roma.
เอาตรงตอนนี้ถ้าเกิดมันเบอร์1จริงๆก็คงเป็นซุดอะถ้าอยากจะได้ดีสุดมันก็คงซุดแหละ
Actually manages to get the CS and I think that Roma is just going to try and channel that back once again and as we can see here he does.
ไปเห็นเด็กออนในแข่งอย่างซิ่งโอ้โหยากเล่นยากต้องมาลองดูมันแบบมันเป็นแบบเด็กบริหารนี่อีกแบบบริหารทรัพยากรอะอยากได้คินโหแฟนคินน่าจะไปนั่นแหละไปท่าละอยากได้แฟนโหแฟนเก่าจะเตะโดรานอย่างเดียว
It's definitely been a slower jungle series so far. Gideon Cuz kind of just prioritizing farm in the early levels, not actively looking for too much. Obviously, game one there was a Nocturne, there's a Jarvan on the other side here as well. I think it makes sense for KT to slow the pace of the game down, and we all know Bro and Brew is a classic.
Oh, Cuz going to be taking a bit of damage here, but no Volt
แต่ไม่น่ามาหรอกสุดไม่น่ามาเพราะว่า
Gideon is going to get poisoned. Looks like he will be
ที่วัน
able
น่า
to
จะไม่
get
เอาอยู่แล้ว
control of this Rift
ที่วัน
Scuttle
เป็นแน
though.
วปั้นใหม่เรื่อย
It's so hard to really hold an Fury accountable. The leap is so large, so much terrain that you can get over. Bro though, almost kind of asking KT to challenge him. Big thing is because Gideon picked up the Scuttle, he's now hit level 6, has that ult available, Cuz is not there.
Yeah.
Does match the upgraded smite importantly though. He can
ๆ
try
เอา
and
อะไร
go for
ไม่น่า
steal
ปล่อย
here,
Not going to
but
be able to
it'll
get
be
there.
scared. Good moves from Bro. And I think that the confidence
คือ
to
ด้วย
go
ความ
for
ที่
the
พี่ว่า
dragon,
ฮาวาแล้วจะยื่น
and
เงื่อนไขที่มัน
they
แบ
would
บ
be
ว่า
ready to take a fight. As I
ดี
said,
เพียงพอ
Western
ที่จะ
Honor super good
มัน
no
ก็แบบ
skirmishes.
เอ้
The fact
มันก็
that
ดีอยู่
Gideon
แล้
got
ว
the level 6 first, everything was stacked in Bro's favor. So I think
แล้วก็ไม่รู้ด้วยว่าทีวันจะยื่นหรือเปล่าด้วยคือเพราะว่าของเกาหลีมันจะเป็นแบบนักแข่งห้ามคุยกับใครจนกว่าที่แบบจะหมดสัญญา
As we have a slight gold lead for Gio, but that is just because he picked up a cult, and that is giving him a bit
อ๋อ
of
หม่ง
extra
อะไรวะ
money.
น่ะเฮ้ยperfect
Taking a lot here from casting, who just silences himself and goes to town on this
อ๋อเมื่อกี้
on.
น่าจะแบบไม่ได้มั่วหรอกแต่ว่าน่าจะกดแบบทำดาเมจ E เพื่อให้มันไม่ติด first
And
strike
moves up to about a 300 gold lead, the only lead for the Bros on the map, but it has been able to equalize the gold between the two teams quite comfortably, as we can see here.
แล้วทอมหมดสัญญาเมื่อไหร่
I do feel a little bit worried though. If the game is just this even and this comfortable, then KT are just going to be very, very happy, scaling on up over and over again. And the Bros, they're the ones that are going to have to put their feet on the accelerator.
ดูจากการถ่ายโฆษณา
I will
ถ่าย
say maybe
รา
I'm
ยการ
getting
ถ่ายอะไร
nervous
เยอะ
because
ไปหมด
it's
เล
just
ย
not
อะ
quite at that time yet. And I
เอาจ
should
ริง
be
นะเว้ย
nervous.
I think it's okay. I think Bro have a lot of team fighting power. So as long as they're not behind, I think it's still fine when we get to those bigger team fights. And I think a big thing is because they got the early dragon very early, it pushes.
คือฟอร์มมันเริ่มมาดรอปช่วงแบบรู้สึกว่ามันโฆษณามันออกมาเยอะเหลือเกิน
It'll force KT to fight sooner rather than later for that third dragon. We got a swap coming in from KT. Last game it was Teddy who made the swap to kind of great effect. But it'll just be Gio picking up some farm here. I think that's one thing with the role quests is that obviously swapping like this is going to take a dent on the bot lane role quest. But you don't actually get that much gold extra from minions, so if you're a little late on it, it's not a huge deal. The main thing is that you don't have access to that big chunk of gold you get immediately. But as long as you don't fight when Teddy has that gold and complete an item, it's not too much of an issue. So I think making this swap here, getting some pressure down in the top lane, does allow Bro here to get some damage in the towers, but it's 3 grubs for Cuz. Gideon, 0 grubs in this series.
At least the Bros managed to take first round, so they equalized the neutral objectives. But like you were saying, Gideon very upset about that. He's Gideon grubs for a reason. Still 2 plates do go over to the Bros here towards his bottom side.
มันล้า
And that has
เหมือนเอาง่ายว่าเหมือนกลับมาแล้วก็เล่นแต่แผนเดิมๆทำอะไรเดิมๆแล้วฟอร์มแล้วตัวที่เล่นเดิมๆก็ฟอร์มตกด้วยมันแทบไม่มีอะไรใหม่เลยเว้ยสำหรับพี่นะทีวันอะเรื่องดาร์ฟมันทุกอย่างมันไม่มีแบบนอกเหนือเลยอะมันแทบจะดาร์ฟเป็นดาร์ฟเดิมทำเหมือนเดิมและเล่นดรอปลงมันคือแค่นั้นเลยทีวันตอนนั้น
Both junglers around the bot side of the map if anything's going to break out, but definitely a different vibe.
มีแบบเซอร์ไพรส์แบบเลนล่างรอบนั้นรอบหนึ่งที่เป็นลัมโบกลางเซอร์ไพรส์แค่ครั้งนั้นเลยที่เหลือแม่งคือแบบเหมือนเดิมเลย
And we've got another room as well as there's a great knock up onto casting. The Ram comes down, grabs the knock up onto the Rumble again, as now casting realizes that he's very, very dead. First blood goes over to BDD, and he's going to immediately teleport back to this mid lane to pick up the wave.
Crazy, BDD is laning against a guy called Roma,
and
he's been the one making the moves in the lane phase. Both games so far, making a massive impact in the side lanes.
And I think I would say that it's more difficult to roam on a Syndra than it is on
ที่
the
หมดใจ
Ahri.
แล้วก็บอกมาจริง
Absolutely.
พี่เป็น
You
มา
know,
นานแล้ว
post 6,
ใช่
Ahri often fishing, and we even saw Roma trying to make a move down towards bot
มันไม่หมด
lane.
ใจแต่หมายถึงว่าตอนนี้มัน
BDD
แบบ
is the one who finds
เข้าใจได้ว่า
the
มันแบบ
timing and is able to pick up this kill
คือส
on
รุป
Rumble.
สรุปคือโค้ดไปอยู่ด้วยไหมเนี่ยคือหรือว่าแกแบบแกคงมีแผนเยอะแต่แบบว่ามันไม่พร้อมเล่นจริงๆปัจจัยหลายอย่างมันแบบ
Thus, perfect timing.
ได้แค่
That's
ประคอง
You know what that is? That's
that?
perfect casting.
Oh,
ก็เลยแบบรู้สึกว่าน้อง
perfect casting
น้องที่แบบว่า
That's the top
น้อง
lane.
คนเนี้ยแม่งแบบ
And you. All right, let's
เอ้ย
have
ห
a
รือ
look
ว่า
at
มัน
it
จ
again.
ริงๆแล้วทอมมันเห็น
Perfect
ภาพมากกว่า
casting
เรา
and
อะ
perfect timing from BDD.
คือมันเหมือนกับว่า
I mean,
ทีม
Cassius knows
ทีม
he's
ทีม
dead
ทีม
as
ตอน
a
เนี้ย
back
แม่ง
pivot,
คือ
gets
แบบ
behind
แท
him,
บ
and
ไม่ได้
even, like,
แบบ
bumps him back a little
เหมือน
bit.
แบบฟอร์มไม่ดีแล้วแทบไม่ได้ซ้อมเลยแต่ว่าน้อง
He was
น้องที่เป็นแบบ
trying to clear
อะคาเด
wave
มี่
out,
อ่ะ
uses the
ไอเพนเตอร์
equalizer,
อ่ะ
saves his
มันซ้อม
flash.
บ่อยมันแบบมันฝึก
And in
เยอะ
terms of
มาก
his lane matchup,
มันพร้อมจัดเลยให้มันเล่นแทนก่อนแล้วกัน
giving
และอีกอย่างหนึง
gold
คือแบบ
over to BDD is gonna feel BAD.
เขาอาจจะเห็นภาพนะ
Yes,
ทอม
I think that is certainly not a good time. As Teddy just seeing where Gio and Effort are going. And the Bros really struggling to find some
ไม่มี P กับ
momentum. I think it's the
เค
tempo
เลีย
vibes that they've just not been able
ต่อ
to
ไปที่
claim.
5 ที่ 6
And I
แล้ว
think they're what the Bro tax really pays for.
Yes, I was gonna say we can always find a culprit.
ก็
and it
พูดยาก
is,
เพราะว่าคะแนนทีวันมันดีมา ในราว
it's
1-2
not sufficient.
เยอะ
They are gonna struggle.
และตอน 1-2
Look
อ่ะ
at this.
ที่ต้องบอกว่าเฟ
You
เกอ
can
ร์
tell Cuz to leave
กับโด
by
รันก็
leaving
โชว์เยอะ
enough
ด้วย
Bro tax in the chat. And then he'll back away.
ก็คนอื่นก็โชว์อยู่เหมือนกัน แต่ว่าในราว 3-4 อ่ะยอมรับว่ามันแต่ว่าราว 3-4 มันก็ฟอร์มออกมาห่วยแตกอยู่แล้วมันก็อย่างที่เห็นมันก็แบบ
Yordle. As BDD does get this wave shoved in, and man, it
ไม่ไหว
really
อ่ะ
just feels like KT have more members on the map right now.
It's a good time to cross map. You look at Teddy, already picked up the bot lane roll quest. He has that static shiv completed.
Oh, Equalizer came down to try and catch the wave,
doesn't really
but
get it.
just didn't even really hit.
But yeah, so Grub's in pocket. Jiwoo has 3 stacks left on the call, doesn't have an item completed, doesn't have his roll quest completed.
คือเอาง่ายว่าที
This
วัน
is a
ที่มัน
great time
อัน
for
ดับ
a swap.
จ
And
บ
even
ที่
though
อันดับ
you lose
3 ตอนเนี้ย
that
คือมัน
tower,
เป็นเพราะว่าบุญ
not having
เก่า
to play into the
เยอะมาก
Callisto with the static shiv is a definite boon. So
Form
second
D มัน
dragon
แบบ
just get picked up from Bro. They are continuing to face on those.
เปิดซีซั่นมาด้วยแบบการเป็นอันดับ 1 ตารางอะไรเงี้ยโดยที่แบบยังไม่ต้องทำอะไรเลยอะไร
where
เงี้
they
ย
want to be.
Yeah. Still, the Bros are able to put themselves together a bit of an advantage, and it's another Infernal Soul, with the Bros now having a couple picked up already. There's some angles here, but I'm not going to trust anything until we see our first team fight. And KT were team fighting beautifully.
ถึงแม้ว่า 3-4 จะเป็นแบบเคเลียกับเพสแบกจริงแต่สุดท้ายแล้วก็แบกไม่ไหวก็แพ้อยู่ดีคะแนนก็เหมือนกับใช้บุญเก่ามาอยู่อันดับ 3
It's about now that they're starting to get very, very powerful as the Ram just going to try and clear out this wave. Teddy just bouncing on over towards Perfect here. Nice knock up.
Yeah, good work there. It's such a satisfying noise when he just briddles all of the minions and you just hear that noise constantly.
เวิร์คแข่งตอนไหนเดือน
What is the most satisfying
10 ครับ
noise in League of Legends?
Hard still.
เดี๋ยวมันอันเนี้ย LCK จะจบเดือน 9 ประมาณกลางเดือนแล้วก็มีเวลา 1 เดือน
That's pretty good too. But just hard still so much when you hear it like ticking up and then you get the big. Oh, it's beautiful. One item.
You have been a bit of a hard steel enjoyer for many, many years, have you not?
Yeah. Just, I remember when it first came out and before it got nerfed in ARAM.
พี่คิดว่าจริงๆแล้วว่า
ARAM Mayhem. And it just ran every game. Everyone had one. You'd have like 3,000
ความล้าของ
stacks.
T1 แม่งมันส่ง
A
ผล
better
จริง
time.
Yeah.
EWC กับ MSI อ่ะ
Maybe hard
แม่ง
steel
ล้ามากแล้วแม่งกลับมามันต้องทำโฆษณาต่ออีกแม่งยิ่งล้าเข้าไปอีก
unnerved form.
แล้วก็แข่ง
That's the
ต่อ
thing.
อีก
Are we just adding more items along this in Classic?
You just basically find anything that was ever broken at some point, you just put it in Classic. I think that's got to be the way to do it.
I think the point they add things like Goredrinker or Gale Force.
พี่กิฟต์เลิฟสตีไปเป็นคนขายลิปบาวตอนไหนนะครับ
This is feeling like last week.
Yeah. If Gale
เห็นข่าว
Force
พีดี
makes it,
คัมแบ็กจริงไหมครับ
I'm having
ต้องรอ
fun.
ต้องรอเลย
That's still a new item, even if it has been discontinued. Twin Shadows, though, that
Didn't
is
Heartsteel
definitely
come
a
out
banger.
after Gale Force?
I think it might have been a similar time. You might be right, though, actually.
Well, we get the Malignants coming in for Roma. Big spike for the Ahri. Definitely a lot of power there.
Yeah.
KT trying to set up on this mid tower, and it's only Teddy to defend, which is a bit uncomfortable. The port's moving in, but a lot of plates get taken down.
Cuz is in a little bit of trouble here, but he will be able to take those plates off the table. And KT really making use of these 3 grubs. I feel like that has been certainly capitalized on here, you could say, by KT.
Yeah, I'd agree. Dragon in a minute 45 and it's third, potentially for Bro. Remember, KT were the ones who got Soul last game, and it was also an Infernal Soul. So thinking about how to approach this fight, I think a big factor is Roma with the Malignance. If you can get resets, a lot of power. What's really nice this game is that Perfect having the what's it called again? Kanik Rukan.
That's the one.
Huge value into Roma and casting. The only thing he has to really be concerned about is if Teddy starts free hitting him. So looks like we're getting started a little bit early before that Dragon's up as KT looked for this Herald.
Oh, Roma's roaming, looking for a bit of an angle here. He's on a pretty good flank, but the scatter catches him. Has to get himself out of it. Great Charm is going to catch Cuz as they just take the Rift Herald from under the noses of KT. And Perfect is just backing away. The Sentinel just gets thrown at Roma. But KT are not going to be able to continue this fight. And now the Bros have a Rift Herald to help them get this Dragon.
Really well played there by Roma. Even after he gets hit by the stun, able to disengage. The one concern, though, is his ult is now down. It's ticking fastly. He has level 11 already passed. He has Malignance. But they do need that ult available for the Dragon, and it's 30 seconds away. But it looks like the setup's not come through yet from KT. They went for resets. I think he's going to be fine on that count. And they kind of get away scot-free. But BDD is fishing.
Oh, if Roma dies, then that'll be worse than the ult being on cooldown.
I think he's okay, just the Merc treads. Even with the nerfs they caught recently, -5 magic resist, the shield plus the tenacity just makes it a bit hard for BD to really threaten an all in there. Now the contest comes in for mid-prio. TP in from both solo laners of KT, trying to respond and stop them from getting a chance to throw down the Herald mid that is still in the pocket of Gideon. And now it's KT with control of the area, and Bro who have to push in.
3 seconds on Roma's ulti as well. That Spirit Rush will be up and available now. As Slurkles come down, Namgun gets caught by the scatter. The Bros still in a lot of control. The Rift Herald going to come on through here, and now KT gonna have to come back and try and defend mid. As Perfect just trying to be that front line. It's working out so far, but he's just getting slammed into the walls over and over again. And look at this, their front line is a front line no more.
Yeah, remember, they TP'd Perfect into this fight, so he can't recall, heal up, and come back again. Teddy getting some good damage down there. And honestly, his pierces, the Qs, have been connecting on a good targets.
Oh, yeah.
He's chunking out Jiwa before as well. Now, if we get the Ren stacked up on the Dragon, it's almost impossible to steal.
Well, now the Ram is going to come through. There is that secured by Teddy. They take down the jungler, but he's already done his job. Equalizer, fantastic, but Perfect manages to flash his way out. Great scatter here from BDD as Casting gets the power unleashed upon him. Cousin a little bit of trouble, but there is Teddy with that bailout. Can he lock down Jiu? He does manage to get him, but he's eliminated immediately. And KT, they still have their main carry as BDD, he gets he is charming, but he's got Cuz there with the daggers to take down the Ahri. And that's the ace for KT.
เคนชิน7 โดเนทมา 10 บาท เมื่อวานเล่นการ์ดสนุกไหมครับเล่าให้แชทฟังที
doesn't get to play the game. He dashes forward to help secure the dragon. The CC from Perfect is
เมื่อวานสนุกไหมเหรอโดนตบยับเป็นขี้ครับผมออนเจอคาซิกกับเคนเน่นตั้งบอร์ดไม่ได้เลยเมื่อวานไอ้ตาตั้งบอร์ดได้ก็คือแบบก็คือลำจนอีกฝั่งบอกโอ้โหไม่ได้เล่นเลยว่ะ
Oh no, he does!
So he wasn't able to escape Cone. Very unfortunate.
เดี๋ยวนะคือบาสโคมันหายเหรอ
Beautiful execution from KT.
ไอ้เช่นเมื่อกี้คือบาสโคมันหายเหรอ หรือยังไงนะ
Set up on a Gideon, the re-engage. Jiwa's aggression, even though he traded 1-for-1, he shut down Teddy, which was key in allowing them to push forward. And now, Rome may have 3 dragons, but it's not 4. And they're 2,500 gold down against a team with an Ornn and a Yanara Lulu.
Yeah, this is the problem. These ornaments are going to start coming in. And that is
อ๋อไม่ใช่บาสโคไม่ได้หายคือตีแล้วลูกมันมาบังพอดีแล้วพอเดินออกมาปุ๊บตีแม่งออกแบบตัวมันออกมาจากบาสโคแล้วโอ้โหระยำจัดตะกี้
is ahead in farm and ahead in money by just a little bit, and that's crazy because there's a first strike on casting. The whole sort of point was to make money, and unfortunately he hasn't been able to do so, sitting at 0-2-0 on this rumble, yet to really find value here in this game.
I mean, that's the thing when you play Rumble into a tank, you need to get ahead of the curve, you need to get more items, you need to be ahead in gold, and then just be that super strong Rumble. The benefit you get is you're getting a free lane, you can farm first strike off, and then you come into this point of the game and you hopefully get 2 items and really strong. Instead, you're on par with the Ornn, but the Ornn has upgraded that Koenig routine and has better economy items, cheap items that give a lot of power, and so you're just not going to feel as useful from this point onwards. The Ornn is going to continue to add value to KT for the rest of the game.
And speaking of value, BDD 3-0 and 3 now has his Dash Cannon and Blackfire Torch completed. And Cuz actually in a bit of trouble here. Not actually going to press the untargetability button, does finally do so, but the Wild Growth comes in. Charm is fantastic, and Roma is able to shut down the jungler. This could be a big deal, as Baron did just come onto the map. It looks like the Bros are going to look for some more picks before they do anything else. The Equalizer goes down with Perfect Dead. They might be able to find an angle, as the Ram is going to get called, but he is still going to get taken out. Another Chandelier on top. And the Bro pick machine has finally come online. Oh dear, that's a lot of damage. Does get shielded up. Yeah, BDD just does so much damage. There's a handshake from Namgung. I don't know whether anyone is brave enough to do anything about this. There was another scatter. It's fantastic. Jiu dives in, but immediately takes it down. The hostile takeover is so incredibly good. And that is going to be the ace because Cuz has only just respawned.
BDD ถ้าฆ่ากีเดียนนาฬิกายังไม่เสียบอลเลย
Pick after pick, and then an overstep from KT cost them. They disrespect Namgun, and he makes them pay for it now. Looking for the Baron, the TP comes in from the Ahri just to zone Cuz away. Soul is nearly up as well. They can reset off this Baron and set up for that. A devastating mistake for KT.
Absolutely incredible stuff for the Bros, though, being able to find it right on the tail end of this mid-game. And I almost said a trademark comment as well, as it was a damn well hostile takeover. This was just a great series of picks from the Bros.
I feel like when you're playing picks like Neferi or Ornn, who are... Ornn's very tanky, has a dash. Neferi, very mobile. You have this presumed sense of safety. It's kind of like we've seen a lot of our Ezreals dying around mid lane. And I think they just disrespect the opponents. The pick potential, the chase down potential for this comp is extreme. Able to get those 2 kills, and then this is the big turning point. Gideon just gets out. Teddy steps up, knows he has the safety of the Renata. There's even this polymorph stun that looked like it could doom them, but the bailout's there. We see the Vi come back in, Gideon choosing the perfect moment to punish, and Namgun's hostile takeover finds everything it needs now, though. The setup is here for this Soul. KT trying to push in and get control. And Gideon hanging around the edge. Feels like they're being pushed off a little bit. Banana Brush control going over to Bro. And it's them with the gold lead now.
Hostile takeover is not quite available just yet. Namgung still waiting for it. I think KT well aware. They have all of their ultimates at the ready. All of their flashes also up and available. Roma doesn't have his. Gideon doesn't have his. Teddy, thankfully, has his flash up, but not the barrier.
Okay, hostile.
See what the Bros can actually do here.
Takeover in 5, and Teddy's starting to stack the Rens on the Dragon. KT need to do something soon.
Well, let's see what they're actually going to go for here. Is Perfect trying to stay in that front line. There's a great scatter onto Roma, off to the side. There's the cease and desist. The Equalizer goes down there as well, as Gideon this time is going to be able to make his way out. Jesus finding somebody else as the Infernal Soul comes in for the Bros. Vault Breaker onto Perfect, and they'll take down the tank. And this time, the Bros find the team fight they're looking for.
Oh, Gideon fishing, won't find more, but he was the superhero in that fight. Did he get a kill? No, didn't need to. But he shut down Jiwoo and stopped him from being able to do anything, just bought time, and then the back end, they clear up Perfect, but the Soul is secured. That's the main thing here.
Oh, and now Elder is on the map in 5.5 minutes.
So the ult comes out from Perfect, and basically at the same time, Gideon flies in, grabs Jiwoo. Jiwoo has to flash away from the charm, and Gideon just leaves. He's like, look, we got the Dragon low enough, we can get the Soul and leave. He does find his way to pick up Perfect on the back end. But the main thing was that he stopped the backline of KT from doing anything. He stopped Jiwoo from playing the game. BDD had to respond to the threat, and he's able to disengage again. It didn't matter that he didn't kill Jiwoo, that Roma wasn't able to finish him off. It bought time, they got the Soul, and they got out.
Really nicely played by the Bros, and Jiwoo almost actually halved BDD's health bar with just that hostile takeover that came in. So really nicely played by the Bros. It split up the team fight completely, and now, with this Infernal Soul, Bros find themselves with a whole lot more power here in this game. It's going to be doing a lot of work, as well as the fact that they have a lot of ability to make use of it with a composition like this that just does so much damage just in general. And Infernal will help them have some more longevity here in this game.
Such an explosive composition.
แต่ ChatGPT แม่งเก่งนะพี่นั่งอ่านกับมันแบบโอ้โหแม่งเก่งเลยแชทที่มันสอนเทมโปการเล่นออนอ่ะนั่งแบบไม่ทำเป็นกราฟแบบนั่งเป็นกราฟนี้เลย
Not that many so far. Jiwoo's items looking a bit dismal. You have
เก่งนะเว้ย
but not the
แบบมูลิแกนแบบเปิดมาแบบมีearly board หรือไอ้นี่ไหมแบบ
he's doing enough damage. The buff terminus as well.
อโมพี่ลองอ่านมันพวกนี้มันต้องลองอ่านดูอ่านแล้วมันแบบถ้ามันแบบพอเป็นไปได้แบบมันก็มีความรู้มีประโยชน์ก็เก็บไปใช้แต่ถ้ามันแบบมั่วก็แค่แบบไม่ต้องสนใจที่มันมั่วอย่างมันบอกว่าแบบถ้าเปิดการแล้วเจอออนแชมเปี้ยนเนี่ยก็คือให้แบบให้มูลิแกนเลยพี่ก็ออนมันเป็นแชมเปี้ยนที่มันอยู่ตรงบอร์ดมันไม่ต้องแบบไอ้นี่มันไม่เจออยู่แล้ว
And it's actually so annoying when a cluster is sieging now with a static shift.
เราดูภาพวิธีเล่นภาพรวมมากกว่าแบบว่ามันประมาณนี้เซตบอร์ดไง
onto you as well, and so Teddy can rend and even just damage you off the back of that. It's pretty obnoxious.
Well, more of Mount Mortius even completed here for Gideon. Decides not to go for a third item GA. Just wants that extra magic resistance. Understands that Geo is mainly going to be held up in the sky by him during this game.
Yeah,
so just needs to not die to BDD.
Doesn't want to get ulted and just removed from the game by BDD, which is kind of understandable.
Yep, I would also not like that to happen to me. As Teddy taking out these waves, taking out these wards, control of the Baron Pit is what the bros want. Their turn is so scary as well. If they ever do get the control that they're looking for, which they have now.
It is the Huni Baron, so a little scary.
Dangerous Baron.
But I think it kind of testament to the level of control they have.
มันคล้ายอาเซียนเลยป่ะแต่คนละสี
Completely shutting out the vision from KT right now. The closest ward to the Baron is that control ward we can see on the left.
คล้ายไหม
Oh man,
คล้ายก็คล้ายอยู่
Yeah, a bit more than a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, I would say so.
ก็คือเป็นแนวแบบ
The thing is, Cuz has a lot of tools to
ให้ยูนิตเข้าไปแบบยูนิตเยอะๆไม่แบบมันๆหน่อยแต่อาเซียมันจะมีความดีเฟนส์บอร์ดดีเฟนส์ไซส์ดีเฟนส์บัตเทิลฟิลด์ได้ดีกว่ามันจะมีการฮิดเด้นมีอะไรแบบไปดีเฟนได้มีเคนเน่นดีเด้นได้อะไรเงี้ยมันจะมีการโคบอร์ดแต่ของออนมันจะเป็นแนวแบบว่ากลับมาที่เบสแล้วก็โจมตีแบบไปที่บอร์ดแบบไปที่บัตเทิลฟิลด์นึงเพื่อแบบเพื่อกดดันสกอร์
Does go up into the sky eventually, but he's basically out of the fight before it's even begun.
And there's no camps actually nearby for him to sustain up. The Fury can heal up really quickly if Raptors or Wolves are up, but they're down, so he has to actually go for the recall.
Oh, there are pings actually on the way Gideon.
มันก็ไม่เชิงคล้ายกันมากแต่ว่ามันก็คล้ายตรงอาจจะมีคำว่าคล้ายตรงที่ว่ามันมีติดเกียร์ให้กับยูนิตเป็นเด็กที่เน้นเกียร์เหมือนกันแต่ของออมมันจะเป็นแนวแบบติดเกียร์ให้กับยูนิตที่แบบติดเกียร์แบบบวกมาเยอะแล้วก็เข้าไปเทรดผมรอไลฟ์คลาสรูมลิฟต์บาว101อยู่นะครับ
And then go back to the fog of war. They do not want to start this Baron though.
Yeah, I think it's fine. You know, it's definitely Baron, it's dangerous Baron. You also have some item buys to come in before that Elder spawns. Teddy's close to Jack Show. Roma's close to Void Staff. Gideon, I think, could pick up Merc Treads on the back. So if you get a chance to recall and reset before the Elder, it makes sense. But Gideon's actually sticking around here.
He keeps getting stopped by BDD. I think he Scry's bloomed him, and now
if he gets
KT on the Elder. This is so dangerous, like you're saying.
Gideon.
Is not going to quite find the daggers, and Gideon will be able to make his way out, but that was almost game losing.
Yeah, able to navigate away. Teddy got the Jack Show and a red.
และฟอร์ดไปยิงใส่มังกรเคิร์ดแม่งหายไป 15% เลือด
Now the Elder even getting involved here is Perfect taking some damage, I think. But not entirely sure. His health bar is pretty large.
And pressure's going to be on KT, because again, if Teddy stacks up the Rend on the Dragon, this has been fatal for KT in 2 Dragon fights before. They can't let him do it again. because Elder would
ที
just
ดี
be a game
ออฟ
ender.
ไกลไปเปล่า
Look at all the sticks that are already
เดี๋ยวเจออีควอไล
in
เซอ
this
ร์ตัด
Elder.
แนวหลังแล้วแบบ
As Teddy just happily tanking
กี
it
เดียน
up,
มาละ
casting is on a ward. As there's, I've seen this fight before. Casting dashes in, finds the charm.
กีเดียนตายไปก่อน
The wild growth is there under Gio though.
โอ้
But
แต่
look at the
แม่งแบบละลายหมดเลย
AoE. They all just explode, and down they will go. The
GG ครับผม
Bros
1-1
finding such a huge fight. They'll be able to get the Elder here off the back end as well. And we have an even
ถ้า perfect ได้จบ
series,
เลย
ladies and gentlemen.
วายเลิกตีได้แล้วไป
SKT
จบไป
cannot get it done in game 2.
กีเดียน
And the Bros will make it a best of 3.
เนี่ย
They
จะตี
find
มัง
the
กรดีกว่า
engage, they find Jiwoo, and the
อ๋อ
damage
จะเสร็จแล้ว
is
ไง
there, bro.
ก็เลย
Get
ตี
the
ดีกว่า
momentum and get a 5-0 ace. Game 1 looked pretty one-sided, but bro answer back and take us to the third game
อาจ
of
ต้อง
the
ใช้
series.
ปะ
Oh,
เพื่อ
that is
ฆ่าลู
what
ลู
we
อะไร
were
เงี้ย
looking for. Almost a guarantee that will make it to maximum games here in this series. Gorgeously played
ไม่
here
ต้อง
by
ใช้
the
ฆ่าลูลู
Bros.
ก็ได้
And that is your bro tax at work, ladies and
Bo5.
gentlemen. We called you out for it earlier on. You heard the call. And there is definitely enough in the coffers now to bring us to those 5 games.
I think especially when game 1 had Bro making some smart moves, but was plagued by issues with their team fighting.
Yeah.
This composition, so good at team fighting, so clear what the objective is, and the execution was there. Very good understanding of how to play it. Gideon led the charge so aggressively. Shades of Kanavi there, and drove Bro towards their first game victory in this series. With
ระหว่าง
three
รอขอ
potential
ลองไปล้ำออนดิ
But it might be, oh, never mind. Ezreal just a little bit too high priority. But you do run into the potential Caitlyn Bard, and then you run out of great picks alongside the Ezreal outside of the Seraphine that we have seen find a lot of success.
Yeah, I
It's
think
in fact Gio and Effort that played that one very well.
I think Ezreal Seraphine would be okay. You could also maybe look for Camille again if you want to kind of deny the prospect of the Bard, since Camille does very good there. Although typically KT been banning Camille more than picking it, so I don't necessarily expect them to go for that. We'll see what they opt for. I think Caitlyn is on the forefront of the mind.
Yeah.
Will they take that now? They will take the Bard at least.
That, like you say, somewhat dangerous with Namgung's propensity to play the Camille.
You could also just take Corki. Corki kind of
เฮ้ยเดี๋ยวน่าลอง TFT
pairs
อยู่
with
นะ
whatever.
Yeah.
วันนี้แบบ
I think
พี่ว่าไม่ทันแล้วแหละ ไปแข่งอะ เพราะว่า5 โมง
I am very worried
เหมือน
about
เมื่อ
that.
5 โมงเพิ่งเริ่มอ่ะ
Exactly
มัน
right.
ยากมากที่จะไป
That
ทัน
being
ทุ่
said,
ม
I'm
ครึ่ง
not as worried
แบบ
right
ต้อง
now
ทุ่มครึ่งนี่
because
คือต้องถึง
it doesn't
ล้าน
matter which team wins in
แบบ
this
ทุ่มครึ่ง
game,
เขาเริ่ม
as long as we make it to 5
แข่ง
games.
ลิบบาววันนี้
So
แข่งเพื่อเอา
KT
เพย์แมต
throws one away,
แต่ว่า
it's
มัน
not
ก็
alright.
แบบ
As the Wukong going to be a consideration here for Cuz, despite the lack of Annie.
ไม่ได้แข่งง่ายๆด้วยมันแข่งตี 1 ครึ่งอะถ้าเกิดสมมติไปอะ
We've seen Lissandra work pretty well as like a substitute for Annie, so potentially could look in towards that.
บักเน้นๆเลยเหรอ
I was also thinking maybe the Annie they were denying it.
แต่ว่าไอ้ออกตั้งแต่4 โมงอ้าวไม่หรอกมินโฮทุ่มครึ่งคือพี่นั่งรถไฟฟ้า2 สถานีอะไร3 สถานีมั้งใกล้ๆก็ประมาณครึ่งชั่วโมงอัด6 โมงครึ่งต้องออกเพราะไปถึงที่นู่นทุ่ม 1เตรียมทุกอย่าง6 โมงครึ่งต้องออกไม่น่าทันอยู่แล้วยังไงไม่ทันนะตอนชิวๆวันนี้ชิวๆเลยที่ไปกดเอาออกกันเนอะไม่น่าทันละ
The Cocoon going to be very easy to hit on the Bard's rotund hitbox.
Oh no, not the rotund Bard again.
There we go.
Well, I thought we fearlessly banned the Nautilus. He was going to be okay.
เสียใจมากแต่ก็ทำอะไรไม่ได้นอกจาก
Going to be the choice though into the Wukong here for Gideon, a champion that he has found a fair bit of success on in the past. Doesn't have an enchanted support to pair alongside him, but I think still should be.
ไว้แล้วพี่เก็บแรงไว้บ้าง
So are you going to secure a mid for BDD here? Or are you just going to get the Caitlyn? I feel like pairing up the bot lane is the more important thing here. So they're going to get the Caitlyn. Even though you have other options, I think you would quickly feel bad about getting trimmed away. Actually, they changed their mind.
So, I don't know about that. I'm a bit frightened about the Sivir.
A less aggressive option going for the Sivir. I mean, Sivir does well into Elise, into Ezreal.
Good point.
But does have that shorter range. And it can be a bit awkward to try and team fight as Sivir when you're into a Xin Zhao. As if you end up getting in range of him to actually ricochet, you're in a dangerous position.
Well, now we're going to see the rest of these bans come in. No lock for Roma. He has found a lot of success on. A lot of pick potential already here for the Bros. I think the Jace stocks are extremely high. And
แข่งที่ไหนครับ
does get banned
แข่ง
away, whether they're going to look at something else because already with this Kasante being banned
อีเวนต์
away,
ท็อปการ์ดอะร้านท็อปการ์ด
the
ครับ
Bros might have their eyes on the Jace, but first pick
แต่ว่ามันจะเต็มแล้วแต่ว่าพี่เอาออกไปแล้วพี่เอาออกไปแล้วจะได้มีคนไปลงแทนพี่เนี่ยท็อปการ์ดที่บางเขนวะผลโยธิน59ลงผลโยธิน59พี่ก็นั่งอ๋อมันเลยไปหน่อยนึงพี่ก็เลยขึ้นตรงเซนานิคมพี่ก็ไปลงผลโยธิน59แล้วก็ลงไป
Pentakill with the lock. Yep. Or I'd say Nam gave him the pentakill. Delivered it to him. Yep. The 0-8 power spike. Just a beautiful time.
ร้านการ์ดไทยเยอะเนี่ยพี่อยากมีเวลาไปเล่นตอนเย็นบ้างคือเห็นแบบไฟไหนไปเล่นแล้วอยากเล่นบ้างอ่ะแม่งแบบคือวันจันทร์อังคารอ่ะมันไม่งั้นวันจันทร์ต้องไปเล่นที่ร้าน
Yeah, kind of works out well in that regard. I feel like something like an Aurora or the Zoe's been threatened. He'd even bring it out. He's so insanely good in this pick. He's so good on this pick. And it looks like Bro will just grab the Jace here. You know, you're into a pick that has a lot of poke in terms of the Zoe. Wanting to match some of that range.
And what is the pick into the Zoe? That's the big question. As it looks like Jace is going to be the first cab off the rank, but I imagine they're using a lot of this time to work out what the pick into the Zoe is going to be. Could it be that Lissandra that you were talking about?
I think it could make sense. I think you could also go for something like the Aurora. I think those are the ones that come to mind first and foremost.
ไม่เราซื้อในเว็บนี้เลยหรอ
would be crazy, man.
โอ้โซอีมาว่ะเราซื้อในเว็บนี้เลยหรอเราไม่ได้ซื้อในเว็บแบบพวก Shopee อะไรอย่างงี้ป่ะ
Honestly, wouldn't Echo be absolutely sick with his parallel convergence or whatever it is to get the stun if like the portal jump comes out and you get it down at exactly the right time?
Oh man, we just got LeBlanc with a ton of cool picks, but LeBlanc, one of those OG options to take in a Zoe, can actually make her pay, and KT closed the trap with the Jace, the Yorick into the Jace, so Casting gonna have his work cut out for him in this matchup, but similarly, BD gonna have his work cut out for him, trying to survive against Roma on the LeBlanc.
แต่พี่ชอบสีฟ้าไอ้น้ำเงินอันแรกมากเมื่อกี้สวย
So much kill pressure in this game. I feel like early on we had previous games were quite slow. It was only the Romas of BDD that really set things up.
ถ้าพี่เล่นออนพี่อยากได้สีนั้นสีแรก
and really sway the side lane matchups.
This is going to be a very interesting one though, because Zoe feels a little off theme to me in this draft for KT. I feel like Perfect wants to be in a side lane, but Zoe wants to be sort of messing around with the enemy team, and it feels like a Wukong doesn't necessarily
ถ้าโบชนะ KT ไม่ได้
get your cyclone out
ไม่ได้ไปแล้วใช่ไหมครับมันจะ KT จะลงไปสายล่างครับ แล้วก็โบจะได้เข้าไปรอบ
makes a lot of sense as well because Siva wants to be
ซึ่งก็จะไปเจอ
continuously autoing
แก๊ง
and getting
เล
those
เจนด์และข้างบน
ricochets
แล้ว
across. We just have to see though because BDD is an absolute master on this champion.
T1 ก็จะได้แข่งเยอะกว่าเพื่อนๆเขานะเพราะว่าเนื่องจากมาเอาแอร์ไทม์นะครับ T1
Zoe is just a very very hard champion.
จะเริ่มแข่ง
Have your damage actually land
วันที่29นี้เลยนะ30แล้วเนี่ยเผลอๆไม่รู้ว่าจะได้แข่งอีกทีวันที่3ต่อเลยหรือเปล่าหรือจะแข่งวันที่1หรือวันที่2คือเรียกว่าแอร์ไทม์เยอะ T1 ก็จะได้แข่งมีหลายแมตช์ให้พวกเราได้รับชมกัน
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 3, and we're guaranteed at least 4. I know we're guaranteed 5, actually, but right now, it's definitely 4 games. And already, we're seeing BDD Zoe on the Rift, right? We've got, like, slightly weird compositions. Namgung's Elise comes out. This is why Fearless is so good, because we really get treated to some interesting choices.
And, you know, we got some buffs to LeBlanc only a few patches ago that was to her ult damage. So the Mimic, Sigil, Distortion, and Ethereal Chains all got their late game damage improved. And I feel like,
another great Cocoon connects onto Jiu here as Teddy is just stacking up his passive. Oh my god, we are flashing for a red buff. That's what I'm talking about, Gideon.
This is the sort of creative path that you love to see in Game 3 of a best of 5.
ไอเชียไม่มีภาพที่จะแบบเข้ามาอินเวดได้แน่นอนเพราะว่าปักหวาดที่หลุมเคทีปักหวาดที่หลุมแรปเตอร์แล้วเห็นการเดินมาจากพุ่มตรงนี้ปักหวาดจากตรงนี้แล้วและเป็นชินเฉาซึ่งไม่สามารถข้ามขื่อได้เพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยยังไงเลสบัฟเนี่ยไม่มีทางโดนอินเวดแน่ๆแม่งแฟดข้ามมาเป็นกีเดียนเห็นป่าวว่าแบบบูคองแบบฟาร์มแบบโคตรสบายใจแรปเตอร์แบบไม่มีภาพแบบว่าเดินมาดูเลสบัฟเลย
That's it. Gets the flash.
He's so dead. He's just dead. There is no way out of this.
เอาเลสบัฟโดนอินเว
Cuz is
ด
trying to move over. Gideon's trying to get level 3 in time.
Let's see what they can actually do here. The crash does finally come down. Jiu gets a bit
ต
of
อนนี้
health
ต้อง
back
แก้
with
เกม
that
ครับผ
spell
มคือ
shield.
ต้องวาร์ปไปบน
Never mind.
แปลของแล้ววาร์ปไปบน
Oh, Cuz reads it. Comes down in time.
เคิร์สติ๊กแล้วจะไปเอาแรปเตอร์ข้างบน
Because I was certain Jiu was just dead there. If they were able to pull that dive off, there was no way out. But he's able to live to fight another day.
All right. Now that the action is over, we can have a look at some of our keystones and things like that. Nothing is really standing out as far as anything crazy. Double electrocutes for our
นึกว่าปีนี้ที่วัน
bottom
จะ
side
ชิวๆไป
is
เวอ
no
ร์ซะอีกไงเอามา
surprise.
แบบเดิมอีกแล้ว
Storm Raider Surge, kind of interesting, I guess, for the Jace.
เอาจริงเป็นอย่างนี้มาตั้งแต่พี่ดูแอลแล้ว
defend these camps from Cuz. Great read right now. Because Gideon ends up at a
ถ้า
big
น้อง
advantage
เพส
if he
นี่
gets
คือ
the
แก
clear
แบ
of
บ
his own camps.
แก LCK ครับนี่แกแบบเมมจัดนะตอนอยู่กับเจนจีนี่แบบอยู่กับเลแฮนนี่คือแม่งโคตรโหด
But instead he's gonna go for maybe a push in here again.
ตรงนี้วูคองมีดาบแต่ว่ากีเดียน
He's
บ
down
อ
a
ม
level
มี
now.
เลย
No red buff too.
All right.
Effort.
Taking some damage.
นำกุ้งพยายามที่จะแบบ
everywhere here this game. As the repel.
Oh, he's out of
อ้าว
range.
ไปไม่ได้
He's not actually able to make it to the minion. As Namgung now just has to try and commit to the fight, and that's
First
first
back,
blood
ครับผม
over to BDD Zoe of all people.
Oh, a big misplay because he chunks out effort, and that honestly could have been enough. You chunk out effort.
เล่นเยอะไปหน่อย
Gideon
คือ
comes
นำกุ้ง
down,
ทำทุกอย่างเลย
3v3 with effort
มาช่วยกัน
low
แรปเตอร์
would be in your
แล้วก็จะมาช่วยกันปูล่าง
favor.
แล้ว
But just a
แอฟฟอร์ดมา
miscalculation
เจอแอ
on
ฟ
the
ฟอร์ด
repel,
มาเหมือนกัน
slightly out of range of the minion
ลำบากเลย
wave, means that he's got nowhere to go, no flash, and he ends up going down.
I was really expecting him just to come back down on like you could see the minion that he was going for, and just
มีแต่คนกลัวน้องเพ
unfortunately
สหม
not
ดใจ
able to
ดิ
get there. And if we have a look at this one more time, I'm just wondering whether there was like a
ดู
minion
คลิป
that he was
น้องเพ
looking
สแบ
for
บ
that was moving out of the
ตอน
way
ที่วันโฮมก
that
ราว
he
แล้ว
couldn't
สงสาร
actually
เหมือนกัน
get
นะ
to. No, you saw the
Oh,
one
it's
that he
because
wanted.
of the sleepy trouble bubble.
แต่เชื่อเหอะว่าน้องน่าจะได้
Trouble bubble
คือ
came out.
ตอน
It's like,
ตอน
I
ที่
just
วัน
have
โฮ
to
มกราว
repel
แบบตอน
now.
เปิด
Am
ตัว
I
ที
in
วันอะ
range? And the answer was
ก็คือ
no. So
ทุกคนในทีวันก็ได้ชูแหวนไงใครไม่เป็นคนคิดไม่รู้ชูแหวนเนี่ย
Nicely done.
ใส่แหวนแล้วก็ชู
Namgung is
มือขึ้น
a man built on
แต่ว่าเพส
deaths.
ยังไม่ได้แชมป์เวอร์ก็เลยแบบ
Very
ชูไม่ได้
happy
ก็เลยแบบ
to go,
เห็นเพื่อนๆก็เลยแบบ
0 and 1
ชูเหรอ
by 5 minutes. In fact,
ก็เลยไม่ได้ชู
I
แบ
would
บ
say that he could
เคเลียก็บอก
probably
ยกเลย
go
ยกเลย
he's definitely set that sort of pace before.
Oh yeah.
And at least is that sort of champ that you will get a lot of kills
ใครได้ดูคลิ
in
ป
a lot
นั้
of
นปะ
situations, but you can't just die on repeat.
Yeah, let's just say Itsy Bitsy Spider doesn't get up and down that water spout by staying alive the whole time. It's now Jiu taking a bit of damage here. Teddy trying to do what he
ที่คนผิด
can.
คือคนจัด
The
งาน
decent
บอกให้
spell shield, but Gideon's coming down one more time. Wind becomes lightning,
จั
just
ดงานยังไงให้
barely
มันแบบ
avoided
ให้น้อง
by the
ไอ้นี่วะ
Siver.
คือยังไงมึงไม่ได้
That's another
ไม่ได้
recall
บีฟ
to
หรือ
come
ว่า
through
น้องต้อง
from
ทำอะไร
Namgung.
มึงให้หน้างานน้อง
Pressure's
แบ
there,
บ
but they're not really finding
หรือว่าเขา
the
บีบให้
angle
ให้
in.
น้องแบบว่า
Gideon's trying to chase
ชูมือ
these
ขึ้นมาเฉย
finite windows where he can threaten Jiu, but a good job from Jiu in effort to mitigate this, buy time until Cuz can move over and avoid the pressure.
Yeah, Romer is doing a pretty good job here in this mid lane. Staying ahead in farm by just a little bit, winning out on a few of these trades.
I will say one of the things I always found really frustrating about LeBlanc.
Oh man, he flashes to get the
Oh my
ethereal
God.
chains and finds the
Solo kill BDD คุณผู้ชม
Roma with the kill under BDD to even out the series. And yes, bro fans, it is this crazy here in game 3.
This is why you take the matchup. Roma with supreme confidence, flashes to keep in range
Hey,
of
do,
the
chat
tether
tadi
and
ni.
kills BDD on his signature Zoe. The confidence. And I remember
ทุกคนโชว์แหวนโชว์แหวนไง
when Roma actually
แล้วคือเรียกว่า
they close to debut.
เคเลียเดินเข้าไปใกล้เพสบอก
Long kick to get Rihanna and killed him on repeat.
Oh yeah, he did.
Unceremonious.
I was about to say, like, do we change his name to Brewmaker now?
Maybe.
Because that was
ที่เดิน
Brewmaker.
ด้านหลังแล้วเดินไป
Oh,
หา
he's
เพ
going to
ส
actually go in on this one. Only level 5, and Namgung is going to have to go up into the sky. Does come back down, and now Roma is trying to find the angle. BDD not able to get enough damage onto this Elise to take him
แต่
down.
พี่เจเลยพี่เจเลือกเลย
KT, they will get control of this river. They're not able to get any kills.
fact that Namgu just gets to walk out of that kind of crazy.
이거 미드도 그냥 찌르면 강하다. 계속
Oh,
나오는
we get a
거긴 해.
point of view replay.
And he hit everything.
Yeah, the flash to keep up with the movement speed. Just so well played there.
Oh my god Romer
And this was the bottom lane.
Yeah, one of the things I found so frustrating about LeBlanc is the amount of poke this champion can do and just not really being answerable. If a LeBlanc gets fed, you can just kind of like W over QRE, W back, and if they're not dead, they might as well be.
Yep. Gideon is also going to be able to find Cuz here. 3 Talon Strike doesn't quite
Oh.
work. True Shot Barrage is going to get this monkey
red.
out of the battle. And Gideon, with level 6 already, there is no way that Cuz is going to be able to contest this, especially with no flash available. They are really keeping this Wukong down.
I really like how Gideon's approach to jungle this game, constantly looking to challenge Cuz. We've seen the jungles be a bit less active in the early games so far this series, but Gideon has tried to find these windows, tried to shut down Cuz. And even though he hasn't found the bot gang windows, he's still been putting that pressure on.
Well, BDD going to have to walk his way out of this one. Sweep comes on through. And now I'm going...
ปีนี้อยากให้น้องมาสมหวังสักปีนะมาถูกทางแล้วน้องมาอยู่กับทีวันถูกทางแล้ว
If you set up control around mid lane for Roma, he will roam.
He will.
Yeah.
แต่
He will be more of a Roma than BDD.
แต่ปีนี้ฟอร์มก็แปลกๆนะ
Yeah, and he make it so tricky for BDD to move into the fog of war, which has been his way of getting advantages for his team.
ไม่มีภาพรู้สึกว่าเหมือนไม่มีภาพที่จะได้ไปเวอร์ทุกปี
Oh, Teddy looking for a solo here towards Jiu. Does get his health back with that spell shield. The exhaust comes down. And a couple of buttons do go wide. Oh, there's that rotund hitbox you were talking about. As Romer is going to not quite find the damage to take down effort. But now Cuz, he's on these grubs and it's just going to get pushed away. Lit on fire here by the spider. Flashes in. Gets the cocoon though. And even 2 cyclones is not enough to keep Cuz alive.
ไอ้นั่นไปเปิดกราฟไอ้นั่นจะโดนจะไปช่วยแอฟฟอร์ดจะตายโอ้โหแล้ว W โดนด้วยไอเชียเพอร์เฟกต์ตายด้วยคุณผู้ชม
are just looking so good here in this third game.
6-stack dogs.
ใครชนะคู่นี้เขาไปเจอทีวันเหรอครับทีวันมีสิทธิ์เลือกครับว่าจะเจอใครระหว่างคู่ชนะทีมที่ชนะคู่นี้หรืออีกทีหนึ่งอีกคู่หนึ่งเลือกได้ตรงนี้ได้แม่งแบบดึงล็อกขาระหว่างเมจิคอลเจอร์นี่ได้ตายไปแล้ว
And I'm gonna actually ignites here to keep the vision when Cuz walks into the brush. Really smart, really intelligent move just to make sure they had eyes on him. And no chance of a turnaround play there when he has his ult. And here, Gideon, the W at the angle where it hits him regardless.
แองเกิลดีมากอ่ะคือยังไงก็โดน
And the end
อีกทีที่ไม่ถูกเลือกก็จะโดน DK ต้องเล่น DK ก็จะเล่นกันคู่นั้นครับเลือกได้ว่าที่วันเลือกได้ว่าจะเจอใครแล้วก็ DK เจอที่เหลือแล้วก็เจนจีก็จะเลือกได้ระหว่างคู่ที่ชนะทีมที่ชนะระหว่างคู่ทีวันกับทีมที่ชนะระหว่างคู่ DK
Just looking to put on that extra pressure, and BDD Zoe really not able to find its footing here in this game. It's Sork Boots as well for Roma and the Merc Treads here for BDD. Just, you can understand the back foot the KT feel like they're on right now, and needing to avoid just getting chain CC'd to death. I think is such a big deal. These Merc Treads are going to be so necessary. But it does mean that BDD will not have the same level of burst damage that Roma will have.
And especially, they've changed the weighting of these two items in the most recent patch, where they took magic resist off Merc Treads, they took 5 away from it, and they gave 2 extra magic pen to the Sork shoes. So this is a different feel to how it would have been last patch, where it would have just been the Merc Treads magic resist completely eclipse how much pen the Sork shoes has, and you have extra. I mean, the magic shield is still very powerful against LeBlanc, but oh my lord.
That double distortion was just beautiful there from Roma. He really knows how to play this matchup. It is
ปีหน้า Perfect มันแทนโดรานไหมครับ
so far.
พี่ว่า Perfect ย้ายแน่นอน
had a look
ไม่รู้ดิรู้สึกอย่างนั้นนะ
casting very much this game.
แต่ไม่รู้ว่าไปไหน
Casting doing a pretty good job so far with the early lead. We've seen some players have been able to leverage the pressure that Jace has on the early levels and put the Yorick down. Some players have really fallen over in the early levels even against the Yorick. But eventually the Maiden does make it tricky.
Well, speaking of the Maiden, she is going to be summoned now as casting. We'll just have to get to work with his hammer to take this one down. Gideon going to grab this Mountain Drake. Next one going to be a Chemtech. As the Bros have almost a 2,000 gold lead at this stage of the game.
And it's spread out across like multiple members. It's not just one person who's strong who could be shut down. A lot of the team are fed right now.
Yep.
30 วิดีโอ 6
As well,
Dark
like
Seal
top
Stack
lane casting, getting the Storm Raiders and disengaging now. We do have Cuz making his way in here.
Yep, Teddy going to get slowed down, and there is Cuz just pouncing out of the brush. Teddy gets the barrier, flashes over the wall. Gideon comes in, and gets pushed back with that Crescent Guard. The Tempered Fate is going to be there to try and keep Effort alive for a little longer. And now Roma is going to put the hurt down onto KT.
ไม่ตายตายว่ะ
Is going to stop the LeBlanc, but the Jace is there with the Shock Blast, and down goes the Sivir. Regardless, the bottom lane is taken down here. Bros do lose Teddy, but I think they're okay with it.
A lot committed
มัน
here
ยังแรงไม่พอเว้ยอะไรอย่างงี้ถ้าเกิดเหยียบตาย2ตัวคือแบบ 50 นะ
But I still think Bro just not allowing KT to get away scot-free with trying to take out Teddy.
เสียเพจให้กับโยลิกไม่ค่อยดี
Let's have a look at this one more time. It was a good chase down, and Teddy just barely surviving and getting over this wall, demanding so much extra attention here from KT.
You see the decision making, and then he finally gets the flash off, gets in the right position for it. Cuz has to flash.
ทำไมรู้สึกเหมือนมันมีแฟลช2 อันวะ
A lot of stalling with the stages.
รู้สึกเหมือน SL มีแฟลช2 อันไงไม่รู้
And Roma with the roam. Oh, close there. If the chain connects, I think they might have just potentially both died. But Jiwoo, no way to really get away from the situation. The Shock Blast comes in true. Makes it very clear that they really needed casting as well. Getting that final hit there. And now
จริงมันต้องโยนคิวก่อนแล้วค่อยเหยียบแล้วก็อันติเหยียบอีกทีป่ะวะ ไม่รู้เลย
and the Ghostblade, a lot of mobility to kind of outplay the Yorick, who's a bit of a slow marching champion.
Yeah, not to mention if Cuz tries to come up and punish the Jace as well, he can really utilize a combination of Keystone and item in order to get himself away. So really nicely done. Good decision making here.
เกม 5 มีให้เห็นพี่เจวันนี้ไม่ได้ไปนะพี่เกม
Anyway,
มันไม่ทัน
now heading towards that Manamune. Perfect. Now parking himself in this bottom lane. There is a Roma in the brush. But he's looking to be marching back towards the mid lane. As Gio and Teddy meet once again in this top side. 3 plates left on the top lane outer turret for the Bros, but 1 more for Gio to get. And he will be able to take
ตอนแรกวันนี้ว่าจะไปแข่งลิฟบาวตรงเกษตรเนี่ยครับแล้วก็มันไม่ทันละมันทุ่มครึ่ง
Not so much.
But not really the main concern at this time.
Yorick is pretty strong.
วันนี้เราก็จะเล่น TFT ไป
Herald and space control so important for both of these compositions when you're into a Zoe, when you're into a LeBlanc. Being able to see where the skill shots or the champion is flying from makes all the difference. It's been a while since we've had like an actual LeBlanc meta in the LCK, but we all remember the times of just a support face checking and just getting obliterated from the tug of war.
And I think that it's not even necessarily just supports. I think anyone face checking is just going to have to either go back via the death chamber or not. Roma is very, very strong right now with his upgraded shoes as well as his Ludens. And BDD does have the Ludens completed as well, but it just feels like Roma has hit his stride.
TFT ได้ engine ใหม่แล้วเมื่อไหร่ L จะได้พี่
For a bit of a dive potential, but Namgung is here.
ปีหน้าจะไม่เหมือนเดิมถ้าเหมือนเดิมแสดงว่าปีถัดไปไม่เหมือนเดิม
And she will be taken out, and there it is, 50 gold over to the Jace.
Just a great reaction from Gideon, and I'm going to move down here to cover that top laner, make sure the play.
อีกแล้วเหรอ
You know, obviously Herald's on the map. That you would expect to be the focal point right now, but Bro don't want to leave out casting the dry, and now PP coming in. I think they see Cuz.
Yeah, Cuz was not wanting to push his luck there. He's just going to back away as Roma is going to move over, pop some Crystalline Overgrowth, does manage to do that, and goes back to his Distortion. So a bit of extra money with that plate going on over. Now the Bros looking for an angle here towards the Rift Herald casting, realizing that Perfect may not be alone. He's just going to back away instead of looking for more of a fight here as Cuz wants to be able to help out to grab the kill on the Acceleration Gate though, as well as that Ghostblade giving him that extra space before.
มันจะเลิกจริงแต่ว่าเขากำลังโยกบุคลากรมาช่วยกันพัฒนาอะไรบางอย่างหรือเปล่านึกออกปะเหมือนแบบต้องการคนเพิ่มแล้ววะ
I think Casting did a good job of respecting it this time when he doesn't have the support of his team. It is just a trade in the end, but Bros still have that Herald in pocket.
มันไม่กำไรจบเอามีแค่นั้น
would love to answer with the Dragon, but I'm not sure they're going to have a window to do so. And I'm already here trying to contest this vision. And it looks like they'll be forced away. Perfect resetting, likely to have that Trinity Force available to buy.
Oh, Trouble Bubble does come down onto Gideon. Effort finds the Cosmic Binding, is now G with on the hunt. Working out for him, Gideon trying to escape, realizes he won't be able to do so. When becomes lightning, Effort almost dies, but does manage to survive it, and they take down the jungler right as this dragon spawns.
คือแม่ง
possibly going to get engaged on
โบแม่งเทมโปนำทุกอย่างดีหมด
Now G was in trouble. They
แล้ว
just
อยู่
jump right on
ป่า
top
ไป
of
เว
him.
ทบู
Down he goes.
แล้วก็
Was that
ตาย
an electrocute? I'm pretty sure it might have been. As man, a 1 for
ยังโชคดีที่
1,
โรเมอร์
and
แม่
G
ง
just
แม่งแบบแบก
wasn't
มากตอน
allowed to
เนี้
be
ย
in that
คือแบบ
spot.
Yeah, just kind of confusing from just to walk up like that. Especially didn't have
ใช่เหรอ
the support
2KO
of
มา
the
เอา
team.
จริงเหรอ
Cuz
ไม่
went
รู้
for
เรื่
the
องหรอ
poke,
อย่าง
he's
งี้
a
ก็
Wukong, can kind of do that.
จบแล้วที่ปีหน้าก็เหมือนเดิม
Disrespecting the
L
threat from Bro. And what went from like a favorable
ว่าเหมือนเดิม
position,
แล้ว
Gideon being dead, KT could potentially set up for control of mid and go to the Dragon. Now just kind of thrown in the bin. Effort gets chunked out a little bit, will answer with his own damage, but won't be able to push deeper to get the vision down.
นะอะไรนะพี่ได้ข่าวลือเกมเต้นไหมแล้วเราจะทำแนวออดิชั่น
Going to be valuable.
เอาเลยเต็มที่เลยเว้ยไลออด
Teddy is getting very, very close to that Muramana. You can see that tier only a few stacks away from maxed out. And he is going to be very, very strong. Still the Bros just feeling like they have a positional advantage around this Dragon. Gideon already starting that one up, casting here towards the bottom side.
So
perfect
scary.
in the maiden, making their way over.
So scary, so difficult face check to get the bot tower, to get the Dragon.
Like, look at all these wards, man. They know everything.
Yep. So this was Nova Stay from Gideon on the top side of the map. We already saw like Namgun reset, went to the bot side. Just a bit too much time spent there. It's a decent punish from KT. See Gideon realizes he can't get out and does a lot of damage to Effort, all things considered.
Yeah.
But this one, G was already chunked by the true shot and still walked around this way.
Yeah, that was a crazy choice.
The Hextech Alternator was some of the damage there, because I think the Spell Shield stopped Distortion and the Hextech Alternator helped to...
That makes sense. It was something that was a bit delayed.
Yeah. And then I think maybe had Scorch as well proccing, so...
Oh my god, Romer is almost up to Shadow Flame.
He's going to be so fit. He's 9 stacks on the Dark Seal as well, so he could just grab Shadow Flame Medjai's and be on like the pseudo 3-item spike that feels so insanely strong.
Like he's, yeah,
ที่เราบอกหน้าซอมเซิร์กนะพี่ว่า
sort of assist or anything like that gets up to that 10 stacks. All that movement speed as well is just going to be so dangerous. Let's have a look at this little scuffle that just happened in the mid lane as G was just dead again. That's what happened.
คือแม่งแบบ
You had such a strong start to the series, but really struggling in this game. You know, Siva has a spell shield, a lot of value here, but the short range proving to be troublesome. And Bro just getting more and more pressure. 2 dragons
อีบูบอกว่ากูจะเล่นยังไงดีวะเนี่ยมีสเปลชิล1อันแต่แม่งแบบช็อกบาร์เอสเรียว
This was the matchup that Teddy got the most CS in the world on.
Yep.
And he was the Siva.
And the thing is, we've always talked about the Siva 400 CS win streak, but this game is not... It's not one where there's just easy targets to hit. It's also not one where KT can easily engage. Like, who are you actually going to engage on and how? Because LeBlanc and Ezreal both very safe.
ปีนี้พี่ดูหมดใจอะไต่แรงสุดแล้วโปรตีพี่แรงรัว
hard to land. There's Cuz just going in with a Cyclone, but that's not super reliable. I don't think KT can just necessarily team fight their way out of this hole that they're in right now.
Yeah.
I think picks are really going to be the impactful thing. But so far, Bro haven't really fallen prey. Casting did a phenomenal job to avoid being pressured. On lands.
Unbelievable.
ปีนี้เล่นไป793เกม
Still, Evid is going to get engaged on. Does have to flash himself out of the way.
มันเยอะหรือมันน้อย
So he's not dying here, but he's at least taking some damage and now on the hunt.
เรา8คูณ31 248บวก26วันนี้ประมาณ274วันนะ796หาร274เท่ากับพี่เล่นวันละ3เกมคือไม่ได้ปีนี้เล่นน้อยแต่ปีที่ผ่านมามึงไม่ใช่คนอันนี้ว่ะมึงไม่ใช่มนุษย์มนุษย์เขาไม่ทำกัน
I will admit I also forgot about it in that moment
มันไม่ใช่แบบว่ามันไม่ใช่ค่าเฉลี่ยปกติอันนั้นมันคือแบบ 3,000 เกมอันนั้นคือแบบมึงเอาเท้าไปแตะหญ้าบ้างมันต้องพูดอย่างนี้
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that one.
It does just negate that bit of pressure though, which is nice. And we didn't talk about before, but it is an ocean.
คือนิดเดียวก็ต้องซื้อแบบกระถางไอ้หญ้าไว้แบบแล้วปลูกหญ้าแล้วเอาเท้าไปวางบนกระถางแล้วอะคือมันแทบจะไม่ได้ทำอะไรเลยแต่อันนั้นอะมันคืออันนี้คือเล่นนะเฉลี่ยวันละ3 เกมแต่เราดูเอลอะสัปดาห์ละ5 วันแม่งคือทั้งชีวิตพี่แม่งเอลแม่งแทบจะตลอดเวลา
And not to mention the fact that like this is how the bros want to operate and they're against like a Zoe with Merc treads right
ตกลงใครแอนใหม่ในปีนี้เอามีปีหน้าไม่เหมือนเดิมปีหน้าจะไม่เหมือนเดิม
to try and make something happen it's not really going to work and I think the KT
ถ้าเหมือนเดิมก็ปีหน้าแหละจะไม่เหมือนเดิม
right ricochets things like this it's very consistent damage but the way that the bros have been playing so far is they haven't really allowed that to happen. It's sort of duck and weave style League of Legends. Get in, get out.
พี่เอาเวลาไปเล่น L เปลี่ยนก่อนออกไป
There's ever a time for that to find the value.
ก็พี่เอาเวลาเล่น L เปลี่ยนก่อนออกไปพี่ก็ได้เล่นเกมดีๆมากขึ้นอย่างเอาเบียนช่วงดรอปแล้วทีนี้พี่เล่น PoE เต็มอิ่มเลยแม้แต่ว่าตอนนั้นมันก็มีภารกิจของมันของ L ของมันอ่ะมันก็เป็นแบบถ้าเราพลาด L ช่วงนั้นก็จะพลาดภารกิจแบบโกนหัวเขียวอะไรมันพลาดเยอะมันก็ต้องแบบมันก็เป็นภารกิจช่วงชีวิตที่มันก็ไม่เหมือนกันคือไม่ได้เอาเวลาไปอยู่เฉยๆแล้วเวลามันก็แบบเอามาทำแบบคอนเทนต์อื่นอยู่ดีมันก็เพลินดีมันก็แบบคนละแบบ
Yeah, just barely goes wide as Perfect is able to secure the
เล่นโดต้าเกมละ40 นาทีก็เพลินนะครับโอ้โดต้ามันก็เป็นความสนุกอีกแบบนึงแหละพี่ว่า
They do have some good walls down here, but this one's going to get cleared out. They're going to try and rush their way in here. Roma's off to the side though, look at him.
Yeah, Gio is not really allowed to be here as the chains are going to connect. That is going to be the Drake going on over. Sleepy Trouble Bubble does connect onto Teddy, but he is so far from danger. Gideon goes in. Crescent Guard is there as effort will be wiped out. Tempered Fate from the grave just doesn't really do anything without Gio. I think he's going to have to use that extra movement speed to get the heck out of here. Paddlestar goes wide. The pros use their mobility to just avoid KT.
Good dodge from Namgoon. I think a
แล้ว KT จะมาแบบนี้จริงเหรอปีนี้
If you get hit by that Paddlestar, I think you just die. To be honest.
ตอนนี้ก็ยังไม่เข้าใจอยู่ดีว่าทำไมแม่งต้องออกด้วยได้เงินเยอะเหรอหมายถึงว่าแบบดกดำกับปีเตอร์คืออยู่ต่ออีกสักปีนึงให้มันชื่นใจหน่อยไม่ได้เหรอมันอุตส่าห์เข้าชิงเวอร์แล้วอะ
The bot hitbox working against effort, and even though the ult slows down, bro.
มีคิดถึง Dota 2 บ้างไหมพี่
Yep, and we all know slow bro is pretty powerful. You know,
very true.
แม่งลางมากอะ
especially for a Gen 1 Pokemon. So
ไม่เลือนลางสุดเลย
slow bro, they will potentially still be.
ถ้าจะคิดถึงอาร์เคดDota 2 มากกว่า
Anyway.
อยากเล่นไอ้มาโวสู้กันอีกสนุกชิบเป่งเลย
It's not all that relevant, is it? So I'll work on it. Try and figure out some Pokemon references to make.
I'm sure you have so many.
Yeah, and that was just that one didn't work.
ให้ออกซัพพอร์ตดีไม่
I got what you're going for. I thought it was
ไม่เกี่ยวเลย
There was a theory there, but I just didn't quite.
ถ้าพูดตามตรงแล้วก็ล็อกยังสปอนเยอะกว่าเลยถ้าเทียบกันไลออนแล้วก็ล็อกนี่แม่งหลายอันมากอะแต่ว่ามันคือเกมมันคือทุกครั้งที่เล่นก็หัวใจเต้นแรงแล้วรู้สึกว่ามันทุกครั้งที่สู้มันตื่นเต้นเร้าใจอ่ะมันแบบเสพติดความเจ็บปวดบอกไม่ถูกกันอ่ะแอลอ่ะมันตื่นเต้นเว้ยจริงๆคือเวลาเข้าไปบวกอ่ะมันตื่นเต้นสัตว์เลยอ่ะมันเหมือนกับว่ามันต้องใช้มันต้องทำทุกอย่างให้เพอร์เฟกต์อ่ะอย่างในเอท็อกเนี้ยถ้าเราใช้สกิลไม่โดนมันก็กากเลยอ่ะคือมันก็เลยต้องใช้สกิลให้โดนมันเลยแบบตื่นเต้นกันไม่เหมือนกับหัวใจมันเลยเต้นเร็ว
Effort is going to find him. Cuz was thinking about going over that wall. Decides to get.
คิดถึงอาร์เคดถึงเล่น StarCraft 2 แล้วStarCraft 2 มัน โมเดลมันไม่เท่าโดราทูอะโดราทูมันทำโมเดลแบบตอนไอ้พวกมาไอ้พวกมาเวลสนุกมาก
is so rarely going to be able to stun a LeBlanc, and a Wukong, you cyclone and you just recast distortion and you end up looking silly.
I feel like the Xin Zhao value is just so high as well as Roma goes in once again. Absolutely, this poke assassin as Trouble Bubble does connect onto the jungle and Namgung looking for an angle, doesn't find the cocoon onto BDD as Roma still looking for more. With this distortion, he can just be everywhere and nowhere all at once as Cuz gets engaged on. The Cyclone has to be invested as Namgung puts him in the cocoon.
ยังใช้คอนเซปต์นี้ตลอดคือถ้าเกมไหนรู้สึกเล่นแล้วไม่สนุกแบบพี่ก็จะไม่แบบไม่ได้แบบเยอะมากอะไรอย่างเงี้ยหรือไม่บางทีแบบรู้สึกว่ามันยังมันแบบถ้าเกมไหนมันสนุกมากมันจะแบบคลั่งเลยมันคลั่งของมันเองเว้ย
They're looking for poke on the side though. Pro not wanting perfect just to walk in here and stop them. Oh my god, that
Barry was almost dead. Yeah, he almost does get taken out here. Barry's still taking damage. Roma wanting to get these pokes down and BDD and after you just cannot be here. Roma will just kill you. Cocoon barely going to go wide. The chains also do not hit the mark as the bros back away from them. And never mind, they don't back away from Baron. Gideon was still there. Felt like there were so many that had left the pit. Surely they'd given up on it, but nope. Gideon sticks around and they
แต่ก็ยังชอบโรที่มีหลอดโมแกนอยู่ดีคุณไม่สามารถที่จะมาเถียงพี่ได้มันเรื่องจริงท่านหลอด
ดู LCK เสร็จละลงไลฟ์เลยปะครับพี่น้องเข้าใจได้พี่
เอาวันนี้กี้67 เดือนด้วยครับอยู่กันมาอย่างยาวนานตอนแรกว่าจะไปแข่งการ์ดแต่พี่ว่าน่าจะแข่งไม่ทันหรอกเพราะว่ามันต้องออก6 โมงครึ่งเอาจริงก็อาจจะทันไหมไม่รู้เลย
And then the rest of them just continuously get poked down, but never step too far. They know there's no immediate threat onto them. With the Wukong down, the engage isn't there. It's only a sleepy Trouble Bubble that connects would be a problem, but they just keep dodging away. And now, Dragon spawning at 15 would be that Ocean Soul. Gideon has GA and is feeling himself.
Yeah, he is just going to dash into 3 people. Magical Journey
แข่ง
gets
ที่ไหน
2
พหลโยธิน
cut and
59
out of there, or does it? Oh, Cocoon just barely going to go wide. But the bros, they push them all the way away from this dragon pit. They should be able to guarantee themselves an Ocean Soul. And I don't know how the bros lose from here with the style that they've been playing, as there is another Mimic Distortion.
นี่เป็นเรอบองตัวแรกๆที่พี่เห็นในปีนี้เลยที่แม่งเล่นแล้วแบบมันดูเก่ง
And also the Banshees picked up by Roma.
ที่ผ่านมานี่แม่งใครเล่นก็คือมีอันเป็นไป
You go in like that, you land a Sleepy Trouble Bubble, it just breaks the spell shield.
ถ้าทีวันไม่ได้ไปเวอร์พี่เลือกทีมเชียร์หรือยังทำเอาอยู่ไหนวะมันอยู่ไหน
They're moving now towards the dragon. Ocean Soul will just make things even more difficult.
And Roma should be putting his Magi's together immediately after this Drake goes down. Teddy going to help Gideon out here momentarily, and Casting going to come on over as well, do his shift. As that is just a
โอกาสที่ทีวันจะไปเวอร์แม่งตอนนี้ประมาณ 80%ไอเชื่อขอแค่ชนะแค่ครั้งเดียวขอชนะแค่ครั้ง70% ตอนเนี้ยชนะแค่ครั้งเดียว
But I think it's such a good buy here because this has been the one ability that Pro have been
โอกาสที่ทีวันจะไม่ได้ไปเวอร์คือประมาณตอนนี้นะประมาณ 12%
is that Zoe sleep
12% ป่ะวะ
and now it's just going to be so much less of a factor. In fact, with the McHills, you can't even be caught out by it yourself.
12%
McHills before the sleep actually
แล้ว
comes in.
Yeah, it's one of the easier abilities to keep track of with the McHales as well.
Don't even need to be Captain Jack.
Nope.
You could just be like Private James.
Yeah, Private James would actually be fine at it. Major Max, not so much. He still struggles. All right.
No.
GU and Effort
10%
trying to defend here, and at least Siva is pretty good at dealing with Baron minions, but not as good at dealing with all of this as he's trying to play some DDR, but misses out on that last one as the Shock Blast just halves his health bar. The True Shot Barrage would have done the other half, so pretty happy for him that he keeps himself alive here as Roma is splitting on that bottom side.
ไม่ก็คือคิดไงว่าทีวันมีโอกาสที่จะแพ้คู่แรกคู่เนี้ยพี่ให้ 40% เลยแบบเผื่อว่าช่วงนี้ฟอร์มไม่ดีใช่ป่ะแล้วพอแพ้ปุ๊บแล้วมีโอกาสที่จะแพ้ทีมข้างล่างฝ่ายล่างอีก 30%ก็คูณกันแล้วเป็น 12% ก็เลยมา 12% ทีนี้ได้ชนะข้างล่างแล้วแบบมันต้องไปแพ้อีกอันหนึ่งพี่คิดว่า40กับ40กับ40 16%
They pop the ult and look for a play.
Teddy's moving forward. G was in so much trouble. True Shot Barrage is going to chase after him, but not enough to kill him. On the hunt, enough movement speed to avoid it. But now Roma, he smells blood. And he is going to dash in, goes back to his original distortion here.
พี่เตรียม thank you owner กับ10เดี๋ยวนะมันจะมาอีกปีเหรอคือเหมือน smash กับกูมายูชินะก็คือแบบไปคู่ในเมื่อเธอเลือกไม่ได้ฉันก็ขอไปดีกว่า
and he still had his flash on top of that so just completely safe from the play
I'm already getting some Mikhail's value as well. You
คือ
can
ส
see
รุป
that's on cooldown.
ฮาวอะไรมึงจะตั้งทีม T1 โดยที่ไม่มีเฟเกอร์ว่างั้นใช่ไหม
It fell. They did manage to keep their top inhibitor turret alive. Bottom lane down to a couple of plates remaining. Jackshow's done here for perfect. That's item number 3. But I mean, you look at the other side of the rift, and Teddy is sitting on like a luxury BF sword as well as 4 items already done.
Yeah.
He's about to hit a flame horizon against Jiu, which I think is likely not going to happen because now Siva just like starts hitting these super minion waves.
สัญญาหมดปี 2028 ใจเย็น
Crazy how much farm he has.
Yeah, ahead of the clock by like 5 minutes here as well. Like it's crazy.
Ezreal doesn't soak up farm nearly.
พี่คิดว่าถ้ามันจำเป็นฮาวอะไรก็กดปุ่มได้ดิ
Gideon is also 70 CS up in the jungle. Casting also just finished his cycle.
แบบถ้ามันจำเป็นใช่ไหมฮาวอะไรก็กดปุ่มได้
Yeah. This is pretty ridiculous. 11,000 gold. They could just bring their wallets down on top of KT.
ฮาวอะไรมันเหมือนแมนซีในพรีเมียร์ลีกอะ
match point as even the maiden just getting taken out, not able to run.
Run!
She won't get up. There's the audacious charge. Shock blast just hits a corpse. Perfect. Not going to have access to that ultimate for the next little while.
Oh,
there is the forbidden book.
Finally. Not much time left to stack it, but we'll take it.
Yep.
Big influx of AP.
20 seconds until this Baron might be where he can get a couple of extra
พี่ดูดิ
pages.
T1 คนไหนได้ MVP แชมป์เวอร์ฮาวอะไรซื้อหมดเฟเกอร์ที่ซื้อมีแค่เฟเกอร์ที่ซื้อไม่ได้
Bros sieging, their push, their poke with just normal minion waves. You add the Baron to the equation, and I don't see KT being able to
เฟ
hang
เกอร์ไม่มี
on.
ทางไปแล้วมันแบบยังไงก็ต้องจบอยู่ที่ T1 แล้วแหละ
Zelda that's spawning in a couple of minutes. So, I mean, what are you supposed to do here? How are you supposed to even get close? And look at the 3 members, Roman, Namgun, and Teddy, just like hovering around the jungle under very little threat, but so much danger to anyone who steps forward. And the answer is, you're not going to contest it. So Baron's now secured for Bro. And once the siege begins, how are you supposed to approach that Elder Dragon that spawns in a minute and a half?
Run. I think you have to run.
Yeah, I think so.
BDD does have a pretty cool hat. Zoe is starting to do some damage.
Yeah, BDD's had so many phenomenal games on the Zoe, but I think Bro have respected it so much. The Sleepy Trouble Bubbles have not been able to connect. Oh, the true shot might hit!
Oh, BDD gets wiped out! Oh no, that should guarantee an Elder release, but maybe the Bros just go for the win. They've
หมด
got
ใจแล้วอะ
Baron,
ดีๆอะ
and they're just so much stronger. It is a
13,000
gold lead.
จะดีของจริง
Rover's
ว่ะ
gonna look to
เอ็ด
sink
เดียว
in
อะ
the knife. Perfect already taken down to 50%.
ของจริง
KT
แบบเท็ดดี้
desperately
นี่คือ
trying
แก
to
เอ
hold
ส
on
เรียว
to the
โคตร
Nexus
เก่ง
turrets. Cooling Wall goes down. Effort is basically dead.
ของจริง
Having
นะ
to
เว้ย
magically journey through his Nexus. As the Bros continue here, and they outrange them. They can layer so much poke in. Every one of these shock blasts
คือเมื่อ
is
กี้
so
ว่าสแม
deadly.
ท
True shot barrage
แต่ว่า
comes
พอ
over
มาเจอ
yet
เท็ด
again
ดี้
as Roma
เท็ด
has
ดี้
to
แม่ง
flash away because he's
มัน
already
เล่นแบบ
dead.
ถึง
Roma
จริง
goes back in
แล้ว
as
ใช้
he
สกินนี้ตลอด
finds
ด้ว
the
ย
chains and Teddy. His arcane shifting forward. Down goes the bottom lane. Perfect is on the fountain, just waiting for game number 4 as the Bros crush KT here in the 3rd.
What a game here by
Match
Roma
point แล้วว่ะ
on the LeBlanc, just decimating the Zoe of BDD, that legendary pick we've seen succeed so many times before. And you know, we often call Bro the thinking man's team.
Oh yeah.
That
ผมสัญญา
was the thinking man's
ผมสัญ
game.
ญาของ
I
ปู่
feel
อัน
like
นี้สุด
just
ท้ายแล้วมั้ง
so many setups, so many situations
อ๋อ
were landing the
สัญญา
poke,
ของ
not
ปู่ปี
letting
นี้
KT
อันสุดท้ายแล้ว
play
มั้ง
the
ใช่
game.
ไหม
It was frustrating from KT's perspective. It was flawless for the Bros.
It really was. They had such a cohesive draft as well. I think that's something that KT really need to work on moving into the next game because that one felt a little bit all over the place. But the way the Bros played this
แต่ปูหมอ
poke
เป็น
and
โค้ดมากอะ
pick composition, which has fallen on its face so many times here in the LCK.
ทำอะไรไม่ได้
Few times. The question is, what is Perfect going to take into it?
Obviously, Timo, I think, is going to be the
We've
answer
seen
here.
Perfect pick a range of things, like even the Tristana top. But it looks like he might just lean towards the Jax This is a matchup we've kind of talked about extensively, how the Jacks can find favor in this matchup. You have to consistently play around stacking grasp off the wave and then jump in and burst. That looks like Perfect's not in the mood for that, so he's just going to go for the Ambassador instead.
All right. A lot of setup CC for the public execution as well. I actually really like it for that. We were talking before about how the Akali doesn't necessarily work in the KT comp. The Lissandra definitely does for setting up Cuz in the early game, but then in the later game team fights, finding angles for this Ambassador to go in, for that Encore to be layered on top. The big CC here from KT in this draft is out of control. And Hanjin Brion, a little bit more of a weird one here with wanting to get like big combos of massive explosive damage and then for Locke to just kind of murder everyone when they hit that execution threshold. I think this poltergeist that Valdez liked to call it is going to be very, very powerful.
I think there's so many ways for them to engage. So many ways for them to dive in, but a lot of setup CC on the other side that can be a little bit tricky to deal with. So,
is this someone's dad? I'm wondering whether that's someone's dad, but I don't know.
This feels like a very fast-paced sort of game where if either team gets ahead, they're just going to bowl the other over. There's so many ways to pick and start fights from both sides.
Yeah, and we know that it's KT that are going to win this game to guarantee the silver scrapes, to make sure that this is the best play-ins that we've ever had. Let's get into the rift for game 4. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Onto the rift for the 4th game of this series, but not the last. Right, guys? Right, bro? Right, everyone? It's got to be KT fighting back to give us the maximum amount of games.
ตอนที่เข้าไปต่อยเราก็โดนเขาพันเฟยกลับมา
Match point. Palm of their hands.
คือเหมือนได้รีไซเคิลเข้าไป2เศษทรัพยากร
Taken down by cousin V2D.
แต่ว่าเขาเสียแค่1เพราะว่าเธอหนักมาเขาได้เพิ่มแต่มันได้เพิ่มแบบ
The electrocute working out quite nicely here.
ไม่ได้มานะ
all those nails.
I think you can't really be pressured that much by the lock.
ที่สตรีมอยู่ก็น่าจะ AI ครับไม่มีใครสังเกตนะทำไมไม่มีใครสังเกตนะ
Wave clear quite easily. You have a lot of safety. Skirmishing's good, which a lot of majors struggle to have into lock.
เป็นแบบโคม่าสีแดงด้วยลมมือ
I think it's okay. The main concern is Lissandra, she falls behind, can feel a bit lackluster.
อยากได้แหวน LCK ให้กับทีม T1 บ้างอ่ะ
Does have that reset potential though, and the thralls. One of the changes they did most recently to Lissandra is they included like the intelligence of the thralls. They made it so like they won't just stop following you if you walk through a brush.
Well, that's good. And
they don't stand still. Just
ไอริซิตอนนี้วินเลดดีนะแต่มันจะเล่นกับ
I remember that. Yeah,
just stand still and then explode. Now they don't do that anymore. So
you really needed to make sure that you had some excess CC to lock people up after their teammates had died.
Which, to be fair, KT do have this game.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. This feels like an old school Lissandra type draft where you can just kind of get CC for days.
โปรอ่ะแม่งรู้สึกว่าแบบอยากให้ทีวันดับแบบโปรบ้างมันเนาะแบบ
Lissandra for maximizing thrall damage with the fact that you can slow them down perpetually.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for Lori.
มันไม่จำเป็นต้องแบบครบสูตรบ้างอะไรอย่างงี้ป่ะ
which is also very, very important. We haven't actually done the Ashe or Lissandra lore on the broadcast yet, have we? We really got stuck on Nautilus for a long time. Then we did Mordekaiser for a while.
There was just so much
แหวนเวอร์ไป6
Yeah, there was a lot of content. We needed to...
so much deep.
ลิซินเรียนจากน้องทางนี้ทุกคนเลยหรือเปล่า
Yeah.
Once he was dropped to the ocean in Bilgewater.
ส่วนใหญ่ก็จะ
bottom of the ocean, one could
นักแข่งเกาหลีก็จะไปดูแทนนี่เล่น
not have used all of those the money that was all cursed and all that sort of stuff. I can barely remember. We need to do another episode so I can get a refresher.
Clearly did not watch Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Tears to the Black Pearl.
ตอนแรกพี่จะพูดคำนึงมีคนบอกเล่นป่าเหรอชงมานะแบบพูดอีกคำนึงมันไม่ได้แบบมันอาจจะเอาฮาเกินไป
That was the original. That was the original and the best. You know, at the height of Pirates of the Caribbean. As all right, Casting and Perfect just colliding against one another here towards his top side right now. The only lane that the bros have an advantage in, but as I say that, it is taken away.
จะสู้พี่บนแหวนที่เป็นวงได้ไง
And I feel like he's been doing a lot of this in this series. There hasn't been a ton of ganking from either jungler, but Gideon has been trying to make issues
ที่พูดอย่างนี้พี่ผมยิ่งอยาก
Gideon of course he's going to go for that. The beat drops but Gideon is able to get himself out of the way, able to outrange the Q from BDD as well. Very luckily finds himself
ที่มันไม่ค่อยดังง่ายๆหรือหาเคาน์เตอร์ชอบดับแผนตามซ้อมอย่างเดียว
Gideon without their flashes now.
That was chaotic. That was very aggressive. Bro already
นี่
just
ที่ว่าเป็นทีมที่ดับ
but BDD
เคาน์เตอร์บ่อยนะ
easily get over the wall and it became a little bit
โดยเฉพาะแบบ
precarious
ขอ
one.
เคาน์เตอร์
Bro's comp very good at going
แบบเลือกตัวนี้มาเคาน์เตอร์ตัวนี้เลย
Pursuit gets Roma over that wall
อย่างทันโดเนี่ยที่เราเห็นว่ากดมาก็กดมาเจอแบบกดมาเคซันเต้บ้างกดมาอยู่กับออนบ้างคือมันกดมาปุ๊บเพื่อแบบเฮ้ยออนเล่นออนฝั่งเราเล่นง่ายกดมาปุ๊บเฮ้ยได้ไปกดอันตีใส่เคซันเต้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยแต่สุดท้ายแล้วแม่งไม่เวิร์กอะ
A lot of pressure now in the bot lane 2v2.
Jin is struggling somewhat as Deadly Flourish going to deny some minions here or attempt to at least. That one caster has not quite taken that extra damage just yet. Namgung moves in.
It does just spot Gideon.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think it did. He didn't get pinged, so I think it just flew past him. They'll know what camps are up though, and that's enough information in and of itself. But you can see kind of the setup from Namgung there, getting the control ward in the tri-brush to threaten.
เนี่ยบางทีก็อยากให้แบบโดนรันเล่นแบบเงียบๆแบบชิวๆแบบแคส
In the
ติ้ง
end though, I think Gideon just needs to play for 6.
ไม่ต้องแบบโซโล่คิวอะไร
And it's
เงี้ย
really straightforward and easy.
Yep. And just kind of drop on top of them. See whether you can lock up some kills. If they can get some cooldowns before that, then all the better.
แต่ท่านเทพเจ้าโดรันก็
Jiwoo and Effort need to really consider how they're playing the lane because as fun as it is
มหาเทพรันโด
definitely push, hit the enemy tower, that will end up being costly if they keep doing that.
เล่นระวังมากกว่านี้ใช่เล่นแบบกึ่งแบบว่า
Game plan is going to change. Gideon half
ประ
a
คอง
level
ไซเลนไปก่อน
until that
ไม่
man
อะไร
drop
ไม่อะไร
available.
มาก
Steady
เวลา
enough.
โดนแก๊งมันทำให้แบบ
Back in this lane together once again.
ด้วยความที่แบบสมมติตัวที่แก๊งได้มันเป็นป่า
Is
เนี่ย
picking up this
ป่า
subtle
มันก็จะเอาเงินที่ได้จาก
resource,
เฟิร์ส
so
บัตรและได้จากของแบบ
Gideon not
มี
gonna have
เงิน
access to that,
นำมันก็จะมา
but he
ทำลาย
needs
เลน
level
อื่นไง
6, and now he's instead
เพราะฉะนั้นถ้าเกิดโดน
actually
เฟิร์สบัตรอะ
raptors, so
โดนแบบโซโล่คิวแม่ง
but it won't actually get him to level 6 yet.
ยังดีเสีย
Gideon
กว่า
will
ที่แบบ
get
ไปโด
6
น
off
ลุม
these
แล้วโดน
raptors and look set up
เฟิร์สบัตรให้ป่า
He's immediately moving over to contest.
Yep, they are pinging it out. There's now Roma spots Cuz moving in, and Gideon does hit that level 6. Got the Ashen Pursuit though, and there's the Frozen Tomb. Level 6 available here as we do have the ultimate thrown down by Roma, but the Q misses from Cuz. And that will allow Roma to escape.
มันรอดได้ไงวะนะง
That's
ง
one thing. You are pretty bulky as the lock, and the fact that you can reactivate the Grey Health while you're CC'd makes it a lot harder for the Lissandra to actually kill you.
Yeah.
Even with the help of the Lee Sin, but the dodge and the Sonic Wave is pretty good. The slow as well from the ultimate helping.
คือเหมือน
Roma get
การ
out
ตัดสินใจ
now.
แรกของ
They
ขอ
will
งโด
take
รานอะจะ
the
ดีนะ
Dragon
เว้ย
as their consolation
แต่แบบ
prize.
มันจะมีอีกการตัดสินใจแบบคู่ขนานที่โดรานคิดอะแล้วมันก็แบบ
And this is really gonna shape how
อันนั้นไม่ค่อยดี
have to play the
ไอ้ครั้งแรก
game.
แบบ
There is
แบบ
cleanse
ใต้สำนึกแก
on
ตัดสินใจแบบนั้นอะ
Jiwoo at least,
ดี
which
ถ้า
helps
แบบอันนั้น
a
อะดี
bit
แล้ว
in terms of
มันจะมีบางช็อต
doing
แบบว่า
what
มันมี
they're
วันนั้นใช่ป่ะที่แบบ
But there is so
แก
much CC
เลือด
to
โล
play.
แล้ว
Obviously,
แกได้ดัน
this
เวฟ
massive
เข้าอ่ะ
cleanse gonna be
แล้วแก
very
กดวาร์ปกลับ
valuable
บ้านที่พุ่มกลาง
after you
แล้วแก
use
ก็
it
แบบ
the first
เรียกโอ
time.
ลาฟไง
There's also
แกก็
like,
วาร์ป
Namgoon's hook shot
กำลังจะวาร์ปเสร็จแล้วอ่ะ
really stun you for long,
และอีกฝั่งหนึ่ง
but
แบบ
like
เดินมา
the-
เหมือนจะเป็นซูดมั้งเดินมา
the
แล้ว
impact
ก็
of it.
หรือ
Like,
ใคร
that's
วะ
the main thing. It's
เดิน
like
เข้ามาใน
Cleanse is
แบบ
really
เหมือน
gonna
เหมือน
drastically
รู้ว่าโดราน
change
น่าจะวาร์ปในพุ่มอ่ะเดินมาล่อแล้วโดรานแกก็ปาขวานออกมาเลยพร้อมกับแบบจุดไฟเลย
Yeah, there's still a lot of threat in place.
ซึ่งจังหวะแรกแกวาร์ปกลับไปเลยอะแกก็จะแล้วแกก็จะไม่โดนแก๊งไงเพราะว่าพอแกปาขวานมาปุ๊บอะแล้วแกจุดไฟ
But it really
แล้วมันก็เจอ
depends
แบบ
how
ป่ามาแก๊ง
it
เพราะ
starts.
มันเป็นอยู่แล้วทำมิ่ง
BDD,
นั้น
if
อะ
you can ult the right target and they just delete them,
แล้วแกก็
knock the
ตาย
controls out, they represent a lot of damage.
แต่จังหวะแรกแก
especially
วาร์ป
when
จะ
using
เสร็จแล้วอะ
vibes
มันแค่
where there just
การ
isn't
ตัดสินใจ
that
แรง
damage.
จริงถ้ามัน
And
วาร์ปกลับไปเลย
honestly, I think
แกม
KT's
เลย
composition, that is one thing they're kind of lacking, right? They have a lot of utility, they have a lot of CC, but the damage isn't necessarily there in droves. They have a fair bit consistently of what little damage they have as the arrow is going to be thrown at Teddy. He just barely gets his cleanse back off cooldown as Gio is just going to chase him down. Teddy realizes that Gio is not going to be catching him underneath this turret, and Dancing Grenade just
ป้อม
clears
มัน
out the wave and he
สามารถ
goes
ล็อกขาได้
No, often it's
เล
the
ย
Jhin who has the edge in these 1v1 matchups because you can trade a bit and then back off with an ult the opponent, but Gio is the one who puts down the pressure and forces Teddy to back here. Cleanse down as well means could be a little bit vulnerable later. Now, Gideon, he's locked in on his grubs.
Oh yeah.
คามิลเดินไปกลางเลยวะ
Scry's Bloom is going to spot out exactly
แต่
where
ว่า
Gideon is.
แอชไม่มี
Controller
arrow
does
นะ
give away the information as to Cuz and Effort's location.
I feel like they want to get perfect in here as well. If they can layer the CC from BDD with the
ต้องสมัยว่ะแย่จัด
really devastating.
Well now,
นามาแต่ว่าเมกานาอีกยาวไกลแล้วโดดไปแล้วด้วยน่าจะต้องปล่อย
Quite with his Narbar in the position that they want it, so it should be 2 grubs. Oh, effort! KT, his effort is going to face check. Man, that was a lot of damage from the Q out of Gideon, but the beat drop does come down, slows up this Pantheon as KT. They can control this battlefield so well. Cuz hasn't quite hit a Q yet.
Well, they're splitting up though. Do they look now? Don't find a window. KT can just back off.
Yeah,
a little scary there.
Careful.
I think Bro were very respectful of the potential to get the Sandra ulted in one shot. I think Namgun in particular, as a player who, no fear of dying, respected dying there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the Namgun I know.
He's waiting for a better opportunity to die.
No Time to Die. Or one of the other James Bond movies, I'm sure.
Die Another Day?
Yeah, that's the one. Wow, why did I go with the one that no one really watched? Because it wasn't a very good one. Die Another Day was that good? I don't quite remember. I feel like that was in the era of they were a bit samey. I think was that Pierce Brosnan?
I remember. Yes, it was.
Yeah. I mean,
it was the one with the giant. Wasn't it the one with the giant space laser? And he's like,
that's Austin Powers, isn't it?
No. Would you believe? And he's surfing on like it's like is it the hood of the car, like the boot of the car, and he's surfing because the lasers melt in the ice.
Oh yeah, that's the one. It's all in like the Arctic or something the entire time.
Yes.
Yeah.
A land that is icy, but not Iceland. Maybe it was ice. No, it wasn't Iceland.
Could have been. Was it Antarctica? I don't know. It's one of the ends of the world that have the cold bits, I'm sure.
It was a bit more of I feel like the modern ones would be more serious, and that one was a bit like, you had like the invisible car and the laser chair and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. It was very hard for them to do better than GoldenEye. It was just so good.
Okay, Eclipse fight for Cuz. Saw this item get buffed. And actually, Perfect and Cuz going to have that one item Eclipse fight, which is a lot of power represented. So fighting around those could be big, especially when they're already at this gold deficit. It's a minute away from Dragon. It was Chemtech into Cloud.
Oh, this is a big combo. Perfect takes a lot of his health bar. Casting not going to stick around. Oh, Roma just barely skirting the vision, and now Perfect gets the bad news.
No wave there, though. Oh, this arrow!
Oh, the arrow can... Oh! Okay, that was the other team. Never mind.
Yeah, I thought it was
freaking out.
It was going to hit Roman when he went for the dive, but instead it just... Unfortunately, it's not like Senna where it helps out.
Oh, no. Well, there it is. And, yeah, goes the Ambassador. Nothing you can do about that one.
Yeah, that was honestly just looked like such an easy dive. They had to be patient, and there is a cost to that. On the other side of the map, KT aggressing here and getting some damage down on this tower. 2 grubs in favor of them, and Ash just shredding. Casting had already done a lot of the legwork on this tower, though.
Yeah, and I know that we like to call the Lock Ultimate Poltergeist, but Purgatory really fit for where Perfect was positioned in that top lane. Nowhere to go, just no chance.
At least to end it.
Yeah.
No, at least he found his way out of Purgatory.
That's true. Via the Death Chamber, but there is only 1 plate remaining there on that top side. And the minion wave is just going to get eaten by the turret. KT at least going to make it to Double Dragon with Chemtech and Cloud taken away. There's a chance that this could be like a Hex Tech.
แชทพี่ยังจำไม่ได้ว่ะคือพอล็อกมันฆ่าได้มันจะไปเก็บไอ้หมวกนั้นใช่ป่ะมันไปเก็บไอ้อันตีอ่ะ
So far today.
แล้วมันได้อะไรนะ
And I feel like when you talked before about this KT composition needing a bit of extra oomph.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So adding the extra burst to like BDD's engage, it can make a big difference.
มันบอกว่า Refresh the mark duration of all
And the frost shot actually worked. No one to follow up, so
he's just going
back away.
They've been scary. Ignite, Hextech Ultimatum, and the Jin ult to follow up could have just been enough to catch you off guard. So
able
to disengage from the situation.
Man, I feel like the bros have gotten too much bro tax now. The tempo vibes are just like all over the bros.
Yeah,
KT really haven't been able to turn things around.
0.5% per skill
And
champion
they're going to need to.
I mean, look at the state of the game. Casting has a massive lead, and honestly, we talked so much about this matchup. How Casting was behind Perfect for
ถ้าฆ่า10 ตัวก็ได้5ฆ่า100 ตัวได้ 50% แชท
having a big advantage in this match.
โยนตีทีนึงแม่งแทบตายแล้วอ่ะ
Such a strong start to the regular season, the LCK back in round 1 and 2, and right now it's kind of being angled a little bit by Casting.
And Casting is going to continue that trend as well. He's close to 40 CS up, but this is also experience that Perfect is missing out on. He's at least going to be able to get that melee minion, but there is first turret going over to the Nar.
ทั้งวันทั้งคืนเลยเหรอ
1,000 gold lead. And that's devastating here because he is going to be
ต้องฆ่า
dominating
200 ตัวแล้ว
side
โยนทีเดียวตาย
lanes.
เลย
I feel like Fed Nar is so annoying. Oh, we might get a fight here.
Potentially, Effort
Because
is
you
a
can kind of
target.
just, as a Fed Nar, just run down the enemy AD carry and auto attack them, and they lose because it's tanky.
Yeah.
Frustrating. Now,
อย่าบอกนะ
we
ว่า
get a recall coming in from
มันจะ
casting.
ตื้อดื้อ
He
ดื้
might
อ
look to buy here and be ready to TP in.
He'll have Trinity Force as well.
Not really actually fighting for an objective right now, but if they're contesting this heavily, you could find an angle. He's actually just walking over as a TP to go back if he needs. And this is where KT need to be careful. They aggress right now. When Nar is here already, they could lose out far more than they want. It's a fight over the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, I'm
Some
not
view
sure.
this more importantly than Dragons.
Why are we investing this much? Well, BDD is going to try and Claw of Doom his way out. There's that Purgatory we
BDD
were
กดนา
talking
ฬิกา
about.
ผมให้กด
As
นาฬิกา
Namco
การันตี
gets X-Tech ultimatum before he dies, but look at this damage from KT. They just dominate them. Still, Gideon going to try and get some work done, but BDD holds him in place and
BDD
takes him
ล่อ
out.
ให้หม
I'm
ดเลย
still
ครับ
not
ผม
sure what the bros were fighting for, but KT won.
Yeah, I have some
ฆ่าใครไม่ได้เลย
questions about how and what they did in that fight. I think there's a lot of targets on KT that you could have gone for. They opted to go for the Lissandra here. You know, BDD clawed and then they jumped on him. This massive encore connected.
Man, Effort.
BDD self-ulted and then Cuz just kicked them through. It was like the straight line of the encore into the straight line of the kick. Lissandra is last on the list. You know, if you want to make a list of targets, last. Dead last. In fact, there's a sizable gap between 4th and 5th in terms of which target you want to go for.
I don't know. I think Ambessa is also a rough one to go for just because she can immune a bunch of stuff or at least be untargetable for a bunch of stuff. So just hit anyone else. Now, all the other three, great choice.
It's a fact that BDD flashed and they were like, you know what? Let's still go for the Lissandra. They could have gone for the Sin, they could have gone for maybe the Seraphine.
Yeah.
And it did counteract them because this composition
Wait,
is quite
Bethesda
momentum based.
จนจังเลยวะ
Before, and
I feel like it's only worse as well because KT winning that fight around the Dragon Pit, that's what they need to do in a minute's time. It's a great warm-up for exactly the play that they want to make.
And you look at the summoners expended. Everyone on Bro apart from
Oh
Teddy
my
did their
God.
flashes. It was only BDD's flash that had to get used there by KT. So they go in with a massive summoner economy advantage here. And if you try and go for that same jump again on someone who isn't BDD, they're going to have flash. So please don't take that as a sign you should go for BDD. We've established it's not a good idea.
Hey, unless they get the Frozen Tomb and the Claw out of him, you know, then you could probably do it.
ผมอยากให้ทีวันชนะแต่ดับ
but
มั่งจัง
Maybe just don't.
Why would he use both of those unless you're diving onto him?
That is a very good point. What if you're faking it? You know?
โคม่าอยู่ไหนตอนนี้ต้องเรียกโคม่ามา
You
Alright,
bluff
Cuz
it.
hits a Q. That's cool.
Bluff it, going for the bot lane and switch to him. But I think it'd probably just be easier just to kill Effort and G-Rule.
That would be... You might do that by accident if that is your game plan anyway.
Okay, I think they're just going to secure the scuttle here and then move down towards Dragon. And then they want to go for Herald Jet when Dragon's in 10 seconds would be third for them. Massive. BDD picks up this top wave and then should make his way down. Roma has TP ready to go in. In terms of item spikes, the 2 eclipses from KT, pretty major at this point of the game. We do have Teddy and Jiwoo close their second items, not quite there. But now the Dragon's being rushed here by Bro. Can Cuz get there in time?
Yeah, Cuz not going to be able to stop this.
ไม่ทันค
Kind
รับ
of
เฟิร์
missed
ส
a trick there. This was a fight that was so favored towards KT. You had more summoners. You were not
ทำ
really
ไม
ahead
ถึ
in
งปล่อย
gold,
ได้
but
เนาะ
if you found the right
KT
setup in terms of engage in a great spot, and they kind of just gave it over for free.
Yeah, it wasn't really what you wanted, as Teddy is going to get tagged by a Q here. Deadly Flourish hits onto Effort.
Yeah, the Eclipse spikes as well. I think a lot was favored there, and they kind of just missed the mark. Now the arrow might hit the lock.
Oh, he tried to dash his way out of there, as now BDD is looking to chase down Roma. Ashen Pursuit might be able to get him out, as the Claw is going to get followed. BDD just trying to hold him in position because the Cavalry are on their way. And some serious alcove gaming is going to be necessary here. But the Frozen Tomb, I mean, the kitchen sink hits the lock, and he is definitely going to die. But Effort goes down as well, and now casting the very large Nar is still able to grab him with the auto. There's the hop in order to get on top of Cuz as well. And it's Teddy that comes up and grabs that kill. And actually, the arrow hitting Roma may have just been the demise of KT.
คือเพอร์เฟกต์กับ จีวูไม่
I
ได้มา
think it was big gold lead given over to Bro now. They'll be able to pick up Herald as well on the back of this. Yes, they'll lose their mid tower, but it's a cost worth paying. Casting, the one who shows up and is just so strong already. It took so much time to set up this play. The Pantheon having the ult, the Na'Vi being able to get there, and the fact that the lock, you have to burn so much to kill him. You know, the Encore, the Lissandra ultimate, both used, the Dragon Rage as well. That last one killing BDD with a passive proc. And then Cuz just no way out of this situation.
Yeah, it was a nice avoidance of the Gnar with the safeguard. But Roma is like, yeah, I bought the time, boys.
That clap was so cute. Just like a little polite golf clap.
Just showing that he had use of his hands for a little while he waits for the death
ก็
timer.
เคทีน่ามีเทนดี
And now the Bros are just going to try and build up that gold lead yet again. As you can see here with the gold graph, it is making its way up to that lead that they had slightly earlier on before that devastating loss in that team fight around the dragon.
Okay, Teddy also, instead of the Ghost Blade, went Serpent Fang, but there is a lot of shielding on the other side.
I think it's kind of a cute idea.
I can understand the technology. I think this is, there's a lot, there's a Seraphine, there's a Lee Sin, there's the Ambassador, there's good value.
Artis looks for the angle towards Roma, who does have some gray health to eat. He was going to connect, but he does eat said gray health and is going to be okay. And will they be able to take this turret? Looks like not yet. As KT will now back away. Did have that dot on it, but it is not going to quite be enough. I think it's on its last legs.
The point where you start to feel like a little rough about the fact that KT gave over that last dragon for free, because they could have been staring down Soul in 2 minutes, and instead they're in a position where if they play the fight, even if they get the dragon, if they mess up the fight and lose Baron, it could be super costly, and they don't get the reward of an Infernal Soul.
It's a big deal. Roman out, just going to catch this wave. As they did manage to deal with that outer turret.
เรามารีเลียได้มันโกงไปไหมพี่
Really lessen this gold lead, only 1,000 and at 20 minutes, that is not going to be a big deal
ถ้ามัน
at all.
ถ้ามัน
KT's
ทำ
composition
อย่างนั้นไม่ได้พี่ว่าไม่น่า
further
ไหว
online,
มันเป็นแอสซินตีใกล้ที่ไม่มีอะไร
Bros to fight into
คืออย่าง
it.
อากาลิมันยังมีหมอกมีอะไรที่มันแบบ
set up this dragon
ออก
fight.
มาได้
What items are able to be complete? Oh no.
ถ้าแอสซินไม่มีเลย
Teddy going to be
ก็
dash cannoned on.
ก็เข้าไปตาย
There is that ring of frost as well. BDD not going to go too aggressive. Doesn't throw down the frozen tomb as that is cleansable.
เลอบองไงแอสซินเมดมันก็มีเข้าแล้วก็ออกอากาลิมีเข้าออกได้ถ้าล็อกไม่มีก็จบแล้วคือแอสซินมันต้องมีอะไรที่อย่าง
I
นี้
think
ไหม
there's a lot of players who would have just cleansed flashed immediately and then ended up with nothing for that dragon fight in a minute. It's still a big pickup from KT, don't get me wrong, to be in that flash, but he says something, oh no, perfect.
Oh dear, he face checks. There's a Hextech ultimatum as Cuz looking to try and come in and help him out, but Gideon's going to land right on top of an arrow. Public execution in the flash, gets perfect out of there, and now BDD, he has to do the same thing. The claw is denied though, and he has to self-ult to try and keep himself up. Cuz now going to make his way in, but his mid laner is already dead. And Gee, that tags Nando with that volley, and the curtain call is going to interrupt perfect. Oh, caught window shopping there just a little bit. He didn't quite see the curtains, but isn't going to be taken down by that first bullet as KT just lose their mid laner, and Cuz checks the Baron to see whether Bro is going to be that aggressive with their decision making.
แล้วคนนี้ตอนนี้จะซ้อนแล้วแต่ว่าพอแบบมันวาร์ปลงมาแล้วแพดดิออนมามันก็จะปล่อยแล้ว BDD มันไม่ทันแล้วไง
Get CC'd so you can't follow the course, self-ults, because what else can you do? But they're there, immediately take him out. Cuz looks like to see if he can find something, but there's just nothing really there when he's going in alone with Perfect Chunked and BDD dead.
Oh,
now, Bro, once again, getting control of the area first, but this time a much more confident control. Before, last dragon, they kind of snuck it. This one, they're just getting control of the area, and I'm getting in trouble there. Has to flash away.
And Shelly not going to find the angle as there's the Encore just to pick up the Camille. They do manage to take her down. Namgung no longer on the rift. This might give KT the angle to get that soul point that we have been talking about. Fighting into this KT composition when they've set up the phalanx is so difficult. And so they will be able to do that, and the Bros not going to take the 4v5.
Good moves from Effort there. He was the one who specifically caught out Namgung, and Namgung just flopped so quickly when the CC connects, even with the Celestial opposition. Not enough to keep him healthy, so nice move from KT to get control of that dragon. We see here with the slow coming in, Namgu went too far forward, gets caught here with the root, and then Effort says, you know what, let's just get this kill, let's guarantee it.
I like it. They get the flash out of him, and then Effort says, well, you can have mine as well, we'll kill you. G Gio is pretty close to item number 3 as well. And I kind of love this like Intel Runans type build when the bros are so melee plus a Jin.
Yeah. Also, these 2 items did get buffed for East.
ถ้าจะไปแข่งต้องเล่นในเรียยังไม่พร้อมอ่ะออน
Is he okay? Has he had a heart attack? I almost did. All right, now he is okay. Can confirm. But that once was a Lee Sin and now he's gone.
Obliterated, honestly, so quickly there. That's kind of the goal of bros, sort of just jumping you and beating you down. Very quick kills, but not enough for them to go for the Baron here. It is once again the Huni Baron, so a little bit scary. This happens so quickly. And it's just really not much to do. It's kind of what I was talking about with the Lee Sin. Normally you have so much safety and you're able to evade all of these attempts on your life. You cannot enter this composition with the Camille who can just ult you.
Yeah. And now Roma has his 2 items completed. Storm Surge and the Lich Bane have been done. And so yeah, that burst that we were talking about, grabbing some of these Purgatory kills, will start stacking up. Teddy also gets an Infinity Edge. 3rd item, Infinity Edge for a Jin feels great. We'll be able to build towards some armor pen now, I would assume.
Jiwoo picks up the LDR, so Jiwoo is kind of shredding, but I feel like the awkward thing with Ash is you want the IE as well, but also you'd like defensive items since you're mobile. You have some protection, a lot of CC in your team and killed you. But it sounds crazy to say, but I think Jiwoo will start to really shred and feel comfortable on 5 items, but so late in this game.
Yeah. But these, like, with what he has now,
3-1ได้ไปเล่นการนะแต่ว่าไม่6:30แล้วอ่ะ
and if the bro
แล้วการยังไม่ได้เปลี่ยนเลยตอนเนี้ย
engages on
จะทัน
someone
เหรอ
other than the Ash, I think they'll be surprised with the amount that Jiwoo will be able to dish out in these fights.
เพราะว่าถ้าไปเล่นตอนนี้พี่ว่าไปเล่นออนนี่น่าจะแตกพ่ายแน่เลยต้องไปเล่นในเรียก่อน
Getting a bit of a taste of KT's keep away that they're able to play here with this composition. As Jiwoo standing up, I was a little bit scared of his positioning there, but he's able to just clear out the wave. Deadly Flourish is going to go slightly wide. Buzz clears out vision himself. So KT, I think their eyes are on this Baron until this Drake is up. And then that all-important Infernal Soul and availability here to really help them with their damage problems. That's perfect. Thinking about trying to find an angle towards casting here, gets himself a bit of a shield.
We're fighting over the Scuttle Crab because...
Oh yes, that's what we always do. Some volleys are coming on through here as possible engage towards Roma as BDD does lead the rest of his team. There's Hex ultimatum into the backline. The Baron gets involved. The Encore was fantastic with the lob, takes down that first kill. These bars are so low, and KT will outlast them. Casting gonna get taken down, and it's a sad Dagon, but it's a happy everyone else, because we are one step closer to Silver Scrapes.
They try and go for Cuz there, but he just baits them into the Baron. The Encore is beautiful, and Jiwoo flashing over the wall to finish them all off. We'll see the replay. They try and look for Cuz, but he's not isolated, he's not alone. He board hops into the pit, and then effort. Look at the Encore here. Doesn't actually get as much value as you'd hope, but it just does the setup for BDD to ult. And then Jiwoo steps forward and starts absolutely shredding with the Baron as Baron.
Yeah, actually, the Baron did the most damage to Jiwoo out of everyone there, and he almost died.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Huni Baron for you.
Yeah.
A lot of threat.
Huni needs to be, like, needs to calm down. The Baron did get taken, as we saw there. Thank you very much, Jonas Strong, for that. And BDD has himself a Zonya's as well. Very important item for Lissandro.
The lock purgatory little thing on the ground is still there.
Oh no.
ให้พี่เทียช่วยใส่การ์ด
He's pinged on his way. He's going for it. He's going for it. Did you get it? I think he got it.
Wait, Jonah Strong.
Yeah, he picked it up now.
Okay,
so a little bit stronger ultimate, but I think you need a lot stronger ultimate. If you look at the items, right, both 80 carries finished the 3rd item, and then Teddy picked up a Trick Cloak and a Longsword. Jiwoo picked up a BF Sword and a Pickaxe at the back of that.
My goodness.
Look at that steepness on the gold graph.
It is, the bros, they keep getting to like the 2.5k mark, and it's their demise. Now Namgung is in a lot of trouble here. Perfect gets on top of him. There is nowhere for this Camille to go. The arrow's going to connect.
ไม่ได้ไปละ
The kick flash onto casting is BDD. Perfect timing on the self-hold. And now Cuz looking for more of these angles. Jiu just chasing after them. Wanted to get these frost shots down. There's a curtain call. And Teddy, can he get enough damage here? Cuz has already been taken out, but they just don't care about these bullets. These minions are going to be enough for KT to be able to push through and take down this turret as now the claw comes in. One more minion going to be there. That is going to be the inner turret falling down. Still, it does cost them the one member that didn't have Baron to begin with.
I will say though, Cuz being down, Dragon being up, this is a situation Bro play for to set up. They actually hit Jiwoo there. TP coming in from the Gnar. This is still a precarious one for Bro, but they can get the Dragon here and deny Soul from KT. This could be a massive win.
Teleport back here from Perfect. BDD doesn't have his teleport available. He's just picking up these cinders, and it looks like KT will just give up this Dragon and allow the Bros to have it, not liking the position they were at on the map.
This ult from Perfect, interrupting the hook shot, just really shuts down Namgo. Nothing he can do in that situation. The arrow comes in. Casting still pretty tanky, so this isn't exactly easy to go for, but the self-ult from BDD was beautiful. But they just go a little bit too far in the chase here from Cuz. Gets stunned on the tower. The follow-up is there. And then a bit of an overstep considering how soon Dragon was to spawning. You could have just secured that Infernal Soul for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Now another 4.5 minutes before you even have the chance to go for it.
Split pushing Ashe and the split pushing Gnar. BDD is going to answer set Gnar. Somehow BDD has done the most damage in the game as well after we spent most of the game talking about how Lissandra doesn't do that much damage. He also hasn't gone for the Imperial Mandate, which I kind of find interesting.
Yeah, it was weird because Imperial Mandate came into the game, the new version, and Lissandra gained a ton of popularity. But then we got in the LCK, and at first they weren't building it. They were just building normal Lissandra. And then we saw people start to build the Imperial Mandate, but there's definitely some who still go this build now. He doesn't have sums right now. KT น่าจะชนะเกมนี้พี่ว่า doing insane damage right now. If you can get target access, you can get the flurry up and just auto attack. He will shred. Would love to pick up a defensive on top of that. Whereas Teddy, you know, he's nearly got his last Wisp right completed, and he'll really have a lot of power.
Yeah, he's been deep in the bargain bin. As the Flourish is going to go wide. The arrow connects. There's the encore as well.
โดนว่ะเชี่ยลงเมื่อตาย
Put this lock under. And KT, there's
ใครจะไปเชื่อว่ามันจะเป็น5เกมวะ
the back end of that, but they might be able to take down a turret or two.
So much setup, so much CC and pick potential, and just disrespected by Roma. Lock normally so hard to punish. They find a way to do it now. They'll have casting push here in the side lane. No TP from him. But look at this flank that's threatened by Namgoon. We've seen what a flank can do from him before. But I think the opportunity has passed. They'll give up the mid lane inhibitor while waiting for Roma to respawn.
Yeah, the top lane, the bottom lane inner turret will be the trade. KT is at least able to collect, but you were talking about that inhibitor going down there.
อยากให้ฉันไม่เห็นพี่เจกำลังนั่งใส่ซองการ์ด
Such an insane angle if casting had TP and could just TP over to assist, but unfortunately not able to make that play happen.
I think Namgoon has been in that brush for forever.
He's liking it there. It's a good vibe.
Yeah, decides instead to go back. There is that Imperial Mandate, so 4th item.
It's a big spike as well. You know, the Imperial Mandate's so cheap, but offers so much power for Lissandra that it kind of just lets you cheat to get a build completed early. And here, Roma
คือแม่งแบบ
ends up using the
everything
dash.
อ่ะ
Doesn't have time to flash. Once one bit of CC hits, even with
แล้วเขาแบบว่า
doesn't
ใช้ส
matter.
กิล
You
ตอน
are
ที่
dead.
แม่งแบบว่าตีทีสุดท้ายนะแบบว่าให้ลมเมอร์แบบว่าตัดสินใจว่า
Not
แค่ทีเดียวเองอ่ะ
not deciding to skimp out on anything, right? So that Arrow, the Encore, and the Public Execution all go down to give themselves access to that mid lane.
A Seeker's Arm gun.
That is sick, actually.
This is such a good buy, considering the next fight likely going to be that Infernal Soul, and just that stasis so valuable against things like a Camille, like a Pantheon or Lock.
It reminds you of back in the day, right, with Stopwatch. The fact that built into GA is just so crazy to think about.
And we used to have the rune that would give you Stopwatch.
Yeah.
And everyone ran it, and you'd just have these early dives where like 8 people would Stopwatch.
The perfect timing.
Yeah, perfect timing. That was so funny, honestly. Not the greatest punching.
And now, like, watching 80 carries build it completely off theme just to have an arm guard so that they get the Stopwatch. It just shows you how good it was.
Yeah.
Because I think this is a great idea for G. I think the next fight could be the last in this game.
แอชแม่ง
1 minute until that
พอเป็นแบบบิลนี้มันเคลียร์เวฟไวเนาะ
It's interesting that when defensive items are too OP, they just turn them into mage items. Like
แล้วคลีแบบสะใจจัด
everyone, both teams would buy it. I'm like, you know what? Just give it to the mages.
Hey,
มันมีอัมการ์ดแบบเผื่อแบบโดนคามิลเปิดด้วย
You know, they got that one.
That's true. That's fair.
No, but that used to just be a defensive item as well.
ไม่เป็นไร
It's all right. KT back in this mid lane. They've got super minions. Arrow is going to get the flash out of Roma. He doesn't want to risk it this time. But now perfect. Public execution picks up the Camille.
คามิลไปหายไปแล้วครับผมกีเดียนน่าจะไม่รอดเหมือนกันตรงนี้พยายามหนีกันมามีเจอันติโยนไปปุ๊บทุกคนแม่งทะลุโลกทุกสิ่งเรียบร้อยจีจีครับแอดแม่งยิงโคตรมัน
As the pros are all going to be put on ice. And they're going to have to be woken up again for a game number 5. KT Rolster will roll down the mid lane and send us there.
We always knew it was going to 5 games. You may not have believed us, but we told you that at the start of the day.
We did. This was written.
It's gone the distance. KT, they knew what the company needed to do. They see a target, they see a target, they kill a target, and they take us to that 5th game, the first match in our play-ins, and we're already going the distance.
Maximum value, baby! And we knew that the pros are always going to be reliable when it comes to maximum value. And now, we have to figure out who is going to be able to take the win in that 5th game.
ไปเล่นการ์ดเย่
So, it might even be that this game number 5 really stretches these teams far enough to see things like that pocket Nasus pick that we were thinking about for Perfect. Like, some of these big picks that they might
เวลาออก
have
กล้อง
been
เขาถึง
saving
ชอบปิดห
may
น้าครับ
have to come
ที่เกาหลีเขา
out
จะ
here
อาย
in this
เขาจะ
final
อา
game
ย
just to make sure that they can close it out.
คือเขาจะเรียกว่าอะไรแบบ
The first time we had Fearless in
คือเขาจะเรียกว่าไง
the
อ่ะ
LCK
มัน
when it was the
แบบ
LCK Cup last year, and so
เขาไม่
many
ทำกัน
of
อ่ะ
the
เขาจะไม่ค่อยแบบมา
game
ทำอะไร
five
แบบ
picks that just there was nothing left to deal with them. Funny enough,
ไม่
one
เลย
was
ไม่เลย
Zola,
แบบ
which
อาจ
is
จะ
now
โดน
dominating
แบบ
the meta.
เพื่อน
I
แคป
remember
ไปอะไรอย่าง
Zayt
เงี้ยได้
bringing out in game 5 and running games. There is sometimes just not enough tools left available at this point to deal with certain picks in the
เก
traditional
มสุ
way.
ดท้ายครับ
Think about the
วัน
fact
นี้
that Nautilus
แล้วก็ไปเล่นการ์ด
and
ไม่ทัน
Fire both
thank you
gone. So
Blow
these
จริง
hyper carry picks so much harder
ตาม
to
ด้วย
keep
เดี๋ยว
accountable.
มี
You
อาจ
don't
จะ
have
ไป
that
เล่น
point
ก็
and
ได้
click
หาที่เล่น
knock up to hold them in place.
Maybe it's just time for Zeri
ไม่ต้อง
Yumi.
เสร็จอยู่แล้วพี่เจ
Maybe that's what we're going to see. Like, we could be that far into the barrel.
Yep.
But
And
the Caitlyn does need to be banned if that is going to happen.
so game 1, KT at first pick, and then every game after it has been Bro with
do
first
okay,
pick.
we did.
KT prioritizing having that kind of pick angle, and Bro
โดดงานมาเชียร์เนี่ยวิสวัสดีครับ
choice on what champion to
แพ้มิสาย
play.
ล่างครับอันคู่
Some of
นี้
the things that have been banned heavily in this
ไม่ต้องห่วง
series.
แฟน
like
ๆ KT ยัง
Caitlyn, the
มีโอกาสได้
Cassiopeia,
ลุ้น
the
ฮะ
Orianna. Recently we've had like the Karma,
แต่
the
ว่าเกม
Annie
นี้มัน
still potentially on the cards, but the Zaya gets
KT
taken
ไม่น่ายอม
away
แพ้
here.
ง่ายๆ
A
ก็
little
ต้อง
bit
กลับมา
surprising considering it's been such a phenomenal pick for Teddy.
Yeah. Just shows that they might have a bit of a Kai'Sa angle in their mind or something like that. The Caitlyn going to be taken away. Obviously, Corki is something that KT need to be very wary of because Teddy has been so incredibly good on that champion. The Orianna is likely the final ban
มั
here
น
for
ส่งเสียง
KT.
อะไรกันวะ
But
เนี่ย
what is Brion going to be
ช่วงนี้
taking
ดราม่า
away?
ต่างๆกำลังมาแรงนะครับทั้งโอฮาน่าทั้งเฟดเฟ่ต่างๆนานา
Finally, it's kind of guaranteed because you were banning
อย่าตัด
Orianna
เสียง
in
ไฟช่วงนี้
game 1. You don't get to game 5 when there's less picks available and go, oh, let's leave it open. So I imagine this is just going to be the Orianna taken away. Maokai, something we have seen in some of our later games in series, but not really revealing a ton here.
Yeah, so the Annie and the Karma have been left up from last game. The Orianna was obviously going to be banned away. These bans that have just been permanent throughout the entire series only get more valuable as the series goes on, so we're expecting those to continue.
If you're going the Karma, though, what do you even pair it with at this point? Because there's no Jhin, no Caitlyn,
Corki Karma.
no Ezreal. Corki Karma, you could, but I feel like Corki Karma is not a lane we play a ton. Nico, though,
Nico Karma. That feels good.
Nico is something we've seen players
ผม
have a
จะ
lot
เล่
of
น
effect,
เกม
especially when paired with the
เกมสร้างยาน
Nocturne.
นั่น
We're talking about engage
สร้างยานบิน
right onto a backline. Nico provides it, and
มา
Nambu
ดูวิศ
says,
ว
I
กูส
want it
จะสามารถ
first pick
สร้าง
here. I'm confident.
กระสวยอวกาศ
And Nico Kai'Sa has
Neo
also been
Jet
kind of
Armstrong
okay
เป็นยัง
as
ไง
far as the lane is concerned, but KT, do they have any answers to this? Because revealing your hand this early can be punished.
Yeah, we
ใช่
also often saw when Nico was
Yeah,
hard
I'll-
entrenched
I'll
in the
follow
meta,
that,
we saw Karma working as a counter.
There's that, but there's also the Alistair for effort,
Yeah, no,
which
don't
could be a
be
big one. But if they pick
yeah.
Alistair now, Roma just picks the Silas, and then they have a real bad time. So there is that Zeri I was talking about, and Jiu is going to lock it in. Zeri Yumi for KT.
Zeri Yumi.
And Zeri was the champion that Jiu rose to infamy on.
Yeah.
When he was back on Nongshim, this is why he's in the LCK.
No Nautilus, No Camille, no Vi, a lot of picks not available right now. How are you going to ensure that you cannot
เกมไม่เคยเล่นหรอ
play
ไม่
the
ใช่
game?
ไม่ใช่
What is
เก
your
ม
response to
เป็นอีก
this
เกมหนึ่ง
from
ไม่รู้ชื่อ
Bro?
เกมเลยด้วยซ้
Well, the Kai'Sa was always going to happen.
Yeah, Kai'Sa Nico used to be such a common combo and good at getting damage down onto that Zeri, but you need some more setup, I feel like, for the rest of the composition.
I feel like Annie isn't enough.
ำมันเกม5แล้วครับแชทปกติมันแบบแข่งมา
I think it makes sense. It does get to the point
ครึ่
in
ง
the
ค่อน
game
ปี
where
แม่ง
you
แบบ
have
จะ
like
มี
the
โบ
Mikhails,
5 มี
the
เกม
Glens,
5 สัก
and the
รอบหนึ่ง
QSS,
เพราะฉะนั้นตรง
where
นี้มันเป็น
Annie's
ดับที่แบบ
value does drop.
ดับ
But I think it
มั่น
makes
ใจอะไร
sense
ก็เล่นเลย
here. You need engage. The game has been warped around this Zeri Yumi where you just
เพราะว่าใครที่จะซ้อมมาถึงแผนเกม 5 พี่ว่าแม่ง
no matter what.
Yep.
so crazy
Now, BDD, what are we going to be picking up here? I would like even a Trundle is okay. Something for the Yumi to hang out with, as far as like a jungler that can really utilize having an enchanter sort of in his pocket. Seen that find a lot of success.
Yeah, Zia did get buffs not too long ago.
Oh, BDD. He would be able to then set up a wall. That is the Trundle I was talking about, so that is going to be locked in first.
I feel like the comp of Hanjin Brion so far doesn't have the best tools to cut through a Trundle so far.
ขอการเล่นครั
And
บ
the
ทีวัน
jungle
เนี่ย
pool has
พี่
been thinned massively at this point.
ไม่น่านะทีวัน
Yeah.
ไม่น่าจะซ้อมเกม
It also kind of puts them off picking anything like a
5 ส่วนใหญ่
Skarner.
ก็จะ
The Kiana is
สาม
something that
เกม
we've seen
สาม
picked
แบบ
often
อะไร
to
เงี้ย
Jarvan. Trundle, I think the match
แล้วก็เลือกแผนที่ดีที่สุดไปเป็นเกมหนึ่ง
quite easily use it for train yourself. And what solo lanes are you really concerned about, especially paired with a Trundle? There is still the Victor, I guess.
Yeah.
Carly hasn't been picked yet, but I don't think that really fits super well.
All right, there is that Victor you were talking about.
There is the Talia, I guess, which we know BDD's very good on. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm still trying to work out exactly
ก็ได้
where
ไหม
Hanjin Brion want to go as far as the
Could be
jungle
good,
is
yeah.
concerned.
อันนี้ต้องใส่สีขาว
And I think it's going to be a tough decision to make.
ก็เอาออกเพราะว่า
I
มัน
was thinking, does Gideon
Don't
dust
say
off the
Thong
poppy
Dum
again? But into a Trundle feels like a little bit of a rough option
Okay,
because of her
man,
propensity
man,
to head
man.
towards more tanky builds now, given her changes. The Shyvana is going to be taken away. That would have been a cool idea. One last mid
ใส่แบบนี้
band
ถูก
to
แล้วแล้วก็
come
ใส่
on
ซอง
through
สี
here.
ขาวที่ซองของมันใช่
See what they do decide to go with. The Akali seems like a decent idea.
เฮ้ยพี่เจวางซองขาว
I just feel like at this point, I have to think about what's not being paid. There's also like the Galio, but I don't think the Galio syncs really that well with the composition.
Vayne. Vayne would have been such a weird choice in this draft that already has a hyper carry.
Yeah, I think KT, whatever they pick, they want to be able to defensively peel and just allow Jiu to
แม่ง
pop
แคสซี่
off.
โดนแบนหม
A
ดเลย
second threat would make sense though,
Yep.
but Vayne maybe a little bit too precarious.
Something with some CC. The Akali, we were thinking about,
Yeah, I
also
think
going to
it's
be
just
considered by BDD.
moving down the tier list a bit. I feel like they're going to go for the Galio instead. I feel like Galio doesn't have the most synergy with Trundle. So obviously the pillar can be a bit of annoying terrain to deal with, but it kind of fits in with the theme of protecting this Zeri and keeping it safe. Now, Zed is actually a pick we used to see into Trundle, similar to like how the cannon would work. You can circumvent the pillar really easily.
Yep.
And you have so much burst damage. You're obviously a squishy champion, so his ult gets limited value. But also, if you're trying to kill this primary target of Zeri,
Oh, they lock it in.
it makes
เสร็จ
sense.
ว่า
It
คุณ
makes
ผู้ชม
sense. They are all about killing Jiwoo, and they are giving themselves
เชี่ย
the tools
เมน
to
เหรอ
do so. And now, what are we going for? Finally, in top lane for casting here.
And
You could just-
Aatrox. This makes this composition so incredibly brawly.
Yeah.
One of the great things about Zed as well is the death mark. I mean, you can't QSS that anymore. So it might give them the ability to maybe kill the Zerias. Renekton's locked in. Do we get the lore matchup? Perfect. Is it time to dust off the Kayn?
Oh my god, if he brings it out here.
If he did it, could you imagine?
He just stands in the chaos and just decaying on everyone.
Oh my gosh. Instead, he's just going to do whatever he wants, I guess. As Amundo would provide just so much frontline. Cassante would do a very similar thing.
I think I prefer maybe the Mundo, someone like as a hen. I think you need a bit more for threat. Okay, I'm a little bit concerned about KT's composition here because sure, if they can peel for Jiwoo, keep him alive through all the threats, he will be able to pump out damage, and you have a very bulky front line. And the thing is, in a front to back,
เสียดายวันนี้ท็อปกาบางคนน่าไป
while
เชื่อ
Jiwoo is doing a ton of damage, but when are they ever going to front to back?
อ๋อมันแข่งทุ่มหนึ่งด้วยไม่ใช่ทุ่มครึ่งครับทุ่มหนึ่ง
I think they're going to back to front.
Yeah, they are going to hunt Jiwoo
มัน
to the
ทุ่มห
end
นึ่ง
of
ด้ว
the
ย
year.
มันต้องออกแต่6 โมง
And if he dies, where is the damage coming from? If he dies, how do KT win a fight? That is my question. I think it's not going to be as much of an issue early when there's a lot of base damage coming out, but it's going to hit a point where it's Jiwoo or bust.
Well, I'm a little bit frightened about it as well, especially with the fact that Hanjin Breon have a lot of ways
คือถ้าเกิดสมมติว่าทุกคนเข้าไปหาไอ้เซรีหมดจะเป็นยังไงคือใครสาบมันยังบินตามไปเลยแต่ว่ามันต้องให้เลนเนตันแฟลชสตาร์ทมาแล้วเขาก็จะเคลนแล้วมันก็ต้องบินมา
As I don't know whether Teddy is going to be as forced to take that particular summoner spell, as there are a lot of knockups and things like that, annoying stuff on the side of KT, not necessarily stuns that they have to worry about nearly as much. I guess Final Chapter can get a little bit annoying on that front, but this is a scary draft for KT. Not a massive amount of damage outside of Jiu, finding that carry potential. We'll see whether he can here in the final game of the series. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen.
They messed up the ward clear. It's really easy to do with Zeri, but I think Effort didn't get off in time.
Oh,
so the ward stays up, unfortunately. We've seen Jiwoo pretty recently coming onto KT after a very sudden change in the AD carry role. I think it's hard to develop trust for a player when it's such a new relationship between the team. But you have to have a lot of trust in your AD carry to go for a composition like this. This is all in on Jiwoo. And he does have that cleanse as expected, so does Teddy, but you have the double combat summoners from the Yuumi, which obviously helps out.
Yeah, Effort is going to spend some time off Jiu. Obviously, you and me going to be allowing that health bar to not really mean much of anything at all. As casting in perfect in a Shuriman matchup, at least there's that. Like, it's on theme in that way. But it's not quite Nasus versus Renekton.
We're so close.
Yeah, we were. Just not quite able to get there. As I'm very intrigued as to what Gideon can do on this Zed. I feel like he's hovered it a few times so far this season and has never actually pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
I think he's wanted to.
Got a decent, as I was saying, we used to get a decent amount of it before when Trundle was like really heavy meta.
Yep.
ใครแพ้ส่งผลต่อทีวัน
would play a good amount.
ไม่ยังอันนี้ยังไม่มีฮะ
Certainly has been a fan of this
ยัง
one.
ไม่มีก็คือ
Has also brought it out in some pretty pivotal matches if I remember.
ยังไงคู่นี้คนที่ชนะพี่ว่าทีวันไม่น่าเลือกอ่ะ
It was like Kane
น่าจะเลือกอีกคู่หนึ่ง
These were like the pickups that Kane would like.
แต่เราดูฟอร์มไว้ก่อน
I
นะ
think Neferi's kind of taken Zed's place in the meta though.
Yeah, kind of. Thankfully, it's Fearless. So now that Neferi's gone, we needed something else. Gideon gone down pretty low in the jungle here, but is just getting through his Brambleback. We'll head towards the Krugs.
So one of the things Zed was notorious for in the jungle was a really fast clear, but they did kind of nerf his clear a little bit. They nerfed it so hard that they actually had to hotfix buff it back because they really gutted him in the jungle.
Went a little bit too far.
But that was quite a bit earlier this year. More recently, they nerfed his damage on his shadow slash, the spin, and also the passive. So I think that's just because how dominant he was in solo queue.
แทบไม่เข้าแล้วเนาะความรู้สึกอะนี่โกมาหน้าแม่งหมดแล้วอะจิวเลือดแม่งยังเต็มอยู่เลยแล้วมันก็ใช้กระสวยอวกาศของยูมิแม่งรีเลือดเรื่อยๆร่างปลอมก็รีเลือดได้ด้วยนะร่างปลอมถ้ายืนเฉยๆแม่งรีเลือดได้อีก
And the theme for KT with this draft is Jiu do all the damage. And the theme for Bro is everyone do all of the damage all of the time forever.
Yep. That's one of the things though with these compositions when you are low damage. If you get ahead, it doesn't really matter that much. And you don't have any bulky through. So
มารอซ้อนว่ะ
this game getting an early lead will be very important. Now Gideon's fishing for perfect here. Remember Zed has that execute damage on the passive, so a lot of threat on a tower.
Yeah.
He thinks twice about it, and it's a good call because Cuz hanging around here.
ทันเดลเริ่มเลนไงเพราะฉะนั้นเขาจะกลับมาที่ไอตัวคลักแน่ๆ
As Perfect now just trying to get rid of casting here. He was successfully able to do so as far as being on KT. He got rid of casting. That did happen. But dealing with this top lane out of turret, not able to do so just yet. This Renekton is looking pretty scary. I'm going towards his bottom side. It's very low on mana.
แต่ถ้าเกิด KT แพ้โบนแล้วไปชนะสายล่างทีวันก็เลือกยาก
Is kind of exactly what you want to be doing as the Zeri and the Yuumi.
แต่ก็คงเลือก KT ป่ะ
Obviously it's very different now. Zeri and Yuumi.
คือมันถ้าเกิดมันก็ต้องดูแบบใน Play-in มันเข้ามาด้วยซีดไหนอะซีด1ซีด2อะเป็นพี่ก็แบบก็ต้องเลือกซีด2แต่ถ้าเป็น KT แม่งก็อาจจะคิดหนักอยู่แต่ก็เพิ่งชนะมานะ KT มันก็ยัง
unless you had like a crazy kill lane and just CC them, suck them down. But it means when these little passive trades come in, even though Yuumi doesn't have the sustain she used to, he was just healing up from the poke, getting rid of poke back in return. Namgun's mana is running out, and an all-in just isn't really on the cards.
And so far, the Bros have built up a little bit of an advantage, mainly in this about a wave lead that Roma has in mid lane, as well as the extra pressure that Casting's being able to put out towards the top side of the map. Dragon has now spawned. They're starting off with a Hex Tech so far in this game.
ที่วันนี้อยากเล่น L อ่ะ
Tivers been available.
อยากเล่น L อยากเล่น
Just going to annoy BDD, but he just punches his way away. Ooh, nicely done there by Perfect. Just going to use that Q stack in order to deny a cannon.
Yeah,
ก็สวยอวกาศ
very respectful here, which
แต่ยังหาชื่อเกมไม่ได้เลย
makes a lot of sense, especially when you need a tower off Xante. It's always a concern. Step too far, he's getting CC'd under there for an hour.
Yep.
BD now has access to the ult, so obviously Roma gets his, which allows him to put a lot of pressure down in lane. But I think BDD having the chance to move and assist lanes, we saw him doing that a lot earlier in the series, making his impact known in the side lanes. He's on a champion that really is enabled by that in this game.
Because going to get found here by Namgung, as he does just back away from this dragon. Actually wasted a fair bit of time, got through half of that Drake. As Gideon in the mid lane shows himself, and this Trundle is just going to have to go back home. So Bro actually going to get a lot of tempo from that. As Teddy now actually just going to take a lot of damage from Gio.
พี่ลองนาซัดยังนาซัดท็อปเลนหรอมันทำไมนะ
plate just yet.
คือไม่กล้าเล่นเลยนาซัดอะแค่นึกภาพว่าเดี๋ยวแม่ง A-Talk แม่งใครแม่งกด A-Talk มาทีแล้วมันก็หลังนาซัดนี่เจอ A-Talk ที่แม่งกระจุยหมดอะ
Gideon is on a control ward.
He's level 6. Yeah, I don't think Cuz can contest him at all.
เก่งเวอร์เดี๋ยวนะคิวมิเนี่ยบวก4สแต็ก
level 6 Z is not to be
เฮ้ย
tangled
มัน
And you can see Romer actually walks off to the side, is out of vision as he starts that recall. He could have been roaming up, so there was nothing that Cuz could do about that.
It is in his name.
Yes.
นี่มันแบบการเปลี่ยนแปลงครั้งที่ยิ่งใหญ่
But I
มากเลยเนี่ย
kind of burnt by the fact that he did not roaming in like the first couple of games.
Yeah.
เพิ่ม
Full sense of security.
จาก3เป็น4แล้วจากลดจากตัวใหญ่เหลือแค่10
Tivers goes down.
Annie an interactive champion.
She really is. Throw bear at bad guy.
Yep. It's pretty straightforward. Level 6 is starting to be hit from the bot lane, which we always see that as being an exciting point. I feel like Zeri Yuumi, the ult combo is so strong now. I think a lot of the power between the two champions is kind of budgeted there.
แต่นาซัดหลังๆมันปัญหามันคือมันโดนกระจุยกระจายเลยอะมันโดนแบบคือปกติมันต้องแบบของมันจะเยอะกว่าคือของมันจะแทงเยอะกว่า ADC นะแต่ตอนนี้ ADC แม่งออกเลนมาแล้วแบบของมันเยอะแล้วแม่งนาซัดแม่งเข้าไปไม่ถึงอะแล้วแม่งก็โดนใครแล้วก็โดนบัฟเฟิลตาย
Use that death mark. Make it happen there. Drop a bear, for example. 360 is actually the advantage here from Romer. He's actually being able to push
จริงเหรอตอนนี้คือนาซัดมันแบบเก่งมากอ่ะบอมทีตายเลย
until his shadows back up.
Well, this is a little bit rough. Cuz could throw down. Okay, there's the ult. He's being throwing things down. Teddy might be in a little bit of trouble as the final chapter is not quite able to do too much. Extendo Beam also doesn't find the mark as there's at least a cannon going over to Teddy. But now Cuz picks up the aggro on this Drake, and the Bros are going to get pushed away.
Yeah, so use both their ultimates, but
ไม่เจอเลยนะเคยเจออยู่แต่มันก็เอทอกไปจัดการได้
Realize he's not going to get this dragon, has to back away. Hex Tech into Ocean.
หรือว่าแท้จริงแล้วนาซัดมันคือเอามาเคาน์เตอร์โอลาฟไม่น่าได้นะโอลาฟแม่งคือแต่นาซัดก็มองพังอะไรเงี้ยเหรอแต่นาซัดมันต้องเล่นเวทไงมันไม่สนใจสแต็กช่วงแรกมันต้องเล่นเวท พี่เจอนาซัตมิดอยู่ก่อนแล้วมันก็เละเทะเหมือนกัน
The Bros probably just wanting to deny Drake
ก็หลุดโลกไปเลย
because KT's composition a little bit like a juggernaut as Cuz in a little bit of trouble. There's a great stun on a BDD. Still not has to flash. Wanted to tango with this Trundle.
โดน
So rough when you
ตาเลียน
get
โดนข้างบน
engaged.
ไป
Not
แล้วก็นา
engaged,
ซัต
just the Trundle
ตรงกลางก็
catches
โด
you
น
off guard
ข
when you
ย้
get into a brush, bites you, and then you have to, walk awkwardly away when the pillar comes
ำดู
down.
คลิปหมูเตะพี่อยากเล่นแน่ใช่เหรอ
Nam could just get out. The summoner being down is a pretty big cost.
Well, Roma back in this mid lane. About a 200 gold lead here for the Bros. That is Thornmail completed though for Perfect. Kind of feels like he's getting out of the woods as far as this matchup is concerned. With the Black Cleaver first, casting will retain a bit of relevance in this lane. Being able to cut down the Cassandre somewhat. But I think that it will get more and more difficult to kill as this game goes on.
เดี๋ยวนะ10 นาทีคือ
They are not the best tank
ส
killers.
แต็ก
That is for sure.
200
Enough champions though, and enough gold ahead, and you can
What
just kill
the
anyone.
fuck?
But they are not terrifically well equipped to cut through the likes of Perfect.
And I just want to see our first skirmish. Our first, more than 2 people fight.
Look at the vision setup that KT has on the bot side. You can see, there's the line of wards, 3 control wards to the river, and then, triple wards in the enemy jungle. At the entrances, notably, there's that ward over the wall. You can see it was just on the top left of the screen next to the tri-brush.
Yep.
That wasn't being spotted, so Dragon's a while away still, but any action in that area of the map will be spotted out by KT. And this makes it very hard for Bro to push through without being spotted.
There's one very important thing, though, here in this game, and that is, this is the first game that the Bros have been able to pick up triple grubs. And so Gideon, I think, is just going to be way happier.
Yep. And he
also has
completed.
Yeah, it does have that first item spike done already. This is a PowerPoint here for the Bros.
I mean,
in goes Giu.
In
Blossom is going to pick him up. Teddy gets exhausted, but he cleanses it. And that is first blood going over to Giu Zeri as teleports are coming in from everyone. Roma coming down here to try and deal with this as Gideon wanting to get on over here. There is the stun. They do manage to get the follow-up kill onto Cuz.
แต่ว่าเหมือนจะเป็น KT คุ้มกว่าเพราะได้เฟิร์สบัตรแล้วก็ได้ดันบนนะ
That is everything except for perfect stuff on cooldown.
A lot committed there, and you can see the power of Giu and Effort's ultimates coming into play, but in the end it's a 1-for-1. We do see Perfect getting some value off by himself, but this is so aggressive, and Teddy just does cleanse the exhaust, but doesn't quite
ขอบ
have
คุ
the
ณครับคุณ
damage
เอ็น
to Giu and all the healing, all the
43
shielding.
ด้วยครับ3
Then
เดือน
this
ครับ
play, I thought Giu was just dead. But Gideon, instead of overcommitting for the Zeri and potentially getting CC'd on the tower, he just takes the freebie, the CC set up by his solo
คือเป็นแบบน่า
laners.
สงสารนะแบบ
Gold is still dead even.
The problem is where the gold is going. And the fact that Giu manages to get first blood is a huge deal here for KT.
Yeah, I will say, with every single summoner being burned,
เอาจริงก็อยากเห็นแบบว่าน้องเล่น
cautious around this next dragon.
เซรี
They
ยูมิ
already
กั
have
บ
a
เค
dragon
เลี
in
ยน
pocket. There's no huge pressure to contest it. But if you go in without those summoners, it could very easily be a bad time.
Oh yeah. And he does have first item completed as well. Did manage to complete the Kraken Slayer.
I also think, they buffed the Eclipse, the max health damage. And there's just a lot of max health on the side of KT this game.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's like a tank shredder item, but it will get some good value.
Yeah, when you're against a Galio and a Trundle especially, that is their tankiness in most regards. So I agree with you. I feel like the Eclipse value will be high. Some free shoes to be collected here by Gideon as well. As he goes back, we'll see what else he can purchase as just a cheeky pickaxe on top of the rest of his build. Haven't seen too much from the Zed just yet. Did manage to get the assist of that kill onto Cuz.
So 20 seconds until that dragon. All the vision that KT had earlier in the river has either decayed or been cleared out.
แต่ว่าปัญหาของ KT คือ
Bro with a bit of an advantage in terms of setup right now.
คือแมวมันอาเดนใช่ปะแล้วคือมันยังไม่มีมิคาเอลอะถ้าสมมติจิวูโดนตัน
Yep. You can see Cuz trying to move in here.
ใช้เคลนจริงแต่ว่ามันจะแบบมันจะไหวหรือเปล่าน่าจะไหวหรือมั้งเพราะว่ามันไม่งั้นมันจะพี่ว่าน่าจะไหวมั้งไม่ต้องมีคาเอลก็ได้
As he is building a lot of magic resist right now, and Renekton does not care about that. As KT have started off this dragon.
It's you playing in the banana brush trying to have some cover, but now he's potentially going to be flanked here. Just have the dash to go over the wall.
Namgun has flash. Voidseeker does come down. There is the teleport in from Perfect. As Gideon just flashes in, but it's still going to be the Drake secured by KT. Perfect tries to lock down the bottom lane, but Teddy is able to keep himself safe. There is that Chemtech soul that we were talking about before.
แต่ถ้า KT ชนะเข้าไปก็ทีวันก็เลือกง่ายนะเลือกข้างล่างแน่นอน
Pulled back the gold advantage now, and the door is slowly closing here on the Bros.
I think Bro honestly approached that wrong.
ซิมบุกโบรมันแบบมันจบไม่ได้อะถ้าโบ3ไม่ชนะไปแล้ว
But I think the summoner advantage that we talked about, all they have to do is get on Jiwoo.
แต่เป็นโบ5ไง KT มันฝึกโบ5มาเด้
Maybe feeling the nerves and that passive execute damage.
ฝึกมาตั้งแต่เวอร์น้องyou know.
Another kill over to Jiwoo, and now the summoners are going to start coming off cooldown, and KT are going to be so confident to fight.
ถ้าชนะอันนี้ก็จะคือทีมชนะนี้ก็จะเข้า play off ครับเป็นทีมแรก
As at least all of those
ของ play in นะของรอบ play in
at the same time, so Cuz, VDD, and Ju will have them back up very, very soon. Might be a window for the Bros to find an angle, but I'm really surprised that Namgo, like he's been so aggressive throughout this whole year, but doesn't go for the flash pop blossom or anything like that in that last fight. Maybe wanting to make sure that Ju had his skate on cooldown, but we'll never know. Hindsight's 2020, all that good stuff. BDD here just going to crash this wave towards his top side. Rift Herald has been started here by the Bros.
ยังมีโอกาสไปเวอร์ไหมครับมีครับถ้าชนะมันก็ได้รอบ play off ก็เฟ้นหา3ทีมครับที่ไม่3ทีมที่แบบไม่ใช่ฮาวาไลท์
Casting is going to come out of this brush and find an angle towards Cuz. Subjugate actually already down. As there is the pop blossom from Namgo, but it just does nothing at all. As KT, perfect defensive play. Get BDD over the top. And they will just back out. But Rift Herald does go over to the Bros, so there's at least that.
All those flashes we were talking about were actually still down a little bit longer, but still, Bro, very hesitant. Don't want to overcommit and get knocked up by the Galio ultimate.
กีเดียนช่วยก่อน
And the end result is KT will back away safely, but it is Bro who got the Herald at the end of the day.
And Teddy just going to clear out that wave and look to head back. We'll see how far the Rage Blade
ทีม
is
ไปเวอ
away.
ร์ก็น่าจะฮาวาไลท์เจนจี DK KT ครับ
Put that second item together.
คุณหมิ่น T1 เกินไปหรือเปล่า
As Ju's burst fire is really starting to rip through these minion waves now. And he's putting himself together almost a 20 CS advantage, returning that favor from that previous game. And Casting just trying to do his best to cling on to relevance here in this game, as many of our Renekton's do. I'm going looking for an angle, but I don't know whether he is going to be enough to help gank this guy.
ตารางออกวันศุกร์ใช่พรุ่งนี้พี่ไฟเปิดบล็อกแล้วพี่ก็สั่งบล็อกไว้เหมือนกันบล็อกนึง
And right now it's still a very close game, but I feel like Bro just haven't found the windows that we would have really hoped for right now.
Yeah, Pathmaker pushes Casting back. Couldn't quite find that cue. Casting is at least retaining a bit of a CS advantage. The gold lead is nowhere near where they want it to be.
เปิดบ่อยจากพี่การ์ดไม่พอหรอ
I think the Bros have got one more team fight in them.
มันไม่เกี่ยวการ์ดไม่พอการ์ดมันไอ้นี่แหละแต่เราไปแบบว่าได้เปิดมันเหมือนมันสนุกไง
That's why we start to get Wolf certification out.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends though, because obviously they're not an ideal spot, but if you just explode the Zeri, even if KT get a lead, if you just explode Zeri, I feel like the KT comp might flounder.
They may not have very much.
Oh, โดนแล้วผม
skate on over towards Roma. Bear goes down. There's the exhaust though, and goodbye Annie. Wasn't a whole lot they could do about that one.
Great read of the play. You know, having cleanse as well means Roma just can't really do anything in that situation.
แต่ว่าการที่ KT ไปล่างหมดแต่ทันเดอร์อยู่สบาย
The Zeri is really twisting the knife right now.
เฮ้ยหลอกล่อ
Trying to take this Rift Herald away from Cuz, and they still managed to get the charge.
That was well played.
That was very cute. A bit risky. Could have gone for the full drive to the bottom lane, but probably looked at these minion wave situations and was like, I ain't risking that.
Yeah.
สุดยอด
So, end result, they get good value from the Herald. It's still KT with the lead right now. Dragon in 40 seconds.
เพราะว่าถ้าเกิดชนตรงๆเมื่อกี้ทันเดอร์วางเสากัน
talked about how it'd be great with the bulky champions. But also, Zeri's kind of going to become effectively a bulky champion when you have like all the shielding and healing from the Yumi. It's going to take a while to cut through any extra resistance is going to make things really.
วันก่อนที่พี่ไปซื้อไอ้ขนมโตเกียวตรงสายหนึ่งใช่ป่ะพี่ก็ซื้อมาเยอะแล้วพี่ก็ไปให้แม่ใช่ป่ะแม่บอกไหนลองชิมคำหนึ่งสิเค็มอร่อยดีนะไส้หมูสับไส้ไข่แล้วก็ขอชิมหวานหน่อยอร่อยดีนะ แกก็หยิบทัพเปอร์แวร์ไปเลยแล้วแกบอกถ้างั้นขออย่างละ2นะ
Now the Drake is going to spawn.
Notably, no exhaust from effort, which I know Gideon and Teddy.
พูดแล้วอยากกินเลยว่ะโตเกียว
No cleanse from Jiwoo as well. Splash of Ildaroma.
พี่เจบอกว่าร้านนี้ให้เป็นโตเกียวที่แป้งอร่อยเป็นอันดับ1ในชีวิตแกเลยแป้งโตเกียวร้านนี้อร่อยมากแต่ว่าไส้ครีมอาจจะยังไม่ถึงขั้นมากว่าจะให้เทคอิตตัดคลิปใช่ไหมกูลืมเลยเดี๋ยวต้องให้เทคอิตตัดคลิปให้หน่อยเดี๋ยวให้พี่เจส่งคลิปแล้วให้เทคอิตตัดพรุ่งนี้ค่อยลงมาลืนค่อยลงเลยลืมถ่ายคลิปมาละ
As Teddy is doing his very best to soften up perfect, does get a solo target there, the Acathian Rain.
เมื่อไหร่พี่จะจ้างลุงมาไลฟ์ทำโตเกียว
Now there's the flash bear already skating over the wall. Gorgeously played. BDD does make his way in and doesn't quite find the taunt. But KT, they keep the president alive, and this might be their avenue towards the dragon. Baron has also just spawned, but I don't know whether that is going to quite be the target. The announcement was there, and I read what was on the screen. And it looks like Cuz on this Drake right now, just looking for a free soul point. He is going to back away. As Gideon going to get that wrap around. The rest of KT now moving over to try and help out. Shurikens come down, the extender beam comes in.
Casting, look at him go.
Yeah, stacking up all of that rage. Now can he try and find an angle? The Black Pop Blossom picks them all up into the back.
อ้าวจิวตายกูกะแล้วไงคือพอไม่มีเค้นน่ะแม่งก็คือเป็นอย่างนี้เลยเพราะว่าไม่มีมิคาเอลครับผมมีอาร์เดนเพิ่มดาเมจมันขาดมิคาเอล
They saw Jiwoo, they targeted him, didn't even have time to flash, didn't get a chance. A great flank by casting. This is the fated Huni Baron though.
พี่ว่าเมื่อกี้แคสติ้งสวยสุดเลยเพราะมันแบบจัก
KT and Jiwoo not long till he respawns.
ไอแมวกับกาลิโออ่ะ
This is a really difficult Baron. They are doing a lot of damage to it, but they are just going to back away.
Such a heavy cost because now they have to back off. And the dragon can be taken.
Well, the bear comes down. Can they actually get a pick? They can! They baited BDD, who now flashes the wrong direction. Now I'm going looking for an angle. Gideon can get over that wall if he does get a shadow back.
There's no CC. You can just try TP now. There's no one in
range.
He just walks it off.
โอ้เสียมังกรBDDสวยว่ะ
Yeah, that's sort of... They left the dragon. They should have just taken the dragon. They didn't respect the Huni Baron. And they end up paying for it.
Oh dear. Well,
โบโลช็อตนี้
they showed you that
ได้ไฟแต่ว่าไม่ได้เอาเช็คทีมครับ
something like that. As we're going to have a look at this one from Namgung once again.
Teddy!
Do you think he wanted to kill Zeri?
Something. I get the vibe.
Yeah.
A great set. Great team fight. And yet you don't get the dragon. I think that must feel rough for Bro in this situation. Andด้วยความที่เป็นไคซ่านั่นแหละมันก็คิดว่าแอบคิดว่าน่าจะทันเพราะว่าไคซ่ามันน่าจะแบบตีบาลอนแบบสะดุ้งแต่ว่ามันมีกาลิโอมาคอยตบลมใส่เรื่อยๆไม่ไหวเลย
Yeah, it feels like you're kind of back to square one, but they now have a bit more money, right? They have the gold lead moving into this, and yes, Soul Point is going to make the macro game a lot more difficult for the Bros. But staying in parity as far as the money is concerned is going to be very interesting because the advantage that the Bros have is damage, and so you need money to fund that.
They know they can kill Jiwoo if they connect, if they get everything onto him, so...
คือถ้าเกิดจะเอาชัวร์เรามีคาเอลอะไรอย่างงี้
It's a simple approach in what you need to do against this KT composition.
Effort has done more damage than Jiwoo. That's pretty cute. These prowling projectiles have been finding the mark. As the longest queue of all time does find BDD. After that, Justice punch away.
แต่ถ้าเกิดโบรสูสีกับ KT และ KT สูสีกับ T1 นั่นแสดงว่าถ้า T1 เลือกโบร
I feel like these are the two champions that should not be trying to kill perfect on the bot side.
โหตอนนี้ T1 แม่งหนัก
I don't think Annie would fare better either, or Nico.
หนักมาก
Maybe just don't try killing him. I think you need Teddy there. Teddy does have a lot of DPS now with the Kraken Slay against Zeus Terminus. He does shred. He can cut through some of these tankier targets if they overstep. But again, a front to back isn't going to feel fantastic. It needs to be the Zeri getting exploded. And the thing is, even if you don't kill Jiwoo, as long as you get him low enough and out the fight, that can be enough. It doesn't have to be like Jiwoo dies. If he's unable to fight, unable to participate for whatever reason, that can often just tick the box you need.
And we know that Teddy is so good at late game Kaiser as well.
Just say Teddy's so good at
late game champions in League of Legends. But it felt easier to say late game Kaiser. But this champion he has had just incredible plays on, and more recently in his career as well. Felt like last year this was one of his sort of ace picks that he had.
Oh wow.
Okay, we're going for it again.
อุ้ย casting
And the Mikhails.
ถามจริงแต่คิดว่ามึงโดนยกทำไงวะน่ะ
And the mandate for the Gallia. Okay.
แบบ perfect ก็จะแฟดแบบแฟดแล้วดันเข้าแล้วอันติตายแน่นอนอ่ะ
2 minutes on the Drake.
Oh my god.
There is still that Baron up and available. As casting does hit level 16. Perfect will get stunned up here. That was a cute little trade, but not too much more going to come of it.
มีเคเอลมาแล้วครับตอนนี้จิวออนไลน์แล้วมีเคลนมีเคเอล
I get the message.
Yeah, me too.
แต่เป็นตัวที่เล่นแล้วแบบนิ้วนางนี่คือปวดมากนะ
As the Jack shows comes in for perfect. So yeah, spiking.
Yeah.
Even the Spirit Visage is kind of big one for Cuz.
Yep. A lot of big spikes coming in. A minute 40 until that dragon.
ใจเย็นเล่นประคองเลนแล้วก็รอสู้มังกรเอาโซ
Close to getting over the hump any of their items, but they have 2 items complete for most champions, 3 for Teddy. It just feels like
เคมันเริ่มไม่เก่งแล้ว25 นาทีคิดว่าเคแม่งยังไงก็เก่งเก่งเสมอคือการที่แม่งกดอันติแล้วพุ่งเข้าไปแล้วจากใส่ ADC หรือใครสักคนหนึ่งโดยที่มีใครสายืนจ้องอยู่มันดีเสมอแล้วตัวมันก็เวลามัน all in นะมันใครก็ต้องถอยอะไม่ค่อยมีใครไปยืนสู้เคแบบตรงๆก็ต้องถอยมาหน่อยนึง
That's why they're staring down the barrel of Soul Point. But that gold lead has remained the same, only increased a little bit here for the Bros. I think there is still another opportunity.
เมื่อก่อนพี่คิดว่าคือเมื่อก่อนมันใช่พี่เคมันจะไม่ค่อยเก่งเลดเกมแต่พอแบบมานั่งดูจริงๆแล้วหลายๆครั้งเคมันแบบเลดเกมอ่ะมันก็คือมันก็เป็นแทงที่มีสตันที่แบบสตันแบบล็อกหัวถ้ามันมีสเปลยังไงไม่ก็น่ากลัวแล้วมันก็แบบ E 2 D บึ้บลดเกาะพร้อมกับแบล็คเคเบิลก็แบบ ADC ก็ตามธนาเมตแบบโหดแต่ถ้ามันโดนไคติ้งอ่ะอันนั้นอีกเรื่องนึง
You saw before when he dashed over the wall, and the Gallia ult was like immediate.
นำกุ้งก็คือโยนแบบ
Given that shield, given that protection. 15 seconds on the dragon. Is KT have control of the area? Zed not the best at kind of walking in and face checking. Even though he has the shadow for safety, you don't want to get caught out. So KT are the ones with the area on lockdown.
Yep, I do like Teddy actually throwing a lot of these Void Seekers at Cuz and actually understanding where they are.
ตะกี้ติดคีพอดี นำกุ้งแบบตัวเกือบขาด
lying in wait in the river, natural habitat, and he does get spotted here by BDD.
เข้าไปไม่ได้แบบนี้โบรเสียเปรียบละเงินนำแต่ว่าเสียเปรียบจัดอ่ะเพราะว่าไม่รู้จะต่อยังไงให้จีวูมันเจ็บอ่ะ
Okay, and they go looking for a bit of an angle here. It's perfect, taking a lot of damage here from Teddy. Shade Splitter does come out there. It's a flash in from Nongum. They killed him again.
Oh my god.
They traded, but they've managed to take down the president. As now Cuz is going to get dove on by Teddy's killer instinct. They'll take a mid out of turret. They shot.
เดี๋ยวนะตายได้ยังไงนะ
Guys, just take the dang dragon.
Round 2 with the Huni Baron. Let's see if they can do it. Health bars are low. But they do have a good amount of damage. Shielding. Oh, dodge away from that.
แมวอีแล้วก็อันติมิคาเอลอะไรก็ฮิวตายได้ยังไงอ่ะ
Alright, now with casting there, they should be able to take this.
Jiwoo just played this one so aggressive and just stepped forward.
อ๋ออีเข้าไป
And Namgun was low. He died. He gets the knock up, and that's enough. And I just think
จะแดกเข้าไปแล้วเจอไอ้นำกุ้งมันสวนมา
Oh, you have to be so careful. Deathmarks are trying to avoid some damage, but still BDD manages to take down the Zed. Remember, this is Soul, but they just lost their jungler. BDD is taking a lot, but there is Teddy. The all-out comes in, he flashes, but he's still going to go down. Now Namgung and Rover, I mean, there is some damage from this Annie, but I think this is still Kentex Soul. Yeah, I stand by what I said, just take the dang dragon.
เราจะได้บาลอนแม่งบาลอนนี่ทำให้โบรแม่งแพ้เลยบอกให้
Well, they are a fan of just diving on top of this area and killing her. So they trade that for the Drake. Perfect, taking some damage. A pop blossom comes up, pull down. They pull perfect into the sky. Casting's gonna get taken down though. Attrition is being won, and Cuz is a Trundle with a Kentex Soul Pro, and you gave it to him.
They didn't have their DPS there to shred through, and yes, they killed Jiwoo, but Cuz is just munching on them. They need the damage of the Kai'Sa, or at least the Zed. He was so low when he went for this, and he kind of just face checked. He could have gone like further down and just gone over the wall.
Just a bit of a whoopsie.
Yeah, they just got baited by Huni. I think that's what we can say.
We've all been there.
Yeah. And then in the ensuing fight, they're like, you know what? We can kill Jiwoo again. But they don't have a plan for after they kill Jiwoo. And Perfect does a lot of work just creating disruption here, but then Cuz just starts munching. And I think people often disrespect like one of the issues with Trundle is you become a pillar bot because you can't get in range without getting shredded late in the game. But with Teddy not there, no one has the damage to cut through him, and he can just keep chomping and doing a ton of DPS.
ทำไมถึงอยากได้บาลอนขนาดนั้น
have extended their gold lead.
พี่ว่าโบเขาถอดใจกับบาลอนมังกรแล้วเขารอเอลเดอร์เขาอยากได้เงินแล้วเอาไปสู้เอลเดอร์เขาอยากเงินนำแล้วเดี๋ยวเขาคอนเขาแบบเขาเอาแบบคอนโทรลมังกรแล้วเอาเอลเดอร์เอาแต่แม่งดันได้แบบเขาเรียกว่าไงดันแบบบาลอนเสร็จปุ๊บแล้วแบบเฮ้ยกูว่าทันนะเว้ยมังกรเอาสักตัวปะล่ะแล้วก็ตายห่า
Yeah, I believe that's a negative number.
Oh.
So we're gonna put that in the cons column. And KT get that cute little Chemtech symbol next to their side. So.
Oh, what does that mean? That seems a bit putrid. You know, like it doesn't look great. But is that a good thing?
It's a good thing. It's
a
good thing.
Would you say that it's good for a champion like Trundle, for example, that likes to heal a lot?
Or maybe Cassante with Spirit Visage. That's disgusting.
Oh my lord.
Okay.
Even Galio. Plus, we haven't even mentioned the worst offender, which is this Yuumi. Yeah, KT make very good use of the Kentex Soul. There's also a more of Malmortius on Jiu. Like,
more feels like a bit of... I'm going to be honest, more feels like a weird buy because the big thing with more is the shield.
ต้องซื้อมอเลยเพราะไม่งั้นไม่ไหว
Like Tibbers or
ซื้อมอมากันเวทแบบไอ้ใครสาบมันเติมดาเมจเวทเยอะ
AD champions actually finish you off.
Yeah, then you're just dead.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it's the best buy. I think
ซื้อมอมากันแอนนี่กับใครสาบได้แต่ว่าแม่งก็เจอเซตอยู่ดีเราเซตคือแบบเซอร์เพนแฟงจิวูเริ่มไม่ไหวแล้ววะที่ว่ามันเริ่มแบบ
and Jiwoo once again playing with confidence, but is it too much confidence? It's a delicate line. I feel like this game has been.
พี่ว่าเผื่อเชนท็อปยังกันไม่ได้เลยมั้ง
Both of the 80 carries sitting on a lot of money right now.
I think the main thing is that we are approaching the Elder Dragon, and we knew it had to go to 5 games, but deep down we
ซื้อหมวกให้แล้วอะทันโดอะ
it had to be decided this way. It had to be the Elder.
And so it's kind of like how our predictions went, flipping a coin. But what the teams are going to do is they're going to flip a Baron.
They're going to
flip an Elder.
And they're going to blow on the coin in the air to try and put it in.
BDD แบกไม่ได้ด้วยนะคือมันเป็นตัวแบบ
They wouldn't allow you to do that.
กาลิโอตัวเซฟแบบกึ่งเซตอัพอะแบกไม่ได้
Indeed. And then they're going to
ถ้าคือถ้าเกิดจิวูตายก็คือถอนทับ
Got it.
While the coin is still in the air and they're blowing on it.
พี่คิดว่าที่วันแข่งมีภาพเกม5ไหมพี่ว่ามีแค่3-4 เกม 3-0 กับ 3-1
With what crit?
Well, I don't know. Don't ask complicated questions.
No.
You know how you take that one crit rune? And you know what they used to say? Better players crit more. This is all Teddy needs.
ส่วนทีวันจะชนะ 3-0 3-1 ไหม
If you believe in yourself.
It's super high DPS.
Absolutely. Just believe in the optimal outcome.
Yeah.
And it will happen.
Some decisions here when it comes to itemization, but we'll see how the play goes.
Yeah, I think he probably saw all of the MR items and was like, can I have the thing with big AD?
Maybe just saw that he had enough money for IE. Was like, you know what? Yeah.
Sure.
Why not?
Well, he can build some shoes now as well. We'll see what he's actually going to purchase in that area. As they have increased their gold lead, but ladies and gentlemen, a gold lead of 3,000
คือใครใส่ไอเนี่ยแต่สำหรับพี่ตอนนี้พี่แบบ
we managed to hit that big number when it was the same amount of gold in advantage.
พี่ไม่รู้เลยว่ะ
Okay,
that's fine.
We have the Knight's
This
Vow.
doesn't matter, is what I meant.
It does not. Knight's Vow for Trundle, which presumably is on the is on the Zeri. No surprise. Seeker's Arm Guard for BDD. We have the Echoes of Helia just came in for effort, and then actually a Frozen Heart for Namgoon. So some item completions coming through, but some are
เอาจริงมันต้องเป็นนาฬิกากับลาบาดอนปะ การออก IE แม่ง
Who what has what?
ด้วยความที่แบบเห็นของจีวูมั้งก็เลยเปลี่ยนวิธีบิว
Oh yeah, the GA on the way to item.
Yes, that's what it's called.
Yeah. Or it's a something pocket watch. I'm pretty sure.
The Death Stance component.
Yeah.
13 seconds. Jiwoo is the main character. Can they take him out? That's the
ต้านเวท
question.
มันเยอะมาก
Will Teddy crit 3 times in a row?
Obviously. But can he actually find a target to crit as well? Because KT have got this
look at that shield
massive front line. Oh my lord. Yeah, can they actually manage to do enough damage to stop Perfect from just walking towards the enemies? Casting on a flank angle. Gideon also looking for a flank angle.
เอลเดอร์แบบนี้ KT ได้เปรียบนะครับ
They can stop this push from KT. They do take the red buff. It's going to be secured. Teddy does manage to get it. It's now Perfect. Gonna get closed in and actually takes a lot of damage here as Gideon moves over. That's what the bros have. They have damage.
Okay, good chunk, but Perfect heals a lot from that honey food. There's another one up there. Go grab it, Perfect.
Okay, but they put in so much good work. It's just all for naught.
So Spain gonna come in, a lot of healing. They both have a Spirit Visage, and the Chemtech Dragons just helps out with that. Now they're looking for a pillar and Namgoon. This is so tense.
All right,
casting on the
who's
flank.
going to start this fight? As casting does get seen by this control ward. Gideon trying to throw poke damage over, but poke is so unreliable. With KT just healing up so much.
เฮ้ยจะปิดล็อบจะปิดล็อบ
As Teddy sidesteps the winds of
Teddy
war, stepping
รออยู่
Teddy is
อ๋ออินจีวู
so dangerous.
ภายใน3
He is very strong.
2 1
Casting getting ran out here by Cuz.
ยัง
Starts hitting him with a bat.
เตรียมตัว
This is so intense. This is game 5.
นับถอยหลัง
The winner of this goes
ทุ
to
กคนแม่งยิงปก
playoffs.
ป้องแบบเพอร์เฟกต์3 2 1ไปแล้ว
He's gonna make the play. He gets on top. There's another killer instinct for Teddy. This time he's not able to finish off the target in Jiu. He kites
เฮ้ย
away.
จิวไม่ตายวะรอบนี้
Casting gets into the backline. Teddy has taken down
แต่
Perfect.
เพอร์เฟกต์ตายแทน เต้แม่งกดอัลติแล้วตายไม่ได้กดอัลติด้วยเต้ตาย
It's a 1-for-1.
Reset.
That's it.
Need to come in. Help.
แต่ว่าดาเมจไม่พอค่าจีวูแล้วอย่างงี้ก็คือทุกอย่างสเปลหมดแล้วออสเปลใส่จีวู
That's not fair.
He has the Glutinous Greaves, and he's going to sustain more off the Elder Dragon. TP coming in from Roma. Both top laners dead.
ยังไม่สามารถ 100% ได้นะฝั่งของ KT กีเดียนอยู่ใกล้ๆก็เลยต้องขออนุญาตถอยไม่งั้นเดี๋ยวแพ้
As a shape splitter comes on through, gives so much information. I feel late game, the Nico is so valuable just for that button.
The Pop Blossom's ticking really quickly.
Yeah.
It's not long till that's going to be up and available, and Jiwoo has nothing left.
Wait a second. Well, they're on the Elder Dragon now. Cuz is going to move on over.
เฮ้ยเดี๋ยวนะ Perfect ไม่มี TP แต่ว่าไม่รู้ว่า information นี้โบรู้หรือเปล่า
Okay, Mega Cone angle. They could get a Renekton in there on top of that as well. Roma, don't press it just yet. Okay,
3 2 1แล้วเคิร์ดนะ3 2 1ไปแล้วเคิร์ด
Who gets the Elder and do
เคิร์ดไป
they
แล้ว
even look for the fight as Roma just gets
เคิร์ด
into
ก่อน
the backline? Who are wanting to try and find the
เคิร์ดตาย
Embassy was so
เอลเดอร์ไอเชียโบชนะครับผม KT
Namgoon guy always finds his mark as Perfect trying to get away, beating
Perfect
his
เพิ่งมา
wall,
ไม่มี
trying
TP
to escape
Perfect
from the
ตายแน่นอน
wrath of the Elder. Will bear down on KT, and I think they're gonna have to be waiting for a match against either BK Fearex or Nongshin
แล้ว
because
ล
the
งไปสาย
pros
ล่างครับ
are going to playoffs.
เลเจนด์กรุ๊ปอันดับ KT ยังคงแพ้ต่อเนื่องโอ้ KT แม่งไม่ชนะใครเลยแบบในช่วงหลังกี่เดือนแล้ววะชนะล่าสุดเดือนไหนวะดู
I might have spoken too early. Elder still in pocket. It looks like they're gonna back away. The respawn time is
KT ชนะล่าสุดต้องย้อนกลับไป ออกัสที่2
There's no need to make any comments just yet. As let's have a look at this fight
คือ
one
ประ
more
มาณ
time.
เกือบ
So a lot of time is bought here
3
by
สัปดาห์
Roman
ได้
casting, but Gideon is just laser focused on the dragon with Teddy.
20 วันนี่ไม่ชนะใครเลย
As soon as they get it, the dive in comes through. The Zeri is
แต่ยังไม่จบ
deleted.
นะ
The Yumi follows, and Perfect is so tanky. It almost looks like he'll be able to shake this off until the burn just takes him down.
I think so. He was like ready to leave. He's like, it's time to go. It's time to go. Right, Juke, right? No, not yet.
มีเอลเดอร์แล้วก็
A minute
แต่นำเยอะมาก
where
ครับ
KT cannot fight Pro at all. A minute
Look
where
at
they can.
these items.
โอ้เท็ดดี้คือ
Well, he's
แก
got
แบบ
more crit
นวัต
now.
กรรมจัด
All
อะ
right, it's like a 50-50 at this point.
Normally you
เมื่อ
get
แก
the crit
อาจจะ
then
ขาย
link
เทอร์
to
มิ
the
นัส
edge,
ได้นะ
but he's just working it backwards.
แล้วขึ้นเป็นแบบ
That
คลีอะไรอย่างเงี้ยบ้าง
dominance
แบบ
into this team comp
LDR
does go
ขอบคุณ
kind
แม
of
วพัง
crazy.
นะครับซีโรโด
I
นะ
reckon
ค
he's
รับ
probably going to be able to find some value.
เกิดอะไรขึ้นกับ KTBR
But he also has a GA that he hasn't need to put into use just yet.
ไม่รู้เหมือนกันฮะ
As Baron has been taken, the Elder still there for
เท็ด
30
ดี้ออก
seconds.
ของแบบว่าเคาน์เตอร์อีกทีครับผมให้ฝั่งเคาน์เตอร์ไคซะแล้วก็เคาน์เตอร์การบิวอีกทีนึง ด้วยการเปลี่ยนตัวเองเป็นสายแบบฟิสิกส์เป็นคีย์
But they have to pay. Can they do what? 15 seconds.
You have to look at this from KT's perspective. Possible devastation here with a loss in game 5
Elder
after
Baron
they had a lead at the beginning of this one. Giu's still alive. Does have a GA himself.
เอลเดอร์เลย3 วินาทีแต่บารอนเหลือ
Can
เย
they
อะ
find an avenue in? Can they find the engage? And there is the Elder. So KT look for an
ออมระเบิด
opportunity.
ไปแล้วดัน2 เลนสบายๆค่อยๆเลิกไม่ค่อยเล่นไป ไม่มีรถว่ะรถไปไหนวะ
Really cautious about being
รถหาย
up front. They know he is
ต้อง
the
ถอยแล้วมั้ง
primary target.
ยัง
The Bros now.
เคลียร์ไวเหลือเกิน
Still do have this Baron for another
แต่
minute
ใครสาย
and a
เคลียร์ไว
half.
ตีแบบตี2แบบ
One
มี
Nexus turret.
เฮอริเคน
Teddy will be able to basically 3 hit the Nexus if they do get anywhere near it.
ฮึบ
As BDD going for a potential angle, but
Boom
they are
ma.
so nifty. They just get out of the way.
BDD
BDD goes
กดนาฬิ
golden,
กาแล้ว
possibly
แฟ
going
ด
to
อ
get
อก
separated as he
ออกมา
flashes
ได้
away.
เกือบ
Take
ตาย
it down to 50%. Every time Teddy presses Q, I'm
บีดี
terrified for
ใช้หมด
someone's
แล้วนะ
life.
บีดีอะ
As you're going to get tagged by that Void
ลมเมอร์
Seeker.
กลับบ้านไปนะลมเมอร์กลับบ้าน
Look
ไป
at
นะ
that. I mean,
เพื่อน
he's a tank. Doesn't find the Q there. Supercharger just enough here to get Teddy out of the way as he avoids the prowling projectile there as well. But KT are still holding on. The Bros just, I think they're feeling a little bit scared of making this last play. Let's see, there
เปิด
it
รับ
is. Nongo
จีวูตรงนี้เข้ามาจีวูอันติแล้วโดดออกไป คีเดียนออกมาได้ไหมคีเดียนมีเจเฮ้ยเท็ดดี้โดนตันอยู่เท็ดดี้อยู่เท็ดดี้เพอร์เฟกต์แต่มี GA เอาเฮ้ยโบเฮ้ยแพ้ปะเนี่ยคีเดียนหนีอยู่
And they have to kill him because there is only one Nexus turret, and now can KT
ไป
win the
เปิด
game?
แล้ว
That's the question. They don't have much of a wave.
ดีก่อนแบบ
Gideon can
ไม่อยากจะ
play
เชื่อสาย
infra.
ตา
He needs to buy 40 seconds. We're going to see the replay. I'd rather see what's going on right now with the game.
Can we have a picture-in-picture, please?
Right now, we see Namgun goes for the play, but Jiwoo can just dash over the Nexus to get to safety.
แม่งดิฟเข้าไปในบ้านแล้วแม่งรีเพย์แม่งสุดยอดอยู่แต่มีบาลอนบัฟอยู่ไม่แน่ไม่แน่ไม่แน่เหมือนกันโอ้โหตรงนี้ดันสวยจัดเพอร์เฟกต์ครับผมเป็น T1 perfect ไม่ใช่นะอันนี้
Yeah, I think he's bought enough time. They cannot end right
เป็น
now.
KT perfect ครับ
Namgun. The wave's still there.
ยังหรือเปล่าครับ8 วินาทีน่าจะยังนะเพราะมีบาลอนหมดแล้วแต่ไม่น่าทันครับเพราะมันเป็นมินิตัวใหญ่และยังไปต่อครับผมเกมนี้ยังไม่มีใครสามารถได้ปิดเกมได้
I thought Bro had it. I was ready just to be like, they got the Elder, they won the fight, the game is over, and then the
กลับมาเอลเดอร์50อีกรอบครับตรงนี้ขายอะไรทิ้งอ่ะขายเทอร์มินัสทิ้งอย่างที่บอกจริงแล้วกำลังรอเงินอยู่แล้วมาเป็น LDR เหมือนที่GA แล้ว LDR GA แล้วคือเป็นชิวโบครับผม
100% crit has been achieved. You break backwards, but we got there. He's critting every time.
He's figured it out.
LDR
All right.
ไอเฮอริเคนแล้วก็เป็นนี่เดี๋ยวไอชิวโบมีคีบป่ะ
Might help him.
Yeah, I mean the Terminus was shredding a bit, but I think
that's true.
The LDR has a lot of value here. We've hit the late game. This has gone beyond the late game. This is Pro versus KT, and it is absolute cinema. 25 seconds on the Elder. It was such a stalemate standoff before for that Elder, and we might end up seeing that again. In-hit respawns for KT in the mid lane though, so they have the pushing advantage here.
แคสติ้งยืนแอบในพุ่มนะผมจระเข้ไม่ขยับในพุ่มนี่ไม่ขยับเลยตัวไม่ขยับจริงดูในแมป
The flanking crocodile casting.
Oh, is he on that mega cone as well?
อยู่ในบึงบอระเพ็ด
just finds his
ออกมาแล้ว
He just sneaks into this area. He's ready on the mega cone.
Gets a control ward down as well. They know what's
ตรงนี้
going
ต้อง
on.
ไปทำบนก่อนนะBDD แล้วก็ตรงกลางได้เปรียบอยู่นะตรงกลางกำลังดันเข้าและจะเอา50-50เลยแล้วกันนะตรงนี้วางกันไปเลยใครจะเข้าเพย์ออฟ50-50แคสติ้งยังเพอร์เฟกบอกว่าเฮ้ยไม่ต้องรีบดิตรงกลางดันมันต้องรีบเดี๋ยวเขาต้องกลับไปกันไม่กันมึงมันเยอะนะมันไม่กันเราชนะเว้ยเราก็ยื้อก่อนยื้อไว้เรื่อยโคออนให้แม่งรีเซ็ตไปเลยเคทีแล้วโบไม่ยอมกันโบบอกกูไม่ให้มึงเยอะปาระเบิดก็ต้องระเบิดต้องกลับไปกันวะอันนี้กลับไปเมื่อไหร่คือกูเปิดบาลอนกูเปิดเอลเดอร์นะไม่กลับแล้วตันมาล่อตันมาแล้วเพอร์เฟกเจ็บอยู่แต่ว่าได้สตันมาวาร์ปมาแล้วคอคอไดกอดโลเมอร์ตรงนี้เข้าไปยังไงครับเซตจะเข้าไปยังไงเอลเดอร์เป็นของฝั่งใครเอาแล้วเป็นเกทีได้โอ้โหเฮียเกมแม่งพลิกกันไปมาโอ้ my godแล้วชนะแล้วฮะไม่ชนะใครมาเกือบเดือนมาจัดโบรแบบแล้วเกือบแล้วนะโบรเกือบชนะแล้วแต่ว่า
They turn it on its head and this could be the first victory for Jiu wearing the KT jersey and it's in 5 games against the Bros here in play-ins for 2026. My God, what a ridiculous series.
On the cusp of defeat, KT finds
อยากเห็นเพอร์เฟก
back
ทำ
into the
ท่า
game
อยากรู้
and
แบบ
it comes down to a
หลังจบ
fated
5 เกม
elder
มา
fight. Jiu, the trust was put in him. He steps
แบบ
up and
ทำ
they
ท่ายังไง ตอน
find the win.
ตอน
Playoffs
จบ
are on the horizon for this team and they found their route there.
Oh my lord, what an absolutely incredible 5 games of League of Legends here between KT and Bro. KT take a well-deserved bow as they make their way towards the playoffs. They do not need to play anymore. Here in the play-ins, they are done. And now the Bros are waiting for either B&K Furex or Nongshim Red Force.
แค่โบกมือเฉย
That's perfect, gives the good old thumbs up. But I imagine this is one of those series where you're like, oh, thank
เกม
goodness
มัน
it's
ตึง
over.
จัดและเกือบแพ้แต่ว่าเพอร์เฟกแบกอยู่
High intensity. As Cuz never
เป็น
looks
Gen
like
G
he's
perfect
anxious
ที่
at
แบ
all,
ก
ever. Just cool, calm, and collected. Is that man?
อยู่ไม่กินจะเป็น KT
Definitely looking like he's feeling like, yep, that was a bit closer than it could have been.
หรือจะเป็น Hava Life Perfect แล้ว T1 Sus ปีหน้า
Such a back and forth even to the last minute.
แล้วโดราน Gen G
Here's a tense one, and the end result is KT. The expectation is when you're the legend team, when you've been battling against the best of the LCK, that you should come in and face down these Rise teams. But they have to fight tooth and nail to get this win. This was a tense one. This was a tense one, but
มิดเลน T1 คนเก่ายังอยู่ไหมครับ
They showed a lot. They showed a lot of their hand. That's information they had
ใคร
to
จะมาสู้
reveal.
กับท่าน
But they
ท่านบอร์ด
got
บริ
over
หาร
the finish line
faker.com ได้
and they managed to take down the Bros.
Effort managing to reach that huge milestone of 3,500 assists as well.
I mean, I was wondering how much bro tax has been saved up. Are the funds infinite? And it feels like they just hit their limit. It was so close, so close. And I think the thing that I can say I'm really happy about is that this isn't it for Bro. Because they fought hard enough here to prove that they should be next in line for the playoffs. And there are teams who are going to try and put a stop to that, but Bro pushed it to the limit in this one. And it was really just that final fight it came down to. The fact they got the Elder, they were pushing into the base. It looked like they were going to find the game end. And
คือ
they
จะบอก
didn't
ให้นะ
quite have the
คือหลายๆคน
time.
ถามว่าสครับแมคานิกเล่นวันไหนพี่ได้ให้ฟังนะสัปดาห์หนึ่งจันทร์ถึงอาทิตย์ใช่ป่ะเสาร์อาทิตย์แทนหยุดจันทร์อังคารพี่หยุดวันพุธกับวันศุกร์พี่บวกไม่ว่าง
In the end, though,
5 วันแล้วนะ5 วันที่แบบไม่ว่างแล้วมีอีกวันนึงคือวันศุกร์
I really felt like the Bros had found their way to do it in that last
วัน
moment.
พุธกับวันศุกร์ไม่ว่างอ่ะลองนับวัน
Like all of these moments.
เสาร์อาทิตย์จันทร์อังคารพุธพฤหัสหรือพฤหัสวันเดียว
KT they got to Chemtech
คือ
Soul
ไม่ต้องหวังว่าจะได้เล่น Minecraft เลย Minecraft นี่มันเป็นเรื่องมหัศจรรย์พันลึกเลย
Galio that had so much sustain in these fights
ส่วนเล่นการ์ดมีทุกวันเลยครับเล่นการ์ดได้ทุกวันเลยเล่นการ์ดนี่ไม่ต้องถามใครแล้วเล่นได้ทุกวัน
At the beginning of a fight, like right here,